What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 17 SW Chapter 131. The 5 Tsunade girls smash Uranus, and Yim kills celestial dragons with assists. Advertisement, boom 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 boom. There was a roar on the Iceland. There were brilliant and terrifying attacks everywhere, which dazzled everyone who watched the live broadcast. Last. The end of the battle. 5 elders, bald head and long beard, were under siege, and the remaining celestial dragons were losing ground. You are also worthy of being an elite? Just after throwing 2 rounds of the medium-sized divine loss, Obito couldn't help but smile. Slow reaction, slow action, no combat experience. The garbage produced by the assembly line, right? Damn it. Dozens of celestial dragons elites were furious, and felt a little weak in their hearts. These people are too strong. Especially the fighting lunatic bullet, surrounded by more than a dozen people chasing and fighting. Kaido even grabbed one and tore it to pieces, brutal to the extreme. Use ability. Fight with them, a celestial dragon's elite shouted, and the whole body felt full. In a blink of an eye it became a frosty blue dragon that was hundreds of meters long. The frost dragon? Kaido's eyes brightened suddenly. He has seen many species of dragon fruit in ancient times, but every Eudemon species is legendary. However, it is still not as good as his blue dragon, which is super evolution. Boom boom boom. One celestial dragon's elite released their abilities, allowing the battle to be upgraded directly. Someone took the form of a behemoth, roaring and neighing, making noises in all directions. Bozon. Rayleigh cut directly. Someone incarnates Medusa, looking at everything petrified. Petrochemical. You deserve it too. Hancock flashed up, and he kicked Medusa's right arm directly. Someone turned into an elf, where they were covered with trees, shooting with bows and arrows. Elf. This is also good. Robin's eyes lit up and smiled. The long-bearded 5 elders' blazing angel form, plus this elven form, can be found after being killed and given to Xiaowei's 07-way selection. Because the woman eats it. Really beautiful. Robin is still thinking about Vivi, the other party's cultivation and temperament. It is very suitable to join your Majesty's secretary team. Especially with special racial forms such as angels and elves, Robin wants to change and attract the great devil Lan Yu. There is also Lil Nami. The weather in Paramecia not far away is very good. Roar. Some people are incarnations of phantom beasts and pigeons, like a tiger like a monkey, flying in the sky. Doo-doo-doo-doo, flying so high, but you will die miserably. Dover smiled. Lingza paved the way and stepped on the silk thread, and soon came to the sky. 16 sacred fierce bullets, slaying the gods. They're all top Eudemon species. How many are not recorded in the Devil Fruit illustrated book? This scene also shocked Shiki, Kizaru and others who besieged 5 elders. Unicorns, hell 3-headed dogs, cats, etc. are just a group of demons dancing. There are still 4 places, which is even more breathtaking. Kasheng roars. The white tiger is fierce. Phoenix spreads its wings. Xuanwu roar. There are Eudemons? Everyone was shocked, but they shot a wolf. Sengoku, Yishao, Enel, Mahawk rushed to the 4 Eudemons. When these 4 types of phantom beasts appeared, Lan Yu looked sideways and his eyelids twitched slightly. Dongfang Xinglong, I can bear it. 4 sacred beasts, even the unicorn jumped out. Isn't it a bit too much? For the Qinghai realm, Lan Yu understands. This is the world that combines Eastern and Western mythology, such as Thundercloud Zeus and Kaido Qinglong. Wow, Madara, look, Hashirama, who had been watching the show calmly, suddenly said in surprise, it's my wood style. That's a wooden fruit. Uchiha Madara also scanned the battlefield. 800 years of celestial dragons, all of them are top devil fruit. Zones are all kinds of Eudemons. The Eudemons just showed violent. Logia began to wreak havoc on the battlefield one by one. The wooden dragon roars, vacuum fist, armed Shiu. The earth's core moves. Cloud thunderstorm, Mumu fruit should be a special Paramecia, but many celestial dragons elites show the dazzling Logia. Air fruit, rain and rain fruit, soil fruit, cloud fruit, fog and mist, etc. There are Mercury, Aurora, Ammonia, etc. Naturally, it's all mine. With a roar, Bullet directly entered the form of a devil, armed with the impact of the tsunami. It's crazy enough. Looking at Bullet, Lu Biyu was also amazed. Compared to Logia, the last wave of Paramecia has attracted more attention. Gravitational rays, Scourge raid, Mood bomb. Nien move the meteor, Kyoka Suigetsu, Paramecia is overwhelming. Gravity, natural disasters, emotions, thought power, thoughts, the phantom fruits of the illusion, etc. Attracted the attention of most of the imperial citizens who watched the live broadcast. There are also the dream fruit that makes people dream, the power fruit of violent increase, the virus fruit that spreads viruses, and the crushed fruit that shatters everything and so on. Repulsion, mind, seal, teleportation, direction, machinery, curse, distortion, shock, air pressure, weather, etc. Some abilities made Deidara and others extremely discouraged. Madara, they are too wasteful. Hashirama made a distressed expression. With so many top abilities, celestial dragons are all hidden. Background, waste, all wasted on a bunch of rubbish. When they die, they will all belong to the Empire. Uchiha Madara perceives the audience and wants to make sure that no one will escape. The most eye-catching. It is the two fruits of natural disasters and weather, and all kinds of natural disasters and extremely bad weather are the most spectacular scenes. As well as, give me a face, you can judge yourself. A certain celestial dragons, who was 1.5 meters tall, looked at Hidan and spoke in a cold voice. Why should I give you face? Hidan almost laughed, as this guy's sick in his brain. What? My face fruit actually failed. This celestial dragons was really shocked. Advertisement: the fruit of his face is the spiritual paramecia, which can forcefully change people's subconscious behaviors. Can fight spirit. Hidan teaches you how to be a man. It turns out that the fruit of time was eaten by you. A certain female celestial dragons just washed away the power of time, and was killed by Hinata, who was standing in the sky with a remote shot. After all, it is the fruit of time. Even if there is no time to stand still, time accelerating, etc., it will definitely travel through time and space like Kazuki time. This is my predetermined ability. Hinata has the loneliness of time. If you eat the fruit of time that eliminates side effects, it will be even more powerful. Others are not suitable, so no one robbed her. No matter how strong the fruit is, it depends on the person. Celestial dragons has gone wrong. Some abilities really make Lan's eyes shine, and Celestial Dragons has too many fruits. The Devil Fruit illustrated book is only part of it. The abilities are very good, but in terms of strength, except for a few, most of them are of the elite Vice Admiral level. It is also the so-called cannon fodder. Qinghai is not enough to nurture the ability of sun fruits. Lan Yu is nothing to pity. A small planet, wherever the sun can accommodate the fruits of the sun, even the name is self-repentant. See it? Kushina stood in the sky, looked at the giant Uranus ahead, and smiled lightly. So many good abilities are all wasted on waste, they will die soon. So what? Yim's voice came from Uranus, extremely arrogant and indifferent. You can come and try. Even if they die, facing the Holy Empire alone, I am just as invincible in the world as I am. Haughty words washed the sky. Let the battlefield of the Iceland below be quiet. For a while, celestial dragons boiled. Ha 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 ha, see it, this is our Lord Yim. Bald five elders are full of enthusiasm. This left Shiki, Ryder, and Whitebeard on the opposite side extremely speechless. That I am. Obviously, you are not treated as human beings, you are still as messy as a pug. Tsunade squeezed his fists and snorted coldly, who wouldn't say anything. If you can stand under our 5 hands for 10 minutes, we lose. The voice is not male or female. Damn it. Hearing Tsunade's words, I am suddenly furious and shouted. The king must not be insulted, go and die. Boom. Im was inside Uranus and controlled Uranus to move, causing the weather to oscillate for hundreds of miles in an instant. Storm, thunder, air current, refrigerator, etc. The surrounding weather changed suddenly, turning into a flood of natural disasters and rushing past. After all, the so-called Uranus is just an enhanced version of the ability to control weather and natural disasters. Faced with an attack like the Doomsday, Hinata took the lead. Directly enter the Tensigen spiritual power mode. Tensigen reverse gravity Shinra heavenly sign, boom. The repulsive force of horror. The all-round bombardment passed, and all the attacks that came in an instant collapsed. Huh? Little Hinata's startup style. A kind of concubine style. Kaguya smiled, turned his head to look at the high platform and exclaimed, is that right, your majesty? Look at your book. Lan Yu is determined not to praise Kaguya, otherwise this girl is easy to get on her head. Boom. No trick. I'm controlled Uranus to create a wider range of natural disasters, and bombarded the battlefield below. Does not care about the celestial dragons below. Long live Master Yim. Even so, 5 elders with a long beard are shouting enthusiastically. This guy. Is it poisoned? Opposite Kizaru, Akainu and Aokiji were speechless, and also marveled at Yim's 457 brainwashing ability. Smash Uranus. Tsunade gave a soft drink. There was a strong wave of air between the fists, and a punch was directly thrown out. Strength fist, blast bomb, great sun. Corrosion the great sun, silver wheel reincarnation explodes. Tsunade punched through the sky, Kushina's terrifying bomb that made everything impossible to defend. And Terumi Mei's corroding attacks, plus the terrifying storm blasted by Hinata. The 4 women volleyed to surround Uranus, and all 4 terrorist attacks rushed away. Enforced. Watching Uranus fly into the air to avoid. Makoto immediately started the enforcement, forcibly stopping Uranus's trajectory. Boom. The 4 attacks produced a terrifying explosion. The huge sky Ochaku destroyed most of it, and countless fragments swayed and fell, exploding in the sky. Impossible. The bald head and the long beard exclaimed in amazement. It took them hundreds of years to repair Uranus, but it exploded within a few minutes of playing? Boom. As Uranus fell, a figure flew out, erupting conquerors. Swept the entire battlefield in an instant, puff, puff. Ryder, Obito and others were stunned. All celestial dragons, including bald heads and long beards, all fell down. Weak in a flash. Madly dead. Hey, what kind of aura is this? It's so scary, it scares the old man to death. Kizaru retreated, really frightened. Yim killed everyone celestial dragons by himself? It's definitely not because of the aura. The conquerors just now is a lot better than me, but it doesn't exceed my cognition. Sengoku stared at the sky and said in a deep voice, you feel it, the moment they fell, their breath was greatly reduced and they were very weak. It's like Sengoku couldn't tell why. Uchiha Madara's voice washed out. The strength of all of them, even their lives, was taken away. I'm's fruiting ability. Hiss, countless people were shocked. Lan Yu's eyes flickered slightly. It only took away the power of celestial dragons, but did not affect the empires. It proves that I'm has been prepared for a long time. Similar, holy? Chapter 132. Yimyu's fruit ability to astound the world, please don't kill me. Advertisement, what is this ability? The momentum opened. All teammates are wiped out. Kushina and others were shocked. To know those celestial dragons elite, although only a few of them are at the top, the rest are vice admiral level. But, everyone is the top demon fruit power, the Eudemons, Logia and Paramisha just shown. Countless people watching the live broadcast in the three realms of the empire were stunned. There are too many top devil fruits in the celestial dragons. But now, 5 elders with bald head and long beard, plus dozens of celestial dragons with top devil fruit. The moment I'm flew out of Uranus, all annihilated. All will die. This is the legendary pig teammate, strong assists and heads, right? Ban. Hashirama was surprised for a moment and couldn't help but ridicule. Although I don't know what Yim's ability is, killing all of his people will only speed up his destruction. Sorrowful arrogant. Uchiha Madara is concise and concise. Yim directly deprived all his subordinates of power and life, which proved that in Yim's heart, it was enough to fight against everything alone. Don't you need those wastes from your subordinates? Obviously arrogant to the extreme. Really intoxicating power, have you ever seen despair? When his subordinates died, Yim was immersed in his own power, and his flat voice was full of arrogance. It seems that I'm has become a true god. Huh, tell me about it. The 5 Tsunade girls who were playing against I'm were not in a hurry and became interested. All the subordinates are wiped out, Uranus shattered. Only Yim was left, so that all eyes were on Yim, which made countless people curious. Interview. Just a moment, I believe that countless people in the 3 realms of the empire want to know. Behind the scenes you dominate the Qinghai world. Are it a man or a woman? Kushina chuckled softly, and condensed it into a microphone with Lingza, asking like a reporter. You really come from the outside world. Hearing the term 3 realms of the empire, Yim seemed to have guessed it a long time ago, and only confirmed it today. As for male or female, why should I am tell you. I'm's hood is very special, blocking my sight. Hinata wanted to see the opponent's face, but it was extremely vague. I am wearing a long gown with a skirt tail, a long and narrow crown on his head, a tall and thin body, and slender hands. 99% of people think of it as a woman at first glance. But with the first list that obstructs the line of sight, the voice is neither male nor female, and the Adam's apple is unclear and cannot be confirmed. What if it is a fake mother? Something is not right. Terumi Mei perceives the past, and is slightly surprised. I'm's soul can see it, this shouldn't be. This situation. Only if the strength of the opponent's soul is not weaker or even stronger than them, it is possible to appear. You are so rude, the king must not be insulted. Meeting the 5 women's gazes, Yim's voice was a little bit sulky, raising his hands to move forward. A strange wave swept the audience. Excluding the area of the Valley of Gods that Lan Yu reproduced, the sky and the ice battlefield were silent for a moment. Crack. There was a sound of thread breaking. Hyuga Hinata didn't know what was interrupted, put down his hand and slowly said, it's really surprising, the time fruit ability, I just killed it clearly. I am very sure, you're using time to stand still. What? Obito, Kizaru and others below were surprised, this is a bit of a foul, right? Your time ability is also very good, I don't know if it is praise or disdain, I'm's voice is not salty or weak, and he speaks proudly. Since you want to know, feel despair before you feel the pain. For an instant, Yahiko's eyelids twitched and turned to say, I am copied you, what should I do? It's just a coincidence. Nagato didn't care. When he was attacking Konoha, he just said a few things like feeling pain, and the result went crazy. Especially when the Imperial Chinese became popular. A few words of Nagato felt painful, and instantly crooked upstairs on the Empire Network. How many floors will a bag of rice hit? Thinking of this, Nagato's whole person is not good. More than 800 years ago, the first sentence of Yim surprised countless people, only to listen to Yim continue. 20 kings of the Tianlong, fighting against the huge kingdom, and 19 kings killed in the battle, only I am left. Because of my fruit, I changed from the weakest to the strongest, swept the remnants of the huge kingdom, and formed the world government. Let the glory of celestial dragons sway the world. Sounds like that, very passionate. Whether I am as a man or a woman, he is an existence who overthrew the old king and ruled the world with the new king for 800 years. Who can be imbi with me? I am proudly let out his vigor. Ignoring his aura, Makoto said, so, your fruiting ability? Mother's nest fruit. Yim said an incomprehensible word. People of the same race, just drink my blood. You can feel the root of your own strength, and you can get stronger in a very short time in all directions, and it can speed up your understanding of devil fruit. That's it, supportive ability. Kushina was a little disappointed. What you mean by becoming stronger in all directions is just the cannon fodder from the remnants. Huh, those rubbish. I am even more disdainful than everyone else. How noble is my blood, and non-talented penultimate people can't feel the greatness of my blood at all. The generations to come are worse than the generations. I see. High demands on talent. Everyone suddenly felt that if it hadn't, there wouldn't have been only a handful of admiral grades just now. The bald head and the long beard are the penultimate. A member of the same race who drank my blood. Speaking of this, I'im opened his hands and showed a proud gesture. The moment I took back the blood, their power and life all returned to me and returned to the brood. It's me. Let a most common brood fruit achieve an unprecedented second awakening and become the strongest. What a mother nest fruit. In Yim's narrative, Lan Yu has a sense of sight when he sees the friend Hwach. Not only kill all subordinates. Advertisement he also explained his abilities proudly, for fear that others would not know. Even more like the holy of Yhwach, depriving his subordinates of strength and life. Sanctification. It can take away all the power of mixed blood and pure blood quintessences, return to themselves, and redistribute them. Can restore oneself, can also resurrect other quintessentially. But after the sanctification, the quincy will die. Lan Yu has never used it once because the times have changed. Boom. Im's conquerors instantly cracked the sky, and his voice was full of indifference. The reason I tell you is because the world should be cleaned, kill and kill. Slay all the blasphemers and traitors. Recreate the world that belongs to me. This tiny world is only enough for me to toss, desperate to your heart's content. Wow, I am crazy. Not only madly wanting to kill and special kill, but also rushed towards the Valley of the Gods. Hashirama ignored it, turned his head and smiled. Ban, did you hear that? I'm also copied your words, but you didn't have hockey as you said. The little ninja world is only enough for me to toss. This is the hockey declaration made by Uncle Ban. But Uchiha Madara looked sharply at Hashirama. How do you know that I said something similar? Follow me? Spy on me? Investigate me? Ahem, Hashirama was overwhelmed by a word. Although he has done everything he said, he can't say it. It will be misleading. I care about you. Hashirama can only sigh so seriously. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. If it wasn't for the wrong occasion, he would definitely pass it. Get out of me. Trying to go to the Valley of the Gods, Yimu, who was trying to capture the thief and the king, was directly blocked by the 5 girls of Mikoto. Yim was awe-inspiring and spoke proudly. You follow the trend and suppress my Uranus, this is not a big wave. If you dare to go one step further, the world will be turned upside down. For a moment, the 5 daughters of Kushina are speechless. Tsunade couldn't bear it even more, as he went up with a punch. Weird punch. But so, seeing Tsunade rushing, Yim also clenched his fists, and his power exploded. Boom. When the fists collided, they burst out and roared like a meteorite, causing the clouds to collapse and disperse in an instant. The two retired as soon as they touched. Shocked by the mutual force, Tsunade flew upside down in the air for a kilometer and stopped, while Im moved 300 meters. The fruit of strength? No, there's the power to smash, no, there's the power to oscillate. Tsunade's eyes lit up. Strength, smashing, shaking, strengthening, and the power blessing of many kinds of phantom beasts, a good brewed fruit. Lan Yu instantly realized that it was Yim who had exploded more than a dozen fruit powers at the same time. For 800 years, Im let too many celestial dragons eat devil fruit and drink Im's blood. Naturally die, or be deprived of strength and life by Im. Then the dead celestial dragons, their fruit abilities, will be integrated into Yim. And it does not affect the rebirth of the fruit, but Lan saw that Yu had a shortcoming. It is not possible to integrate the strength of the dead, and the ability to integrate cannot be further developed. If you drink Im's blood, all the power of the person who died can make Im fuse. That Yim is not this strength. And, to what level of development before death, what is the level of Naim's integration? But Im can stack. For example, time fruit is extremely difficult to develop. Some people eat nothing but others can develop time still. Then find it many times. People eat it many times and fuse it many times. The biggest drawback is that Im can't use each fruit perfectly. In the eyes of Zu Madara and others, Yimu exploded more than a dozen abilities at the same time, which seemed amazing, but in fact it was messy. So many abilities burst together, is this expressive? In the final analysis, it is Yim's own strength, more abilities return more, strong return to strong, not strong, it is useless. It's like a Jonin knows thousands of ninjutsu, so what? Not worthy of a casual blow from the uncle at work. In the former ninja realm, you are just a top super shadow with countless blood inheritance limits. Even if you can have the 6 paths level in some aspects, you still don't deserve to be so arrogant. Terumi Mei directly points to the essence of Ming Yim. A lot of ability does not mean being strong. Really? The fruits of stamina and life are in the body. I am not afraid of all enemies. Im's greatest self-confidence. The ability to use countless fruits is one aspect, the most proud of is endurance. Physical strength, kings, can make Im fight for a long time. Life can make Im recover from injury. There are other miscellaneous restoration, transfer, and healing fruits that can keep Yim at his peak. Im was about to consume everyone, even the Lord of the Empire. Boom. The words have not fallen yet. Lan Yu's coercion suddenly struck, and Yim suddenly felt what was a dimensionality reduction blow. Pride is not a sin, but you can't be ignorant, puff chick chick. In an instant, Im was suppressed from the sky to the iceland below. Lying on the ground embarrassedly, his body broke in a large area due to the irresistible pressure, and the blood was red. What a recovery. What a cure. All silence is invalid. Lan Yu directly fantasizes about erasing all the fruit abilities from Yim. Woo! A light spot flew out of Yim, condensed into a fruit and fell into Lan Yu's hand. The fantasy deprives the mother nest fruit of the power and recondenses the mother nest fruit. Oh. Countless people are refreshed. Your Majesty took action, and countless people from the three realms watching the live broadcast screamed feverishly. There is nothing more exciting than your Majesty's shot. Im looked terrified. How could the Lord of the Empire be so terrible? For the first time feeling what is the pain of death on the verge of death, Im couldn't help but cried out in horror. Lord of the Empire, do you want to do extinction? Please, don't kill me. All, Chapter 133. Lan Yu opens a new world channel, Snapping Stars, Extraordinary Realm. Advertisement, the Imperial Palace of Heaven, in Im's horrified cry. Lan Yu withdrew the pressure and ignored it, and Miss Kagaya shot in an instant. The power of space was washed away in a flash. Im suddenly disappeared. Although they didn't know what Kagaya was going to do, everyone was obviously out of interest. At the moment Im was deprived of his Majesty's power, Im was nothing but a scum. The time is up, cut. When the people of the three realms watching the live broadcast had not recovered, Conan spoke coldly. Puff, puff, soldier with a knife standing on a high platform. One after another, they chopped down at the dozens of celestial dragons that were still kneeling. This is 800 years, the most dazzling, a feast of red and white blood. The people in the Empire world of Ninja and the heavens, there is no wave in their hearts, nothing more than a few deaths. But countless people in the Qinghai realm of the Empire are shouting that they are completely liberated. It should be. There are no celestial dragons. Kizaru, Aokiji, etc. were full of emotion. Celestial dragons, what an awesome family once, are now extinct. Ha 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 ha, it's dead, it's all dead. As Tezzolo laughed, a piece of Iceland turned into brilliant gold, and he laughed and cried. Duduo, 800 years of glory, 19 years of hatred, is over. Doflamingo laughed hysterically, and because of his excitement, even the sunglasses he had worn all the year round fell off. Wow, look. Obito came out of nowhere and pointed to Dover and shouted, no wonder this kid wears sunglasses, it turns out to be a blind eye. Speaking of which, Obito didn't know what he thought of, and laughed. That guy Kakashi also wears a mask since he was a child, he wouldn't be really ugly, ha 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 ha. Huh, I'm not half as handsome as me. Hidan jumped over, took out a pile of fermentation, and wiped out a big back. Dover couldn't help a black line. What's wrong with the dead fisheye? Do you have my evil charm of laughter, and walk smartly? Don't stop me, I want to kill him. Kakashi on the high platform almost exploded, but was stopped by Hitaki Tsukumo. Shuamao's eyes were weird. Speaking of which, I haven't seen you since you were 10 years old, will it be crooked? Kakashi's whole body is not good. Damn Obito, even my dad was swayed by you, you wait. Qinghai Realm, the end. Lan Yu can feel the excitement of countless people from Qinghai's circles at this moment. 460 when the live broadcast is closed. Lan Yu looked at the Empire Army and said, are you wondering, there are some remnants of celestial dragons, why all the Empire Army is dispatched and gathered here? Zubin and others immediately stood up straight. To be honest, there are indeed. Because of the remnants of celestial dragons, it is not worthy to let all the elite soldiers of the Empire arrive. But your Majesty's order is unconditionally respected by everyone. My concubine guessed. Kaguya's crimson eyes twinkled with wisdom, and smiled. Dealing with the remnants of celestial dragons is like playing a movie for the soldiers of the Empire to relax. The real purpose is to gather the army to solve the problems of the Imperial Ninja world. Empire Ninja, Zu Madara and others refreshed, Lu Bu and Sol in the Celestial Realm also shined, and a small number of people in Qinghai Realm also understood it in seconds. The Otsutsuki family, because each member basically works in groups of 2, spreading the universe to plant sacred trees. The tale is still big. Although there is no longer any threat to the Empire today, the universe where the Empire's ninja is located should belong to the Empire, where the flies fly around. Kagaya is still very smart. Lan Yu praised it, and Miss Kagaya burst into laughter. This girl. Move him away. Lan Yu also understands Kaguya's thoughts. Male, die directly. Lady, Kagaya is interested. Regarding how Kagaya handled Yim, Lan Yu didn't care, and continued. The universe of the Empire Ninja world must be cleaned up, and the universe where the Qinghai world is located must also be cleaned up. Is there a strong man in the universe of Qinghai Realm? Seeing that many people were unclear about it, Conan opened his mouth and said, when the holy soldiers took down Sky Island, they went to see the moon. Encountered some cosmic pirate groups from outside the Qinghai Realm. Although their strength is very weak, it also proves that there must be many life planets outside the Qinghai Realm. Everyone was stunned. Speaking of the Cosmos Pirates, Lan Yu thought to herself, if there is the Cosmos Dark Matter Pirates, it would be great. The leader is a top talent. The Imperial civil servants continued to stabilize Qinghai circles. Lan Yu got up from the throne and slowly said, you should only know how to do it. It's a hard work. Yes, your majesty. Naraluju, Athena and other arriving civil servants calmly said. First of all, once again, AHFJ, all-round inspection and cleaning up all corners of the world, even the deep sea and the void cannot be let go. The information of all intelligent creatures is included in the Imperial database. Popularize the law, popularize Chinese, popularize people's livelihood technology. This is a very important point for the establishment of academies. After all, there are not many scholars in Qinghai, and the 3 views are all indiscriminately. Screen the talented penultimate, accept all abilities, and enter various departments of the imperial government. Finally, a space portal was established to open up the trade of the three kingdoms of the Empire and prosper together. Lan Yu opened the space portal, and the Empire army could see hundreds of huge spaceships hovering in the space of ninja. "We are invincible ahead of us," feeling the excitement of the Empire soldiers, Lan Yu said loudly. "We are invincible ahead of us," the soldiers of the Empire shouted together. When the Imperial army entered the space portal, Lan Yu also disappeared in place. He has more important things to do, that is to improve strength. Brush. Brush. Lan Yu passed along the road, washing away the traces of time and space, came to the heavens, and entered the universe. Celestial Earth, Solar System. Space jump. Lan Yu stepped to the periphery of the sun. The sun is a celestial body that emits heat due to nuclear fusion reactions, and the outermost corona is full of high-temperature, low-density plasma. It's not enough to just absorb the spirit child, right, Dimension Jade? Lan Yu can feel the response of Dimensional Jade in his body, and agrees with him very much. Lamza. It is nothing more than a kind of soul energy, and it is also the main substance that constitutes the soul. But as far as the realm is concerned, it is already difficult to make progress only by absorbing the soul to reach the 9-star Lan Yu. Even if I kill all the creatures on 1 planet or 10 planets, it will not be enough for me to advance. Lan Yu has a deep understanding. It is said that quantitative changes cause qualitative changes, but how much soul power he has to absorb before he can reach it, without resorting to any abilities, he can explode the realm of the planet with a single blow. That would be astronomical, and the quality is too bad. So Lan Yu found another way, felt the Dimensional Jade, and unlocked another evolutionary road. That is, absorb celestial energy, temperature, no problem. Magnetic field, it's okay, radiation, can bear it. Lan Yu first started to bless the spiritual barrier with various holy characters to feel the power of the sun, and then remove the defense step by step. Temperature is the weakest ability of the sun. The surface is about 6,000 degrees, and the coronal layer can reach millions of degrees. The core is tens of millions of degrees. But its magnetic field, radiation, nuclear reaction zone, sunspots, Madara, solar wind, etc. are deadly. Advertisement, is this only the outermost periphery? Lan Yu directly ignored the temperature and felt all kinds of violent energy coming to his face. Energy reactions are taking place all the time. It can react at will. If it falls on the earth, it is enough to destroy everything. So Lan Yu is very careful. He is not afraid of the temperature of the sun, but the energy response is really too strong. Let's start. Lan Yu sat in the void, facing the sun. Dimensional Jade trembled slightly. Following the abilities of Yhwach and Hōgyoku, Lan Yu opened the second inheritance. Very simple inheritance. Swallow. Swallow all energy and turn it into your own use. Perfect all-round improvement of soul, body, realm, life level, etc. I like this ability. There are no exercises, secret techniques, etc. that need to be learned or understood, and they are directly transformed into Lan Yu's innate ability. Devour everything. Infinite evolution. Because Lan Yu itself has too many abilities of various kinds, if he adds a bunch of abilities, it will be messy. Lan Yu is stronger by himself. Those abilities will also become stronger. At least at this stage, the original ability is not out of date. As long as Lan Yu stays strong, a small sacred shot will be lost in the future. It is not a dream to hit the universe directly. When I have a thorough understanding, I can develop a devouring secret technique. Only by absorbing the soul, it will be difficult for them to become stronger all the time. Thinking of this, Lan Yu stabilized his mind. 1 day. 2 days. A month. Half year later. Boom. Lan Yu opened his eyes and turned into a streamer and rushed into the sun. Ignore the temperature directly. Lan Yu hit the sun's various energy reactions head-on, and instantly his body collapsed. Buzzing. Omniscience, omnipotence, existence negation, arc of time, miracle, giant of light, etc. One by one, nearly immortal abilities washed away on Lan Yu, constantly repairing, and crashing. The main thing. Dimensional Jade protects Lan Yu from death. Feel the power of the sun to your heart's content. To temper Lan Yu's spiritual will, it was another 6 months later. Boom. Lan Yu rushed out from the sun and flew towards Jupiter at a terrifying speed. Cut. Thousands of miles away from Jupiter. Lan Yu turned his hand into a knife, washing away the sublimated force of spiritual power, and slashed towards Jupiter. A cold light flashed in an instant. The whole Jupiter is completely split. Jupiter is a huge liquid hydrogen star body, with non-solid matter as the main composition of the gaseous planet. After being split, it is completely broken by the terrible force that Lan Yu slashed and washed. Needless to say, the people on the celestial Earth space station must be in love. Extraordinary, 2 stars. This is a pure energy blow that Lan Yu does not carry any additional abilities. Extraordinary, starburst begins, juicing from cleaning the surface. Half a year ago, he stepped into the extraordinary star that raised his hand and collapsed the Earth-like planet. Now, the extraordinary 2 stars. The size of Jupiter is more than 1,000 times that of the Earth. Whoop. And the sun? Lan Yu turned and looked at the sun. It's the size of the Earth, 1.3 million times the size of the Earth. I'm still a lot worse. Lan Yu is currently classified as a star rating. It's far from the constant star rating. Of course, combat power cannot only look at destructive power. After all, some powerful players in the world have strong destructive power, but their life level is very low. Maybe a heart attack can kill you, but the destructive power is the most intuitive. Back in time, when Lan Yu raised his hand, the power of time swept the entire Jupiter. Retrospectively repair the broken Jupiter, do not. Lan Yu returns to the Empire. Is Otsutsuki shattered? Once Lan Yu returned to the Empire, he observed the movements of the Empire's army. 3 days ago, all returned are under renovation. Because the Otsutsuki clan is also ruthless. Facing the Pillar Madara and Kaguya were besieging. The Otsutsuki clan directly deprived all the Otsutsuki clan of life and power with the help of the power of the main tree of the God Tree. Concentrate your strength to meet the enemy. As a result, he died in battle, leading to the destruction of the whole clan. The current patriarch, if he doesn't kill all his subordinates, he won't be called the patriarch, right? Lan Yu also has nothing to say. Chief Celestial Dragons, I am. Patriarch Otsutsuki, Heavenly Style. Patriarch of the Quincy Master, Yhwach. All are critical moments, depriving the tribe of their strength and lives, and giving away their heads with strength. In this way, Kaguya has one less chance to feel death. Lan Yu observed Kaguya's state and was not affected. Because Kaguya thoroughly studied the blood of the Otsutsuki clan last year and cleansed the power of the blood. Modified the new spiritual power system, Holy Text, the pattern of space. So the clan chief Otsutsuki wanted to kill Kaguya together and concentrate the power of the whole clan against Madara. It was purely a dream. Qinghai is also completely stable. Looking at the 3 realms of the Empire, Lan Yu was immersed in his mind. Dimensional Jade, open the New World channel. Lan Yu instills energy. Buzz. A world coordinate was illuminated on the Dimensional Jade, and a new space portal was directly opened. Such a coincidence? Lan Yu had already planned dozens of experiments, but he didn't expect to succeed once. It turned out to be this world. Lan Yu has seen that on the other side of the space portal, there is an extremely rich soul. The soul of this world. Far more dense than the pure land of Ninja World, Wangshen of Qinghai World, and Hell of Heaven. For Lingza, there is nothing in Lan Yu's heart, he is no longer dependent on Lingza now. The secret technique of devouring all kinds of energy evolution, Lan Yu has been developed and can be popularized at any time. So, it doesn't matter whether the soul is rich or not. But some characters in this world, Lan Yu aroused interest. History of 10,000 Years. Chapter 1. 5-year-old Aizen. The teacher is here, please be respected by the students. Advertisement Soul Society. The world where Shinigami and Soul live. It already existed about 110,000 years ago. Rukongai and Xiao Lingting are the main components of Soul Society. Jingling Palace is located in the center of Rukongai, where Shinigami live. The ordinary soul lives in Rukongai, the poorest and most free in Soul Society. Strictly graded, for many Shinigami, Soul Society is heaven, and for many souls, Soul Society is extremely unequal hell. Now, east of Soul Society, Rukongai 66 District. Catch up with him, don't let him run away. This damn kid, I must kill him. Gia, you can't run away. 3 big men with ferocious faces are chasing a boy who looks 4 or 5 years old. I found the food. The little boy with short brown hair and brown pupils was a bit angry and helpless. Weakness is the original sin. The little boy felt once again that he needed strength, an overwhelming strength. If I don't die, I will overthrow this dark world and rebuild the new world. The little boy was full of firm shouts, and the 3 big guys who were chasing him were startled at the same place. Overthrow the world? Isn't that to overthrow Soul Society? A little soul, even falsely pretending to overthrow the Soul Society with Shinigami and nobles? Hey, when the words fell, the little boy ran away without a trace. Damn it, fooled again. The 3 big guys were immediately angry. The little kid used extremely exaggerated words to divert their attention and sneak away. When they were chasing, they were deceived several times by various methods, that's why they were so angry. Growing up, it's worth it. I'm not kidding. No one is above everything from the beginning, you can, and so can I. The little boy's eyes became firmer as he ran. Heaven? Paradise? These are just the brainwashing words of those Shinigami and the nobles, with a high posture, ignoring the ridiculous words of the sufferings of Rukongai beings. 10 minutes later, relying on the wisdom far superior to that of his peers, and the extremely weak spiritual power, the little boy finally escaped the hunt. Hiding in a remote corner, finally there's something to eat. The little boy looked at the bag of dried persimmons in his hand, with a joyful and content smile in his eyes. Generally speaking, the soul does not need solid food, only needs to take in the spirits in the atmosphere and water to survive. And because souls without spiritual power will not feel hungry, there is nothing to eat in most areas of Rukongai. Why they don't need to eat, but I'm always hungry. The little boy gave birth to huge doubts. He had seen many souls, and he didn't need to eat and drink. But hunger came. The little boy whistled with a dried persimmon. If Shinigami sees a little boy, he may murmur, eat and drink. Maybe it's a little genius. Ordinary souls don't need to eat or drink. However, the soul with higher spiritual power is sometimes not enough to survive even if it takes in the spirits in the atmosphere, and it may cause physical exhaustion due to excessive hunger and even death. This situation, Rukongai commonly known as, how many geniuses starve to death. Souls that need to eat and drink, who want to become Shinigami, are definitely far more likely to succeed than other souls. The reason why the 3 big men chased the little boy was not to eat or drink. For example, starting from the 78th district, there was a serious shortage of fresh water and became one of the targets of theft and looting. The three big men wanted to take the food and sell it as goods for profit. You can even grab a bag of dried persimmons, and you can imagine the chaos in this area. Buzz. In a quiet corner, the void rippled, and three figures walked out. But when the three figures appeared, especially the figure in the lead made the surrounding spirits stagnate and tremble. Wow, Madara, look, the spirit here is too rich. I can see it. Hey, it shouldn't be. Living in this kind of place, why is the Ryotsu of the people around so weak? There are ordinary souls nearby. Hey, Madara is still smart. Uchiha Madara has a black line. If it weren't for your majesty's presence, he might have kicked Hashirama to death. Hokage. Lan Yu glanced casually. The line of sight crossed the barriers and browsed the scenery of this area. The Soul Society as a whole, if seen from the sky far away, is a huge, nearly circular land. When Yhwach collapsed Soul Society, he showed the overall appearance of Soul Society. Tianyuan Place. The prosperity of the center contrasts with the sufferings of the periphery, an extremely unequal feudal society. Looking around, and looking at the jingling pavilion in the center, Zubin will understand. The level gap is huge. Hokage has branches in the east, west, south and north directions of the Jingling Pavilion. Every direction, there are 1 to 80 districts. The public security and living environment of the first district are ideal, and the food is abundant. In the 80th district, there is no grass and famines everywhere. Everyone's souls are killing each other to determine who gets the right to survive. By analogy, as the number of area codes increases, the public security and living conditions in each district will decline and become worse. It's almost like a slum. No, it's not as good as a slum. Area 66 is already close to the most chaotic zone. In Hashirama's view, there are a lot of numb souls. Desert dead wood can be seen everywhere. There are people looting and looting everywhere. Your Majesty, where are we going? Uchiha Madara felt that this area had lost her interest and there was no strong one, so she looked at Lan Yu and asked. Lan Yu didn't speak, but looked not far away. Madara looked down the blue eyes and saw a little boy with short brown hair hiding in a corner, secretly beating three people. Stealing aside. Advertisement on the one hand, Tien's food scraps did not waste a bit of food. Suddenly sounded. Pillar Madara is completely stunned. What did they see? After seeing the little boy, His Majesty showed a look of great interest, and the Lingza quickly assembled the Lingza camera. How many shots did you take to the little boy? Your Majesty, you are actually interested in him. Madara couldn't help but look carefully at the little boy who felt the food residue in Tien. Spiritual power is very weak, it looks pretty cute. Madara, Hashirama, if you were very hungry when you were young, and the food scraps on your sentry hand were photographed, is it black history? Lan Yu's sudden question. Suddenly, Madara were stunned, and Hashirama coughed slightly. Your Majesty, my classmate and I are in a big family. Except for being hungry for a few days on the battlefield as a child, I haven't been hungry. This fool. Uchiha Madara glanced at Dujien and said calmly, if I see a photo of Tien's finger gesture when I was a child, I will do everything possible to delete it. It is indeed black history. What a hockey in my class, how can there be such a photo? So I took it. Lan Yu made a rare prank once because that little boy really interested him. If the little boy grows up, see this picture. I don't know what kind of expression it is, but I might say, this photo is really interesting. Madara is not interested in this, and can't help saying, Your Majesty, there must be strong people in this world, right? Only Hashirama and the strong can make Madara's mood fluctuate wildly. Lan Yu said with his jaw, naturally, there are some people who can make you feel the blood and powerlessness of the battle. Powerless. That's great. Hashirama raised her brow slightly, and Uchiha Madara felt his cells excited. 0. Look for flowers, go around, you can also feel the pinnacle of this world. Lan Yu disappeared after speaking, only a word that surprised Madara. When you leave this world, take him. What? Bring this little boy. This is no longer interested, but your Majesty wants to train him. Senju Hashirama said seriously with a rare look. A child who can make your Majesty value. There must be something far beyond ordinary people, and there is a bright future with the original trajectory without the influence of the Empire. Uchiha Madara, who was originally not interested, suddenly disappeared, and came to the little boy in the next moment. The shadows are falling. The little boy was shocked, subconsciously stepped back, put his hand behind him, and looked up vigilantly. Are you going to grab my food too? Shinigami from Shaolingting? Uchiha Madara's unconscious aura, as well as the clothes on her body, are incompatible with Hokage. The little boy immediately thought that the other party was from Shaolingting. And, it must be a big shot. Grab your food? Uchiha Madara hugged her arms, looked down and said flatly. Do you mean fingers like you? No. The little boy flushed. In the next moment, calm was restored, and the little boy looked up and said, I finally found you, kid. There was a cold drink in the distance, the little boy's pupils shrank slightly, and he turned and ran without thinking. But I found myself unable to move. Why run? Uchiha Madara asked flatly. Can't move. The little boy struggled, and he could only bow his head and said, I am too weak. I just want to live. Only when I live can I have hope. What is your aspiration? Uchiha Madara released a strand of Ryotsu, which directly stimulated the boy's heart. Stimulated. The little boy couldn't hide his deep thoughts at all, so he couldn't help shouting firmly. I want to rebuild Soul Society, as the saying goes, 3-year-old sees life. Uchiha Madara felt the unshakable will from this 5-year-old boy, which was amazing. See it? Uchiha Madara motioned to the little boy to look at the 3 big guys rushing in the distance. This is the wall. The wall can easily make a person abandon his will. Listen, don't abandon your will. You have to make it your stepping stone. Titicaca. Ryotsu passed away in a flash. The 3 big men in the distance died immediately. The little boy was in vain. The great figure of Yuling, why did you do this, and why did you say this to him? Madara, this is not like you. Seeing so many words to a child, Hashirama was surprised for an instant and then smiled. Your Majesty seems to be very optimistic about him, and you are interested again. It is better to accept him as a disciple. Accept disciples? Not waiting for class to speak. The little boy glanced at Hashirama, who was smiling and friendly. His eyes flashed with strange light. He knelt on the ground immediately and said seriously, "Teacher is here, please be respected by the students." Hashirama was shocked. Good boy, so witty. Senju Hashirama couldn't help showing a bright smile. Madara, what do you think? Uchiha Madara looked at the little boy calmly. The moment the little boy looked up to his eyes at work, he was shocked. He felt that his heart was completely seen through. He was still too young. Your name? Turning around, Uchiha Madara speaks. The little boy's heart loosened, and he couldn't help but glance at the silly Hashirama, showing the same brilliant smile, standing up and bowing. Aizen Sosuke. Meet the teacher. Chapter 2. Lan Yu's power over the invisible empire, Hazard's hatred. Advertisement, Aizen. Good name. Senju Hashirama smiled brilliantly, and stepped forward to pat Shao Aizen on the shoulder and said, you will really seize the opportunity. I am optimistic about you. From now on, you will be the little dance king of the empire. Obviously students are admitted to the class, but Hashirama was happier than Ben. Hiss. Was snapped by Hashirama. The 5-year-old Aizen is not in this position, his small soul body can't stand it. Dance king? But the dance king in Hashirama's mouth also made Shao Aizen daze. Yes. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but dropped Aizen's hair and laughed. My name is Senju Hashirama, and your teacher's name is Uchiha Madara. I am the Imperial Dance King, literally, famous for dancing in the 3 realms of the empire. Oops. Bite. Uchiha Madara just kicked up. Under the little Aizen, Senju Hashirama flew upside down and rushed into the sky, turning into streamer, leaving only a shout that echoed the sky. Yes, I will come back. Little Aizen couldn't help but stare. Being kicked so far, and shouting in spirit, it is really strong. Wrong. What does the 3 realms of the empire mean? Soul Society. The present world. Hōgyoku Mundo. He knows too little about the world. Little Aizen pondered inwardly, with various expressions constantly appearing on his face. Put away the unnecessary emotions on your face, they are all flaws. Uchiha Madara looked back and said flatly, yes, teacher, 467. Little Aizen calmed down immediately, standing straight, with a cool face. Seeing this, Uchiha Madara sternly said, convergence of emotions is not to make you expressionless, but to not let your inner thoughts flow to the surface. Is teacher? Little Aizen was shocked. He is very sure now that all his previous careful thoughts have been seen through. Living in Rukongai's 66th district, Little Aizen has seen too much killing, burning and plundering, as well as the darkness of human nature in Rukongai. If the soul is not strong enough, it is difficult to survive in Area 66. So Little Aizen is eager for power. Zu Madara is obviously not Rukongai's, since it may be a big figure in Jingling Ting. The young Aizen wants to seize the opportunity to become stronger. Mainly because of Hashirama's friendly smile and the suggestion of accepting an apprentice to Madara, it directly awakened the young Aizen. With the help of 2 people, enter Xiao Lingting. And it succeeded unexpectedly. Being accepted as a student by the big man in Jingling Ting, the young Aizen feels like a dream. I am not from Soul Society, from the Holy Empire of Otherworld, you will understand soon. Uchiha Madara's words made Aizen trance again, he really didn't understand. Ban did not expect a 5-year-old child to understand anything. No matter what little Aizen thinks carefully, the issue of age is too immature. Except the little Aizen is a student. Uchiha Madara also has its own considerations. First of all, little Aizen got His Majesty's attention, which aroused Madara's interest. Secondly, the young Aizen's firm will and the ambitious goals at a young age have greatly increased Madara's interest. Finally, Hashirama's assist. This is too important, and the main reason. Hashirama is the only person besides Lan Yu who can easily influence Madara's decision. It is so magical. At this moment, the class thought of Kaguya's student, Hyuga Hinata. My class is not weaker than others. Uchiha Madara is proud. Now that the young Aizen is accepted as a student, then the young Aizen must be the arrogant of the new generation of empire sweeping everything. Must surpass Hinata. The students in my class surpass Hinata, that is inevitable. Try hard to surpass me. Uchiha Madara put his hand on Aizen's head and spoke with great expectation. What can be more worth looking forward to than to cultivate a student who can make oneself fight with passion? Teacher, I will work hard. Little Aizen's emotions could not help being driven. He suddenly felt that he had made an important decision that could affect his life. But, at the moment, the little Aizen couldn't help but reveal the face of Lan Yu that he had just peeped. What a perfect existence. This is the thought deep in Aizen's heart. The moment he peeped at Lan Yu before, he was shocked. Perfect. Aloof. The invisible power that inadvertently reveals seems to surpass all several dimensions. Little Aizen can never forget, and she is extremely eager to be such a person. Teacher. The one who just left. So, the little Aizen finally couldn't help but asked. That person obviously, it is not the idiot Hashirama, Uchiha Madara calmly said. Your Majesty, Holy Empire Emperor, you don't need to understand, and you don't need to understand. Let's not give birth to unnecessary thoughts on the day you are qualified to see your Majesty. Speaking of which, Uchiha Madara couldn't help but sigh. You just need to know, following the steps of your Majesty will be your life's pursuit. If you and I relax, even the chance to see your Majesty's back will disappear. Little Aizen was in a trance again. Is there an insurmountable existence? However, no one stood in the sky from the beginning. Little Aizen couldn't help but murmur. This sentence made Uchiha Madara smile. It's funny, you have a temper with me. Come on, Xiaoji. Xiaoji? Xiao Aizen broke the defense immediately. His emotions were hard to hide, and his face blushed. Teacher, you can call me Xiao Aizen, Xiao Huyuja, but please don't call me Xiaoji. Uchiha Madara nodded seriously. I see, Xiaoji. Little Aizen is depressed. Why not call me Xiaolon? Work hard to grow up, work hard to become stronger, and you must get rid of this name. Now, inside a splendid hall of emptiness. Advertisement. Lan Yu walked calmly, and glanced at Madara Ran's place, and couldn't help but chuckle. The class accepts Aizen as a student. Interesting. Lan Yu didn't give any Soul Society information, and Madara didn't know who Aizen was. Of course, that is Aizen who grew up from the original track, and you can look at a child with the eyes of the original. This kind of magical scene. It was a result that Lan Yu had never thought of before. But it actually happened. In the final analysis, Aizen is very young today, just a little soul struggling in Hokage. If you change to the growing up Aizen, that's what can happen. So, training should start from an early age, this is a wise saying. Such as the current little Aizen, in Lan Yu's eyes, it is a blank piece of paper. Clean mind. Determined. No distractions, a little kid. It's just that I feel unfair in Hokage and want to overthrow the Shinigami and noble children in Tailangding. There are many children like Hokage, but in the original trajectory, only Aizen persists and grows up. Shinigami nobleman. After countless generations of hard work, why have you lost to you for 100 years? Aizen. No one has stood in the sky from the beginning, just get out. You roll down too. Lan Yu walked towards the throne in front of him, and directly shook the sleeping person on the throne, turned around and sat down. Boom. The moment Lan Yu sat down, the terrifying aura swept away, rushed out of the main hall, rushed out of the palace, and rushed to all corners of the kingdom under this shadow. What a terrifying aura. This moment, countless people in the kingdom under the shadow are shocked, the great horror that can't be described in words. More than all the number of dimensions, puff, puff. Everyone in white long clothes became unbearable and collapsed to the ground. The whole country, there was a moment of silence. Hiss. There was only one man with long blonde hair left in the entire scope of the country, losing all his composure, and his eyes showed an expression that was so shocking that he couldn't be more shocked. Hazward, pureblood Quincy, the highest order of the Star-Crossed Knights. Under one person, above 10,000 people, friends Hōgyoku personal guard. So, this is the kingdom under the shadow of Xiaolingting, the invisible empire. Lan Yu came. Overwhelming empire. Not dead, how is this possible? The calm Hazward, completely lost his attitude, couldn't understand the momentum just now. Even your majesty, it is also impossible for Ryotsu alone to stun everyone in the invisible empire. It's no problem to execute most people, the main thing. Where Hazward's eyes passed, there was no damage to any building except for the fainted person. Even Lingza didn't have any turbulence, this is the most terrifying. What an amazing control. Hazward flew high in the sky, Yinliang City, the main city of the invisible empire, and confirmed that everyone was dead. Not good, your majesty. With palpitations, Hazward looked at the ice palace ahead, and rushed over immediately. Today's little Aizen is only 5 years old, that friend Hōgyoku is hundreds of years away from recovery. When Hazward came to the main hall of the ice palace, lost all calm again. On the throne that originally belonged to the lord of the invisible empire, sat a man who transcended everything, his eyes were as bright and majestic as galaxies, making Hazward feel that all of his heart was seen through. And the sleeping majesty, like a puppet, he was thrown into a corner of the hall and continued to fall asleep. This scene, it greatly stimulated Hazward's mind, unbelievable. You left me deliberately to attract me. Recalling the pressure just now, Hazward understood that the other party had let him go, but his voice was low and deep. It is too rude to treat your majesty like this. Hazward is thoughtful, has a strong 5.9 insight and analytical ability, and is better at trying to figure out the minds of others. But at the moment, he felt that Lan Yu was like a black hole, unable to see through. Hazward, for this blonde man, Lan Yu appreciates his talents. Other Star-Crossed Knights, arrogance, pervert, bloodthirsty, brutality, arrogance, narcissism, moodiness. Let's not say all, at least 99% are of this character. But under one person and over 10,000 people, Hazward, who is calm, always treats others with gentleness, without the slightest overbearing, and will have a heart of forgiveness in the face of weak enemies. The character is incompatible with the other members. However, it can be respected and supported by most members of the Star-Crossed Knights. Who are you? Hazard was pretty sure. Gode 13 does not have Lan Yu, nor does the Zero Team. At this moment, the disease of bone is as deep as the sea. This blood-red crime will end until death. Lan Yu didn't answer, but slowly spoke with deep meaning. I can feel your innermost feelings of hatred towards your friend Harbach. Boom. This sentence. If the billions of thunder exploded in Hazard's heart, he completely lost his composure and his expression changed drastically. This man. The real big horror. Chapter 3. I also have Hashirama to accept students, and follow the girl Shinigami. Advertisement. How can it be? Hazard's heart was strongly shocked, and he was completely lost. If this world. What else can make him completely lose his composure, and only the hatred hidden deep in his heart can be discovered. This hate. Only one person knows. That was Bartsby, also codenamed, for the Star-Crossed Knights. The two were young friends. Your Mightiness, Hazard wanted to refute Lan Yu calmly, but he couldn't say anything. Do you know? When you said this, I was doomed to death. Hazard changed his view and adjusted his emotions very quickly. You mean? Lan Yu glanced at the sleeping friend Hōgyoku in the corner, his omniscience and omnipotence. It seems you know everything. Hazard was taken aback, and he couldn't understand how Lan Yu knew. Do you think that when he wakes up, he will know what I said, then jealous of you, and then kill you? When Lan Yu said this, he couldn't help laughing. Apart from Lan Yu's words, can you see the so-called omniscient and omnipotent of Yhwach? Even if you see, it doesn't matter if you are a Hōgyoku. What? My friend's most trusted subordinate hates me, want to kill me. What a fun. Yhwach didn't care what his subordinates thought of him, anyway they were money ants that could be killed at any time. That's just one aspect. Hazard recalled the past and spoke calmly. You have awakened the hatred in my heart, how should I face your majesty? According to the plan, I can't do it, in the eyes of everyone in the Invisible Empire. Hazard is the most loyal subordinate to Hōgyoku, even Basby thinks so. Moreover, Hazard did exactly that, suppressing all hatred and turning into the most loyal subordinates. Buzz. 07 At this time, Lan Yu tapped the void lightly. When Hazard looked at it, his heart was shocked again. That is a screen projection. The projection is, a long time ago. My name is Bartsby. What is your name? Yuglin Hazard. You are so weak, I will follow you in the future, lest you die. Thanks, thank you. See the screen projection, Hazard was lost. When they were young, Hazard and Busby met in the forest, and the two became friends. My family is in the forest, without parents, I have always lived with my uncle. Ah, it's so pitiful, my family is in a town, and my family is there. You are so happy. Of course, now, this rabbit and buttons are all given to you, from now on, you will be my little brother. I will teach you all the skills and make you the strongest Quincy. Hazard couldn't help but smile. When I was young, I was really weak. I was protected by Bartsby and wanted to play in the forest together. When each other's happiness was destroyed, what a despair and hatred it was. During Lan Yu's words, speed up the picture. Scenes flashed in front of Hazard's eyes, making him a little nostalgic. Next moment. 6 months after he met Busby, Yhwach conquered the north. The forest where Hazard's family was located was set on fire by Yhwach. His uncle was also burned to death. The town where Busby lived was also burned and his family died. Dead. All dead. Seeing this, the calm Hazard couldn't help crying silently. Hometown and family of him and Busby, all died under the tyranny of Yhwach. Ah, why, damn friend Hōgyoku, I will kill him, Hazard, we want revenge. $7. In order to kill Yhwach, the two survived on the gold dug from the ruins and worked hard. Both of them decided to become Hōgyoku's guard and kill him. 5 years later, Hazard was found by Yhwach and told that it was his half-length, and was taken away for training. 3 years later, Busby entered the Knights of the Star-Cross. At this time, Hazard was already the commander. Under one person, above 10,000 people. You are his personal guard, why don't you start? There must be a chance. I am loyal to your majesty, you have changed, Hazard. I just found a new pursuit, so don't talk about hatred anymore. This is my warning, Busby. The picture stopped abruptly. Hazard became silent. You are more tolerant than anyone. You are waiting for a chance to kill Yhwach. Lan Yu spoke again, leaving Hazard speechless. He felt that everything about himself could not be hidden from this man. Yes. My life is in the hands of your majesty, and all my plans and strengths have no effect on omniscience and omnipotence. Yhwach fell asleep, Lan Yu pointed it out, and Hazard opened his heart and couldn't help sighing. Your majesty, you can't kill, Busby. I don't understand your majesty's power at all, and I can't find any chance for revenge. Lan Yu's forehead. The people of the Star-Crossed Knights wanted to kill Yhwach, it was purely a dream. Even if Yhwach is sleeping, they don't have any chance. The only chance. Just waiting for hundreds of years later, the creature named the protagonist appears and pits friends at a critical moment. Directly pit to death. Lan Yu lightly touched the void again. When the picture appeared again, Hazard's eyes widened in disbelief. Shit. A young man with short orange hair, holding a big knife, slashed towards Yhwach. Swipe across. Die, moreover, there is no resurrection. Advertisement. This is impossible, Hazard could not understand. Your majesty, who is omniscient and omnipotent, will be resurrected even if he dies, but this is one of the countless possibilities in the future. The moment Lan Yu descended on Soul Society, the future had changed. He could only intercept a future possibility that the Empire did not affect, the closest possibility to the original. The omniscience and omnipotence want to change the future of death only if they change it. Lan Yu lifted the projection and said with certainty. If he treats death as a dream and doesn't change it, then he is really dead. And you? It's to let you, who think death is a dream, kill you indirectly. I see. Hazard suddenly realized a lot. This may be the only way to kill your majesty. After nightfall, Hazard can exchange power with Yhwach, can use his omnipotent abilities, and can foresee the future. If I foresee the death of your majesty in the night, and say it in a calm tone. The arrogant majesty, it is very likely that he will treat it as a joke, as a dream, and ignore it. If you don't change, you won't change the ending of death, you will really die. Even so, Hazard thought it was very difficult. First of all, there must be someone who can contend with your majesty. Thought of this, Hazard looked at Lan Yu. It seems you have made a decision. Lan Yu is overwhelming the invisible empire, and has no other meaning, just come here to have a look. After all, he was also the master of the invisible empire of ninja, only changed the country name. You haven't recovered. Lan Yu is not interested in making a move. If there is a windfall, that's not bad. At this moment, the disease of bone is as deep as the abyss. This blood-red crime will end until the death. Hazard murmured once before Lan Yu was able to say something, and fell on his knees. If you can, get revenge, I am willing to work for adults. It used to be hopeless. Hope is here now. The hate in Hazard's heart can no longer be hidden, it is an unforgettable hate. You have tolerated it for many years, don't you mind waiting for a few hundred years? Lan Yu's words stunned Hazard. Of course he can afford to wait, but isn't it the best chance to kill you now? Can't do it, but I believe the man in front of me can do it. Sleeping friend, I can't raise any interest in fighting. It is still hundreds of years before you recover. Lan Yu's voice has a hint of expectation. Only the pinnacle can have a chance to please me. Wow. Hazard was in a trance. This sentence is rather plain, like a dragon fighting a little snake, as a game. Seen from the side, Lan Yu is a little bit more confident than Yhwach, but Hazard doesn't feel any conceit, but takes it for granted. There is a magnificent battle. Will it be convenient to watch it with me after 10 minutes? Lan Yu tapped the void again, showing Hokage picture. I would like to accompany your majesty to watch the battle. Hazard bowed and spoke. His majesty. Lan Yu couldn't help but look at Hazard with admiration. He was sure that he hadn't told his identity. I believe that you can coerce the invisible empire, and even the Soul Society, will be the only great emperor who rules the four realms. Hazard said sincerely. Although there is a big difference, on the surface, you are right. Lan Yu didn't explain anything. The four realms that Hazard said. The world, Hōgyoku Mundo, Soul Society, Hell. As for the Spirit King 470 Palace and the Invisible Empire, they are not one world, but a different space. And GNU rule. The world of Ninja, Heaven, Shanghai, and the world of the Four Worlds in Hazard's mouth, the spiritual world. Watch the battle, the two who shot, and the two children, will be your trusted comrades and companions in the future. Lan Yu calmly looked at the projection. Hazard also looked over, and he also wanted to know the information of Lan Yu's subordinates. East of Soul Society. Hokage 66 District. Let go of me, you fellow, it's shameful to put me down. Ha 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 ha, there are students in the class, how can I not have Hashirama? Damn it, who is your student? I have a teacher. Really? Call your teacher out, I promise not to kill him. Hashirama grabbed a little boy's leg, lifted it upside down, like a chicken, and returned again. Little boy. It looks a few years older than the younger Aizen, about 8 years old. Light yellow short hair, army green eyes, throwing and struggling in Hashirama's hands. Madara, I'm back, Hashirama yelled, and Jonin couldn't help smiling. I have a student too, I believe Shousuke will not be worse than yours. Little Aizen. One of you calls me Xiaoji, and the other calls me Shaoran, it's all black history. This slip. But Aizen ignored it, eating and drinking all kinds of food that Madara brought out. Little Aizen has a happy and clean smile on his face. Children are easy to be satisfied. Idiot. Uchiha Madara glanced at the assistant in Hashirama's mouth and snorted. Madara, go dancing, and you too. My class accepts mounts, so do you. My class accepts students, so do you. Are you on the bar with me, Madara? Chasing here? Hashirama was about to say something and looked back. When Hashirama brought her back to Kosuke, she was discovered by a Shinigami. Hashirama didn't care, and he didn't expect the other party to chase him. Besides, it's still a woman. After Hashirama finished speaking, Ban also spoke. Ryotsu is not a weak woman. Chapter 4. Your Harakazuki is so angry at me Aizen, you know Hana Retsu is dancing. Advertisement. I felt the intent to fight from her, extremely pure intent to fight. Uchiha Madara added another sentence. Hashirama is also the first jaw, and Zu Madara never underestimates any woman. Especially this new world. Lan Yu didn't give any information, and they couldn't figure out how strong the people here are. But judging from the concentration of the soul, it is enough to give birth to a strong man beyond the original ninja world. Since chasing it. Let's fight then. Don't even think about running, I said you were my student, you are. Hashirama smiled. Throwing the little kid carrying him to Aizen's side. Slip, little Aizen gave the boy with light yellow short hair a look and continued to eat and drink. Hey, it smells so good, The little boy sniffed, his eyes lit up, and he immediately ignored the fact that he was caught. Wow, look, there's a dragon there. The little boy suddenly pointed to the distance and opened his mouth, trying to divert his attention. But the little Aizen said without looking up, boring, trick. You weren't fooled. The little boy was surprised, and then took a peek at Zumadara, and whispered. Are you also caught by the bad guy? They don't seem to be Shinigami. Do you think the teacher can't hear it if the voice is quieter? Little Aizen wiped her mouth and touched her belly with a satisfied smile. No way? I bought you over a meal? You too. Looking at the attitude of the little Aizen, the little boy was about to continue to say something. This is Rukongai's 66th district. Aizen's eyes are sharp. Looking at what you are wearing, you should not worry about food and clothing. Even if you are not from Jinglingting, it is the first few districts of Rukongai, right? This is the first time I have a full meal. The little boy was startled. He is indeed the soul of the eastern part of Soul Society, Rukongai 1 district. 1 district is well clothed and stable. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the back garden of Shinigami. I am having fun with my friends. Unexpectedly, Hashirama, who was kicked by Madara, fell from the sky and happened to fall beside him. Then, the moment Hashirama saw the little boy, he realized that he was the best in spiritual power and Ryotsu among his peers in the surrounding area. Child, be my student. I do not, you promised? Very good. I mean, I don't want it, I understand, don't just want it, children will fall like this. Thinking of the previous experience, the little boy was weak, did he fall into the devil's claws? Blame him for being so good, Feel sorry, the little boy apologized, and then changed the subject. A soul with a strong spiritual power can survive by absorbing the soul, and it also needs to eat and drink. This type of soul is rare even in District 1. It seems that you are the same as me. Genius. Genius? Little Aizen said calmly. A boring title, if you want to be a strong one, you rely on will. That's right, I mean the same. The little boy grinned, then stretched out his hand and said, My name is Urahara Kazuki, I am 8 years old this year, how about you? Anyway, it was a student captured by Master Hashirama, and Xiao Lanliang was about to shake hands. I saw Urahara Kazuki raising his hand to tidy up his hair, and yelled. I was carried over by the guy who claimed to be a teacher, and my hairstyle was messed up. Seeing Xiao Aizen's expression stagnated, little Kazuki suddenly laughed while holding his belly. I just fixed my hair, you think I'm going to shake hands? You are so stupid, ha 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 ha. I'm stupid? I remember you, the 5-year-old Aizen was asked once by the 8-year-old shopkeeper. The people in District 1 are so bad, his 66 area is still too simple. Your student's personality is as bad as yours. Uchiha Madara hummed with her arms folded. I think it's great, it's so interesting. Hashirama smiled. Unexpectedly, the witty little Aizen was actually asked for it by the little Kazuki. This made Hashirama more determined. My students will not be worse than Aizen in the future. Another famous scene was created. Lan Yu in the hall was a little surprised. Little Aizen was accepted as a student by Madara, provided that Lan Yu paid attention to it. And the little shopkeeper became a Hashirama student. That is pure coincidence. It is a miracle. Your Majesty, admitting students to Soul Society is a very serious matter. Hasward beside him couldn't help but speak. From the projection point of view, Madara should be the elite subordinates of His Majesty. And those 2 children, forgive him for not seeing much. Some people, even if they are really ordinary, but become students of Madara, they are destined to be extraordinary. Not to mention, they are really good. Lan Yu's words were good, which made Hasward's eyes look sideways. It seemed that he was blind-eyed. The battle is about to begin. Hearing Lan Yu's words, Hasward saw a figure appearing in the projection, and he was also a little puzzled. Your Majesty clearly said that the magnificent battle will begin in 10 minutes, but this is less than 5 minutes, right? Misjudgment. Or, not this one, I am very sure. In Shinigami, there are no 2 of you, are they all accidents? A calm voice sounded, and a seemingly gentle and elegant woman with long black hair appeared. Deity costume. It's Shinigami. Little Kazuki's eyes lit up, with admiration in his eyes. His first dream was to become a Shinigami in the lingering court. Little Aizen said coldly, in this case, I advise you not to shout. I don't need you to remind me, little idiot. Little Kazuki smiled brightly. Do you really think you were smarter than me? Little Aizen suddenly wanted to hit someone. This guy wanted to play as soon as he came, and the experience was very poor. Yes, isn't it? Little Kazuki smiled even more happily. What happened just now? I can laugh for a lifetime. Damn it. Advertisement. Little Aizen squeezed his fist, then let it go, and soon returned to calm. Little Kazuki is a little different. How old are you? You have learned to control your emotions. Although it is a little bit worse than me, it is not bad. Your remarks are really interesting, the future is very long, I hope you can always remain confident. There was a faint smile on Little Aizen's face. Seeing this, Little Kazuki also smiled. You can't fight for intelligence, you can't do anything else, don't cry in the future. Ignore. Little Aizen ignored it. Little Kazuki couldn't help shrugging, you have no sense of humor, little fool. Little Aizen's eyelids twitched. He finally understood why the class teacher couldn't control his emotions and wanted to hit someone as soon as he saw Lord Hashirama. Some people just owe it. The other side, although I don't know what you mean by the disaster, but you look like you want to fight us. Hashirama said, looking at the woman in front, feeling full of contradictions. Obviously looks gentle and elegant, but I can feel a hidden bloodthirsty madness, like a demon. These are two extremes, fighting is everything. The female Shinigami's gentle convergence, the war intent on her body was washed away, she stroked Zanpakuto lightly and slowly spoke. Gode 13, Captain of the 11th Division, Yunohana Retsu. Dit. Hasward, who looked at the projection, instantly remembered the identity of the other party. Yunohana Retsu was once called by the Soul Society, the greatest villain in history. Killing like hemp. Very combative, autistic master all the genres and swordsmanship in the world have named himself, Yachinlu. After losing to the captain, he was included in the ranks and became the captain of the 11th squad in first generation Gode 13. It's still the captain of the 11th squad, and he really came too early. Looking at Yunohana Retsu, Lan Yu thought of Kenpachi, who was even crazier. After becoming the captain of the 11th division, she went to Rukongai to look for a hero she liked in the name of crusade against Rukongai gangsters. She unexpectedly met Kenpachi, a young man, and was attacked by him and stabbed Shangbone. Then the two sides confronted each other and was defeated by Kenpachi. Just abdicate. Changed to the captain of the 4th division, the main medical care. At that time, Yunohana Retsu was able to completely restrain the fighting spirit, gentle and elegant. Holy Empire, Senju Hashirama. Looking at Madara, who was holding her arms and closing her eyes, Senju Hashirama stepped forward and said with a chuckle. Madara doesn't look down on women, but likes not to fight women, he. So much nonsense. Uchiha Madara stepped up. Direct Hashirama to Yunohana Retsu. Bakudo 66 Light Prisons. Yunohana Retsu raised his hand to make the void flash, and the bright light of 6 paths burst in an instant. Hashirama, who was flying upside down, was directly tied in the air. Huh? Spiritual power bondage? Hashirama felt the restraint. And Yunohana Retsu did not stand still, raising both hands, condensing the crimson light. Hado 31 Red Cannon. The crimson light flourished, suddenly turned into a crimson fireball, and rushed towards Hashirama. Boom. The chained Hashirama was directly submerged by the fireball and burst into a roar. As this Shinigami, Little Aizen was dizzy. The spiritual barrier set up by Ban around the two little ones hindered the assault. Little Kazuki was stunned. That guy won't die, right? As Hashirama said. Little Kazuki said no, in fact, he also wanted a strong teacher to lead the way. As for the teacher he said before, naturally there is no such thing. Although Hashirama is a bit worried, but it is very affinity, and the young Kazuki has secretly approved it in his heart. But it's gone in a blink of an eye. Xiao Ming, you two look down on me as a teacher. You have to educate you well in the future. With the sound, Hashirama walked out of the dust unharmed and smiled lightly. Your dance is very fierce. Hados 58, Zhao Hao, Inquiry Post. Yunohana Retsu gave up the chant, raised his hand, and a huge whirlwind rushed over. Do not, Hashirama quickly moved away. Will, at the same time Hashirama stepped away. Yunohana Retsu's Zanpakuto was instantly unsheathed, and his figure flashed and slashed towards Hashirama. Sales Monument. Hashirama raised his hand with the spirit knife to block, and the two of them sent a powerful wave between the blades, and their spirit power rioted. The 88 of Hado Flying Dragon strikes thieves and shocks Thunder Cannon. Yunohana Retsu attacked fiercely. He slashed with a knife in his right hand, and raised his left hand to abandon the huge straight beam of chanting. Spiritual Power 800 Shields. Layers of spiritual barriers instantly blocked Hashirama's body. Boom. Hundreds of layers burst instantly, and the huge straight beam of light that struck shook open and turned into a skylight beam, rushing straight into the sky. Wood Spirit's Laughing Buddha. Ignoring the splashing spiritual power, Hashirama launched a counterattack, raising his hand to cause the earth to roar. Dozens of huge wooden hands measuring tens of meters broke the ground. Surround Yunohana Retsu. Coming like a mountain, all wooden hands launched a stormy bombardment at her. Boom. At this moment, Lingza riots, inside the jingling pavilion. Many Shinigami looked over, especially in a room. The bald old man with a long white beard sitting cross-legged opened his eyes and heard a low voice. Travel disaster, be blamed, Chapter 5. The solution is all. Ryotsu is like a terrifying old man in the bright sun. Advertisement. The earth quaked. Lingza roars. Senju Hashirama Laughing Buddha Jutsu appeared with dozens of wooden hands, showing violent power. Just like small meteorites, they continuously cover Yunohana Retsu without stopping. The spiritual power covered by the wooden hands even burst into energy tides between collisions, giving deeper destruction. The entire 66 district is shaking. Ah, too strong. Little Kazuki jumped excitedly when he saw such a random and terrifying attack for the first time. Teacher, I want to learn this guy. Little Aizen couldn't help but gave Lil Kazuki a look. If he changed it to him, he really couldn't make such an excited and screaming action. Obviously smarter than himself. But why can't you just be more stable? No, he is smarter than me. How could I have this idea? Little Aizen immediately shook his head, and spit out 2 words calmly, naive. What are you talking about? Little fool. Little Kazuki immediately stared at him, then grinned and said, don't pretend, you are less knowledgeable than me, and you are calm on the surface, but in fact you are almost flying with excitement in your heart, right? Little idiot a few years younger than me, damn it. Little Aizen broke the defense again. Is this guy deliberately angry with me? Aizen, I really want to hit someone. Seeing her student being bullied by Hashirama's students again, Uchiha Madara said lightly. Unbearable, no need to endure, the most famous saying. Let's get out of all the calmness and emotional control. Aizen wants the class teacher to beat Senior Hashirama to kill this B***********. Just jump off for me. Little Aizen just jumped up with a kick. This foot was unremarkable, but he directly flew the little Kazuki. It hurts. Little Kazuki couldn't help but touch his teeth. As soon as he raised his head, he felt black in front of him, and little Aizen punched him when he went up. Call. Little Aizen immediately felt refreshed, and was instantly addicted, so he hit the little 480 Kazuki. That's it. Uchiha Madara nodded appreciatively. Calmness and composure were given to Aizen by the class, but some people are always the nemesis. For example, Hashirama, being able to speak at will can make the Uncle Ban emotionally out of control. What can you bear? Just hit it. Hey, stop, be careful, if I zoom in, you will die. Little Kazuki rolled on the spot and hid, screaming with one panda eye open. A big move that will die? Little Aizen's movements subconsciously stagnated. It's now. Little Kazuki rolled on the spot, added a sliding shovel, raised his foot to kick the little Aizen, stood up and laughed. Little fool, you were fooled again, ha 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 ha. Damn it, I fight you. Little Aizen rushed up to fight with Little Kazuki, showing the madness of the 66 Area Soul, which made the Little Kazuki of Area 1 fall into the wind. Sure enough, they are all children. The fighting between the two was so unsightly that Uchiha Madara looked back. Black history. Lan Yu was playing the projection while holding the camera and shooting casually. This made Hazard thought. If you read it right, Your Majesty is recording the jokes of the two children? What is the meaning of this? Your Majesty's thinking is really unpredictable. Hazard marveled inwardly. Lan Yu was speechless. He was just taking pictures on a whim, and maybe he could see their wonderful expressions when Aizen and Kazuki grew up. It is also a good memory. Record the friendship between the two. The attack continued for a while, and the moment Hashirama stopped, a wave of Ryotsu erupted from the center of the ruin. Darkness. Death. Blood. There was also a murderous aura that was more terrifying than Ryotsu, swept out like a tsunami, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. Hiss. Aizen and Kazuki shivered when they felt cold inside. If it weren't for Madara's spiritual barrier, the two children would be attacked by murderous intent and Ryotsu, and died instantly. Guru, what is this? When little Kazuki and little Aizen looked back, they saw a piece of red, as if the whole world was dyed red. This kind of murderous aura, how many people did she kill, obviously looks very gentle. Hashirama couldn't help frowning. Could this woman named Huali have a demon in her heart? Grumbling. At this time, Zu Madara was surprised to find that the surrounding land, buildings, and even the void were constantly bleeding. Pieces of black and red blood constantly seeped from all directions, presenting a scene full of deathly silence. Solved, all done, accompanied by a cold whisper, a stronger Ryotsu erupted. Boom. 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 As Ryotsu erupted, pillars of blood rose into the sky and the surrounding earth. A strong bloody breath swept across the 66 districts and spread to other districts. The blood completely stained the sky and the earth. What happened there? Good Ryotsu, Shinigami is fighting in Rukongai. Is blood soaring to the sky? The advantage of the Soul Society Tianyuan place is that as long as there is something rising into the sky, you can see it anywhere. After all, they are all on the same level, tit. Shinigami's eyes condensed when she saw the bloody sky, the pink haori, and the headband. Who angered her is really troublesome. The man drank his drink and murmured in a frivolous manner. It would be nice to know that I would have gone to bed drunk, so that I won't see it and I don't have to work on vacation. If your words are heard by the teacher, you will definitely have to take up the training again, Shunshui. A man with long white hair came up with a light smile. Did I say anything? Kiraku Shunsui stretched lazily, then coughed lightly. Please don't tell the teacher, Jashiro. Jashiro Yukitaki no longer joked, staring into the distance and said, if it is his own person, this kind of scene will definitely not appear, then it is a powerful travel disaster of illegal entry into Soul Society. It must be very strong, you see. Kiraku Shunsui pointed to the figure flying across the sky. It's really hockey. The teacher's flying movements are worth learning for hundreds of years. It shocked the teacher. Jashiro was a little surprised. Advertisement Kiraku Shunsui also converged and frivolous and said in a deep voice, since the teacher has passed, then it must be no problem. Tell the other Shinigami, don't go there if it's okay. I'll go over and take a look. Jashiro has a black line. Sure enough, you went to the theater. Travel disaster, you completely liberated the AHFJ, killing intent in my heart, are you ready to die? Unohana Retsu walked out of the sea of blood, the knife in his hand was dripping blood, and even his eyes were red. Department of Biology Zanpakuto. Meet Shizuku. Shikai is a creature similar to a devilfish, the main ability to fly and heal. But when it has been solved, there are two extremes. Really a woman full of contradictions. The gentleness and elegance before turned into bloodthirsty at this moment, making Hashirama trance for an instant. Pin. In the next moment, Ujiwa arrived in front of Hashirama, holding a sword in her right hand. Hashirama's spiritual blade collided with it. The blood on Ru Shizuka kept going in and out. Chang chang chang. There were dozens of collisions in an instant, and Unohana Retsu forced Hashirama to retreat like a madman. What a madman's kendo, in this respect, I am inferior to you. Hashirama exclaimed. The opponent reduced the complexity to simplicity, and every blow was extremely delicate. Dark sword. Ujiwa said nothing but fierce. When slashing with her right hand, her left hand took the opportunity to attack with the dark sword in her sleeve. Wow! Hashirama condensed spiritual power in his hand, and directly blasted the dark sword that struck. Puff! In the next moment, Hashirama felt a pain in his right hand and a long narrow wound appeared on his right arm. Your knife. Really interesting. Hashirama didn't care about the wound, but looked at the knife in Ujiwa's hand. The knife turned into a curved blood blade, suddenly bend, and stroke Hashirama's right arm. The strong. The absolute strong. At this moment, Uchiha Madara looked into the distance, clearing his sense of war. The strong from afar. Before arriving, Madara felt a crisis and excited all the cells. Hashirama. Clear. Hashirama's eyes condensed, and a gleam of light appeared on his hands, suddenly bursting. Form a space portal. With the help of dimensional jade, Lan Yu gave the column Madara's subspace door, opening the space channel back to the Holy Empire at any time. Whizzing. Uchiha Madara grabbed Aizen and Kazuki and threw them into the subspace door. He turned to look at Yunohana Retsu. Women, you can go in too. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Boom. The sudden and terrible repulsion exploded. Ji Huli wanted to escape, but the range was too large, sealing all the places where he retreated. Yunohana Retsu raised the knife to resist, but still suffered the full impact of repulsion. The streamer flashed. Yunohana Retsu was blasted into the subspace gate. Buzz. The subspace door is closed. Sending away the little Aizen and the little Kazuki, it is Madara who wants to fight and has no intention of taking care of the two children. Sending away Huli, incidentally. The strong. As soon as the subspace door closed, Zu Madara and the two saw a bald old man with a clean old breath appearing in front of him. The unconscious Ryatsu that made Madara seem to see the bright sun. Unfathomable. Number 1. The moment the old man arrived, he made a strong shot. He rushed to Uchiha Madara at an extremely fast speed and made a quick attack with one hand. So fast. Uchiha Madara subconsciously raised his hand to block, and suddenly felt a powerful force coming and flew directly backwards. Double number. As Hashirama stared, the old man turned and rushed towards him again. Fight with two fists. Double the power. Hashirama blocked the moment and was also blown away. Uchiha Madara turned over in midair with spiritual power, landed and glided upside down for hundreds of meters, making a long and narrow crack on the ground. Boom boom boom. And Hashirama, who was attacked by two bones, turned into a streamer, smashed a building, and fell into ruins. It's him? Looking at the projected hazard, the voice was uncontrollable and let out a cry. Founder of Gode 13, founder of Spiritual Arts Academy. Yamamoto Genryusai Heavy Country, really Hockey's old man. Once he came, Madara was disarmed. Lan Yu couldn't help but admire, because this name is so long, it's not comparable to ordinary Shinigami. Captain Yamamoto, long admired the name, sure enough you were very strong. Uchiha Madara glanced in the direction of Hashirama, and when he stood up, only the old man in front of him was left in his eyes. Yunohana Retsu. Captain Yamamoto found that Yunohana Retsu was missing, and even Ryatsu could not perceive it. The blood on the ground is also fading, as if leaving Soul Society. As for death, Captain Yamamoto never thought about this possibility. Yunohana Retsu who solved it was not comparable to ordinary captains. Such a short time. Impossible to be killed. Thinking of this, Captain Yamamoto couldn't help but sharpen his eyes. Sure enough, it was a travel disaster. The old man will not forgive anyone who neglects justice. Chapter 6. The huge gap felt by Zu Madara, Captain Yamamoto draws his sword. Advertisement, don't shout, it's so noisy. Huh, I'm not dead. Huh, naive. Yes, I'm naive, but you are still a little fool. Little Aizen's face suddenly turned black. He found out that this guy named Urahara Kazuki really damn it, calling him a little idiot addicted, isn't it? Madara shouted Shaoji, Hashirama shouted Shaoran, this guy shouted a fool. Aizen will always remember this day. Hey, do you know where this is? Take out the training ground, pass an ID card of the sacred troops, let me take a look. The sudden explosion in the ear surprised the two of them. I looked up and saw a green-haired boy who was a few years older than them, staring sharply at them. What ID? Little Kazuki was puzzled. Little Aizen looked into the distance with a daze. Here is a square with no end in sight, and people can be seen everywhere, fighting, discussing, or training. And then look into the distance. It is a piece of high-rise buildings, flashing dreamy colors in the night. Don't know the ID. Zoro, who was already 11 years old, immediately stared, then looked at the two of them carefully, and said in amazement. Are you a spirit body? Pot. A knife was aimed at Zoro and recovered Yunohana Retsu who had been solved, and said coldly. Tell me where this is. Lingza concentration is not high. It's definitely not Soul Society, it's not the virtual circle in hell, it's not the world. Because this world is still in ancient times. The high-rise buildings in the distance and the unknown objects passing by in the sky made Yunohana Retsu extremely surprised. There are other worlds. Good knife. Zoro directly ignored Sister Wa, staring at the sword, and then grinned. Are you going to fight me? Come on. Let you see how powerful the three swords are. Mido stream. Sister Wa couldn't help laughing. Funny kid, have you heard of Yachin Liu? 8 or 8,000 streams? Zoro's eyes widened incomprehensibly. Does this woman use 8,000 knives? Immediately, Zoro stared. Damn it woman, do you think I'm an idiot? Why don't you say 80,000 streams? Chang. 3 knives were unsheathed. After Aizen and Kazuki hated, Zoro also grabbed a knife. What is this operation? Although I don't want to hit you, but I have to say that your way is going crooked. Judging by Yunohana Retsu's countless years of experience, the third knife that Zoro said is completely cumbersome. It may be able to increase some power, but the time wasted on the third knife is enough to make the power of the double knife and the single knife stronger. Yes. Zoro's eyes sharpened for the first time when he heard someone belittle Sandao so much. 9 mountains and 8 seas, those who have no self. 3 swords style profound truth 3000 worlds. It's all flaws. When Zoro attacked, Yunohana Retsu retracted the knife into its sheath, raised his finger and tapped it. What? Seeing the slender fingers and the 3 knives that had put him together in the air, Zoro couldn't help but shrink his pupils. I said, your path is crooked. Yunohana Retsu smiled gently. If you spend your time studying 2 or 1 knife, you will improve faster. Sister Wa flicked. Zoro's 3 knives were all shot off, leaving Zoro in a daze. It was not the strength of Sister Wa that he was in a daze. After all, there are too many people in the Empire who are stronger than him, and there are countless people who can kill him in seconds. But no one had ever told him about the 3 sword style problem. In the original trajectory, Zoro was because 1 or 2 knives couldn't beat Kuina, so he wanted to beat the opponent with more knives. After Kuina's death, Zoro firmed up his idea. Take Kuina's knife, take her dream, and become stronger together. But not now. Zoro only played with Kuina once. The mind is still stagnant as long as enough knives are enough, and there is not much obsession. It is the stage where the 3 sword flow can be abandoned. I'm defeated, come on, Zoro opened his hands suddenly. It's a shame for the swordsman to be injured behind the back. Interesting. Sister Wa murmured. This little devil seemed to meet the crazy fierce general she was looking for. Puff. Sister Wa started sharply. The moment the knife was unsheathed, Zoro had a narrow wound on his body. It hurts. Little Kazuki felt pain when he looked at it. Little Aizen's eyes flickered. He is the kind of teacher Madara said, a child who is qualified to be a strong one. This strange Ryotsu. From the spirit world, as the voice sounded. A group of figures flashed on the square. Obito, Kakashi, Shiki, Rayleigh and others of the Holy Army. The aura that everyone unconsciously exudes made Aizen and Kazuki hold their breath. They are so strong. Little Kazuki felt uncomfortable and immediately shouted, my own person, my teacher is. Sorry, he didn't say anything. You don't even know the teacher's name. Little Aizen's eyelids jumped, and he stepped forward to keep as calm as possible. Seniors, I am Aizen Sosuke, teacher Uchiha Madara, he is Urahara Kazuki, teacher Senju Hashirama. What? Obito's eyes almost popped out. Let's forget Mr. Hashirama, but the ruthless class adult also accepts students. U2 Bratz Deidara stepped forward, pinching Aizen's face with one hand and rubbing Kazuki's hair with the other. She was extremely envious and said, I don't see where you were better, are you handsome when I was a kid? Jealous, you are jealous. Little Kazuki broke free, seeming to understand Hashirama's high status and suddenly became hardened. Grab my hair again, be careful, I sue you, let my teacher beat you. Very smart idea, but at the same time you offend me. Advertisement Deidara was full of demonic smiles. Since you are students of 2 adults, let's go and take you to the baptism. Baptism? Little Aizen and little Kazuki couldn't help but tremble. They always felt that it was not a good thing. Deidara nodded and said casually, I remember I first joined the Holy Soldiers, and I was beaten and disabled 26 times in a month. The most ruthless one is 5. Cough, cough, all limbs and bones, and they were cured on the same day, what a beautiful memory. Demon. Devil. Little Kazuki immediately shouted, no, I'm still a kid. Scream, I was only 4 years old at that time, Deidara said with disdain. Aizen held his breath and said, I think the teacher's teaching is enough. I don't want you to think, I want me to think. The Deidara thief laughed and carried the 2 of them and left. I'm doing it for your own good. I will adapt in advance. Otherwise, Master Ban will definitely be more ruthless. This is a great talent under the Empire's cudgel. The 2 children were born unloved at once. The other side. Yunohana Retsu looked at Konan in front of him and said calmly, beautiful lady, please tell me, what kind of world is this? It seems that coming to your empire was just an accident. Konan could feel the strong vigilance and hostility on Sister Wa, and immediately said, if you have enough courage, follow me. Courage? It's been a long time since I heard it. Sister Wa smiled slightly and followed Konan. Seeing Sister Wa who was leaving, Rayleigh said solemnly, it seems that the new world named by your majesty is very strong. That's best. Kakashi looked forward to it, now. East of Soul Society. Rukongai 66 District, Titicaca. The collision of fists and fists unfolded here. Captain Yamamoto fought against Madara with 1 opponent and 2 with his fists. 0. Look for flowers, cut the fist and go ghost, Shinigami is required. Kendo, white hits, Shunpo, Kido. It was just white hits physical skills, which was demonstrated vividly in Captain Yamamoto, completely suppressing the 2 Madaras. Essence and spirit, mind and body skills. Soldiers are elective, generals are required. Even if Zu Madara's physical skills are at the top of the empire, it is still difficult to make up for the gap with the captain. Your Majesty, Yuan Luze is just a test at the moment, wanting to see the origins of the 2. Looking at the projection, Hazard said calmly, He is as unfathomable as Wang Yanghai. There is an incalculable gap between Captain Shinigami and the usual. Lan Yu's forehead. If the ordinary captain is regarded as a 5-star, some captains can even have a 6-star performance or even higher. The pure combat power of Yuan Luze Saji is 9-star. At this stage, in the entire spiritual world, no one can stand head-on with it. Head-to-head, which Shinigami dared to touch the knife that the captain had released? If you just look at the original, Shinigami's battle is Ryatsu's battle, this sentence, it collapsed later. It's a mess. But this is the real world. Your Majesty, Yuan Luze is definitely an obstacle to attacking Soul Society. Does it need to be planned? Zero Hazard groaned. Why planning? Lan Yu is very clear. In the face of absolute power, any conspiracy is useless. In the original book, the captain can be defeated or even killed. Whatever the reason, it can only be said that he is not strong enough. But Lan Yu people, enough, at present, the superb 2-star strength of destroying Jupiter is enough to suppress everything in the spiritual world. However, after all, the Empire can't rely on Lan Yu alone, all the subordinates need to grow. His Majesty, looking up at Lan Yu's indifferent glance, Hazard's voice trembled a little. Compared to Yu's arrogance, what Hazard saw in Lan Yu was only the stalwart. Boom. Both fists slammed back Madara. Captain Yamamoto said in a low voice. Tell the old man, your history may make your death easier. Huh, then let's dance. Uchiha Madara felt the blood all over her body boiling, and she felt the ultimate excitement in her heart. The gap is huge. So what, Madara, wait. Hashirama stopped the squad and looked forward solemnly. We come from a holy empire in another world, and the goal is to take the spiritual world. This need not be concealed. Outside world? Empire? The captain frowned slightly. What is the spirit world? Soul Society, the present world, Hōgyoku Mundo, Hell, the 4 realms are collectively referred to as the spiritual realm. Hashirama counted the spirit world carefully, and continued. There seems to be some special and different space like the spirit palace or the invisible empire. The captain's expression sank. He suddenly understood what a foreign world is, which has completely exceeded his knowledge of the world. Is it a world outside the world? The captain felt Hashirama deliberately aroused his anger. So, Hashirama repaired the scars on his body, and asked seriously, your strength is in the spirit world, where can you rank? As long as you take you, the old man will know everything. Captain Yamamoto didn't say any more, drew his sword instantly and slashed violently. Cut. There is no need to liberate, and Ryatsu gathers the blades with a very fast vertical cut. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Uchiha Madara's scarlet eyes instantly turned into lavender ripples, and he raised his hand to repel. Boom. Under Madara's gaze. The repulsive force he had just launched was directly cut a path by the captain, slashing and rushing forward. The tree world is coming. Boom. Chapter 7. The terrifying ability that amazed the captain, the solution, the fire sword. Advertisement brush. After Shinra Tianzheng broke open, Madara also avoided the remaining slash. Just when the captain continued to shoot, boom, the earth roared. Countless towering trees broke out of the ground, covering 66 districts at an extremely fast speed and spreading toward other districts. The primeval forest suddenly appeared. Hello, what's the situation? Kyoraku Shunsui, who came from the Lingling Palace, couldn't help but retreat in shock. Pieces of towering trees spread wildly, forcing Chunshui to withdraw from several districts. Only then did it stop, making Chunshui dazed. This ability is amazing. The magnificent forest that is endless. Kyoraku Shunsui couldn't think of anyone in Lingting who could cover such a large area. Those forests seem to have surplus, maybe they can cover the Sublime Palace? Spiritual power doesn't need money, right? Chi. After Hashirama began to descend from the tree world, he controlled countless trees, turned into long snakes, and swept toward the captain. Not an ordinary tree. Captain Yamamoto saw at a glance that every leaf on these woods contains strong spiritual power. This is crazy. The spiritual power consumed is incalculable. However, Shinigami's battle was Ryatsu's battle, and Captain Yamamoto's eyes were cold. It may be troublesome to deal with other captains, but in front of the old man, your wood is extremely ridiculous. The forests are all ashes, and the blades are like a 530 fire. Shikai. The temperature is equivalent to the surface of the sun. At the moment when Yamamoto Captain Shikai, Zu and Madara once again saw Ryatsu advancing like a glorious day. Torch. Captain Yamamoto drew his sword in an instant. The tornado-shaped flame wall is so grand, it spins and burns rapidly, directly burning the branches and vines that hit it. With terrible power, they rushed towards the Madara II in a large area. Sword pressure, 99. Uchiha Madara's spirit blade slashed wildly, and 99 slashes like a pillar of thunder were combined into one. The hand of wooden golem. At the same time, Hashirama controlled a force behind the captain, forming a wooden golem that was hundreds of meters tall in an instant. The captain of the DPRK who obscured the sky pressed down. Boom. Madara's sword slashed and was destroyed by Song Ming, and a huge aftermath rushed. Fire-burning city. The captain turned around with a knife. The flame wall released by the blade was like a huge palm, and it smashed into wooden golem's hand and spread crazily throughout the body. Shitla boom. The huge wooden golem was burned immediately. This old man is too fierce. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but be speechless by the lightheartedness of the captain from start to finish. It is clear. Shikai's temperature of several thousand degrees is not terrible. What's terrible is the spiritual power in Ryotsu entrained by the flame entrained by the captain. When the high-temperature flame entrains Captain Ryotsu, it is a great horror, with a destructive power far exceeding several thousand degrees. Hashirama. Clear. Uchiha Madara flew towards the captain, while Hashirama was hidden, and in the middle of the road, Uchiha Madara raised his hand and attacked. Universal pull. The majestic gravitation swept across the captain. Uchiha Madara pulled hard. Gravitational. The strong Captain Ryotsu passed away in a flash, breaking the gravity directly. Shenluo Tianzheng. Uchiha Madara didn't care, and gravity suddenly transformed into a pressure rush. At the same moment, with the help of Hashirama, the god hidden in the forest, he came to the back of Yuan Luze in a flash and leapt up. Armed, bloody suit, meteorite, Hashirama jumped up and kicked towards Yuan Luze. This kick was armed to bless the power, and the bloody outfit blessed the power, such as a meteorite impact. Repulsive before. There was a raid afterwards, torch. Genryu Sai was extremely calm, and Ryotsu roared out and turned into a terrible flame. Boom. The torch instantly detonates all surrounding objects with flames, giving the enemy a zero-range attack. Repulsion was immediately destroyed by the flames that entrained Ryotsu, and Hashirama was the first to feel the horror of Genryu Sai. Tearing. The terrifying explosion blasted directly to Hashirama, slashed through the void in an instant, and crashed into the forest. Do not, Yuan Luze disappeared in place, and came to Madara in the next moment. So fast. Madara found that Genyunagi after Shikai was a lot faster than before. Torch. The ferocious Genryuze didn't give Madara any chance to react, and the tornado flame blasted out again, directly surrounding Madara. Boom. Under Yuan Lujai slightly frowned, his flames suddenly turned into nothingness and flew away from it. Just now. What ability? Yuan Luze was a little surprised to destroy his flames silently. Although the Ryotsu of these two people is far superior to the general captain level, but compared with the old man, it is too much, but the old man feels the danger. Brush. Yuan Lujai looked down, and Hashirama, who was attacked by his torch at a close range, retreated from the ruins to Madara's side. Hashirama, are you okay? Ahem, do you think I'm like this now, as if it's okay? Senju Hashirama coughed a bit of blood, his body was covered with scars, and a large area of his body was burned to the color of Kurozumi. Several thousand degrees of temperature unexpectedly exploded this kind of power, this guy is too strong. Senju Hashirama put away the confusion and was serious. The opponent's speed, strength, attack, especially the skillful combat experience, is definitely the strongest opponent the two have ever seen. Uchiha Madara was full of excitement. I'm not afraid that he is strong, I am afraid that he is not strong enough, and my blood starts to boil. Yeah, I haven't had blood for a long time. Senju Hashirama deeply agrees. Is Hashirama excited too? Then I recognize you even more? Advertisement. Even if it is lost, Uchiha Madara still has a license for hockey, and shouts with excitement. Among the opponents I have fought, no one can compare to you in terms of strength. My class would like to call you the strongest. In the Hall of the Invisible Empire, Hazard, who looked at the projection, didn't know what to say. The gap is so big, why are you still so excited? Hazard looked at Lan Yu, who was indifferent, and said solemnly, Your Majesty, since Yuan Lujai chooses to shoot, he will never stop. You mean let them retreat strategically? Lan Yu understood what Hazard meant, but asked, Is there anyone in the Star-Crossed Knights who can hurt him? Hearing this, Hazard said in deep thought, It is possible that M's miracle confrontation, C's enforcement, and X's penetration of everything can hurt him. Lan Yu's jaw. This is a good method. The miracle of immortality, confronting Yuan Luze, enforced, and forcibly controlled the movement of Yuan Luze, even for a moment, is enough to make everything penetrate through Yuan Luze. But, Hazard continued, Your Majesty, there are upper limits for abilities like this kind of near rule. If everything penetrates, theoretically all defenses are invalid. But if the gap is too large, it will offset this ability. The current Star-Crossed Knights are not strong enough. Naturally, so. Of course Lan Yu understands. The current Star-Crossed Knights are cultivating hard, in order to close the gap, when the ability is the real close rule. Near rule ability is just ability, you can't be effective for everyone. If Nagato and X are connected and can penetrate Lan Yu, that's hell. Just like White Zetsu's Ru, theoretically it can simulate all the opponent's strength and skills, but White Zetsu cannot simulate Lan Yu. The childlike fruits of sugar are also invalid, because the gap is too big. This is also the most surprising point of Hazard. This is just Shikai of Genryuze, and the two are obviously lost. Even if both of them have the ability to be close to the rules, it is difficult to fill the gap zero. Maybe there is a surprise. Lan Yu chose to wait and see. The injury is negated, under Yuan Lujai's side eyes. The burned Hashirama completely recovered in an instant, surpassing all high-speed regeneration and medical abilities. The ability of the treatment department? Yuan Luze squinted slightly, but he always felt that it wasn't all. Boom. Boom. In the next instant, Ryotsu burst out all over the pillar squad, and Ryotsu turned into a beam of light to skyrocket. End of the Eucharist, the all things of God. Amidst the skyrocketing Ryotsu, Uchiha Madara stood in the void, with a pair of jet black wings spread out behind him, making a dark sky armed. End Eucharist, the judgment of God. Senju Hashirama also stood on the volley, with bright white wings spread out behind him, illuminating the sky. Break. What is that? Two strands of Ryotsu soaring into the sky instantly caught the attention of Xiao Lingting's Shinigami again. East Hokage. The sky showed two brilliances, one black and one white. This dreamy scene stunned countless people. Good Ryotsu. Kiraku Shunsui also condensed his gaze, and then became lazy. Even so, I'm still far from the teacher. But what Chun Shui didn't know was, Yuan Lujai's heart is slightly condensed. This is Queen Master, it's not right, the shape is similar but the essence is different. Moreover, if there is a sense of danger, it has suddenly increased a lot. Brush. In an instant. Zhu Madara did not start any big moves, and rushed towards Genryuze. Shen Luo Vientian Shen Luo Tian Zheng. Madara, who has completely liberated her strength, has a far stronger repulsive force than before. Torch. Yuan Luzhe slashed again, and a grand tornado flame appeared. Buzz. Under Yuan Lujai's gaze. The moment the flame touched the repulsive force, it disappeared completely and turned into nothingness. It seemed that nothing could stay before this power that blessed the power of Sun Luo. Brush. This is the first time Yuan Luzhe has avoided, and he has retreated thousands of times in a flash. Existence denies Mulong's breath. On the other side, Hashirama condensed a huge Mulong, and amidst the roar that shook the sky, he opened his mouth to condense a huge spiritual bomb. Boom. The psychic bullet exploded and turned into a huge straight beam of light, rushing towards Yuan Luzhe like a laser cannon. Sword. 2 breaks. Yuan Luzhe held a knife in both hands and cut down 5.9. The terrifying sword slash rushed towards the laser cannon with incomparable concise. Disappeared again, under Yuan Lujai's gaze? The moment his slash hit the laser cannon, it dissipated directly. Brush. Yuan Luzhe took refuge again. The advance of the repulsive force collided with the laser cannon, and a terrible wave of energy that should have erupted, but a surprising scene happened. 2 attacks. Silent destruction. Really, dangerous ability. Guessing what? Yuan Luzhe had to marvel, this ability is too dangerous. Madara. Senluo Vientian. Senluo's power can forcibly decompose everything into nothingness, and Vientian's power reorganizes everything. Hashirama. Existence denial, can forcibly deny everything, deny injury, deny death, deny the existence of Vientian, and directly erase it. The abilities of the two reinforce each other, commonly known, whoever touches will die. Ability is ability after all. In the face of absolute power, it is all in vain. Excited and exclaimed, Genryujai's heart was not disturbed, and Ryotsu on his body moved forward. It was completely turned into a shining day, and the surrounding spirits were completely burned. Yuan Luzhe decided. A quick fight. It is your last pride to see the old man's solution. Solved Kan Huo Tai Sword. Chapter 8. The Ultimate Fit Uchiha Hashirama? A blow that shook Soul Society. Advertisement. If we talk about other people's spiritual solutions, their Zanpakuto or all earth-shaking changes in form. And Ryujin Jaka has solved it. It was just a plume of ash, unpretentious, as if nothing happened. Boom. But Ryotsu broke out in Genryuze, completely liberated Ryujin Jaka after entering the solution. Zubin couldn't help but be in a trance. They saw the sun come. The thousands of degrees of high temperature that originally washed Yuan Lujai's body has multiplied geometrically at this moment. Wandu. 100,000 degrees, million degrees. As Genryu's Ryotsu became stronger and stronger, the higher the temperature on his body, the countless souls of Soul Society, and even all Shinigami, felt a sense of slumber. Lingza burned. As Ryotsu rises, the moisture in the atmosphere evaporates instantly, and everything dies. Such as the great day of Wangwang descended on Soul Society, countless souls were heart palpitations, and the whole Soul Society was trembling. This is not good. How could it be? Whose Ryotsu is this? It's horrible. It's so hot and stuffy. The Rukongai spirits shivered. And Shinigami of Jingling Ting changed drastically, and many new generations of Shinigami were shocked by this high-temperature Ryotsu. And the older generation of Shinigami's eyes widened. What kind of enemy has appeared in Rukongai, and the captain has solved it? Trouble. Kiraku Shunsui, who was halfway blocked by the magnificent force of Hashirama, completely gave up the idea of approaching. The strongest Zanpakuto, Ryujin Jaka of the heat system, at the moment it enters the sacrificial retreat, if it is not strong enough, it will die if it gets closer. The most terrifying, it can affect the entire world. Longer time, every second, there will be a lot of weak souls and die. This is also the reason why Yuan Luzhe never explained Ryujin Jaka easily, because the power is so great that it is easy to accidentally injure his teammates. It's only 07 teacher Ryujin Jaka who is troubled because of the power. Kiraku Shunsui made a frivolous ridicule and immediately evacuated Rukongai. He wanted to prevent some Shinigami who were not afraid of death from approaching. Madara, this guy, is it too scary? 100 million points? Senju Hashirama wiped the sweat from his forehead. It was real sweat, it was pure heat. It's really terrifying a little bit. Uchiha Madara was silent for a moment, and said in a condensed voice. So, at this moment, the two of them were more than a few kilometers away from Yuan Luzhe, it was too hot. Ryujin Jaka. Hazard, who was watching the projection in the hall, was even more silent, with a palpitation in his eyes. He will never forget. Hundreds of years ago, Yuan Luzhe was already relieved. How did he kill the Quincy with one blow, and whoever came close to die? 15 million degrees, comparable to the core temperature of the sun. Lan Yu was very amazed. The more I watched, the more I liked it. Whoever sees Shinigami doesn't like Ryujin Jaka. Lan Yu is honest, he likes Sister Yhwach. However, the fire source is too small. This is also the flaw that Lan Yu thinks. For example, if a match burns, the outer flame will be several hundred degrees, and the core temperature will be thousands of degrees. Can you say that a small match burned to death? Cannot. Because the fire source of matches is too small, and the time is too short. The scope of influence is small, and it will be over in a few seconds. And Yuan Lujai's explanation is the same, the whole fire source is his own size. Ruo Yuan Luzai can use secret techniques such as heaven and earth, not to mention tens of thousands of meters. Even if he is a few kilometers in height, he can destroy the entire Soul Society at will. When the fire source is enlarged, then the power will be multiplied geometrically. The size and time of the fire source is directly proportional to Lan Yu's understanding of the destructive power. The sun is very powerful because it is too big, the high temperature is terrible. But as Lan Yu said, the high temperature is only on Yuan Luzai, and the fire source is very small. Ju Madara calmed down in an instant. The high temperature is all concentrated on him, as long as he is not touched by him, there is no problem. Zu Madara and the two looked at each other, and as they were about to continue their shots, Genryu Sai was lost in perception. Brush. Solve extremely fast. Shunpo of Yuanryuze appeared a few meters away from the Zubin body like a teleport, and the scalp of the two of them was numb for an instant. Only when you get close to Genryu Sai can you feel the terrifying heat that can shatter everything, and the breath of strong Ryotsu. The sword of fierce fire, Yuan Luzai slashed in an instant. Enclosed all the flames in Zanpakuto, waved them for a while, and everything ended, and burned all the hits with explosive flames. Past Senju Hashirama in a flash. Buzz, as if silently. In Madara's first shock, Senju Hashirama's entire body disappeared without a trace. Burned completely. Hashirama. Uchiha Madara listened to the deep words from Genryu Sai. The old man will not forgive people who neglect justice. As long as you catch them with your hands, you may be able to spend the rest of your life in hell. Infinite hell. The 8th level of hell, Aizen of the original trajectory, was imprisoned in infernal hell and sentenced to 18,800 years. Spend the rest of your life? You just want to keep me in search for information about the Empire? During Uchiha Madara's words, all the cells were active, and the excitement of ultimate was revealed in his eyes. Never been so powerless, it really excites me. Come and dance. Madara shattered all the sacred characters and added all the sacred characters, and directly blasted Yuanujai with a punch. Madman. Yuan Luzai could not help but sigh secretly. However, the intelligence of the Empire was so important that Yuan Luzai took the initiative to distance himself so that he would not accidentally kill Ban. Your companion died in front of you, you are still so excited, it seems that the Holy Empire. What? Yuan Luzai was about to say something that Ban was too ruthless, too indifferent, and did not care about the death of his companion, and the next moment he was a little bit stunned. Buzz. A ray of aura flickered. In the void, countless souls began to condense, and in a blink of an eye they turned into a figure. Senju Hashirama, resurrected intact. There is denial. Deny death. Yes, I'm back. Senju Hashirama smiled brightly. Uchiha Madara also smiled excitedly. What are you waiting for? Let's dance. What is the ability? Yuan Luzai has a vote in his heart. Before Madara, the two of them shattered everything, and the power of all silent destruction was enough to be amazed. But now, even death can be recovered. Armed, bloody outfit. Zu Madara gave up other abilities and chose close physical warfare. Additional, there is a negation. Additional, everything is clear. Whatever it encounters, the existence is erased, and whatever compulsion is decomposed into nothingness. And Yuan Lujai's also encountered something, and everything was completely burned. What kind of scene is the collision of the three abilities to destroy everything? Advertisement, life for life? Seeing the two approaching him, Yuan Luzai immediately understood each other's plan. I looked down on the old man too much. Yuanluzai looked slightly angry, and Ryotsu on his body became stronger. Kanhuo Teidao Dongshu Sunblade. Yuan Lujai concentrated all the flame heat of Ryujin Jaka on the tip of the knife, neither burning nor exploding. Uchiha Madara, who slashed to one side in a flash, was enough to wipe out everything he touched. Good job. Uchiha Madara was excited. Spiritual power, armed color, blood-moving outfits, blessed by the power of Sun Luo, blasted at the rising sunblade at close range. Buzz. In an instant, all the power of Uchiha Madara was completely wiped out, and he completely disappeared. Is the holy text useless? Hashirama's pupils constricted. The power of Senluo, but the ability to be close to the rules, can't forcefully resolve Genryujai's attack. That can only explain. The gap is too big, beyond the upper limit of Madara's ability. You also turned to ashes. When Madara was dealt with a knife, Genryuzai realized that Hashirama's full punch had hit him. Kanhuo Tai Dao Shi can sun prison robe, turning his own Ryotsu into a 15 million degree flame, covering his body and blade like a blazing sun. Yuan Luzai is terrible, there is a negation. Hashirama unleashes the power of negation of existence to the limit, trying to erase the flames of Yuanujai, and also want to erase Yuanujai's own existence. The gap is too big, the ability is invalid. At the moment of approaching, Hashirama turned to ashes. His Majesty, Hazard couldn't help but look at Lan Yu, for fear that this scene angered Lan Yu. Certainly. Hazard also had some expectations, looking forward to Lan Yu's shot. Zu Madara's abilities are all conceptual abilities that are close to the rules. The only flaw is that they cannot affect things far beyond themselves. Lan Yu's thoughts were calm. Beyond 1 or 2 levels, no problem, conceptual ability is to break the rules. But Yuan Lujai's level is a bit high, therefore, the ability is invalid. The surprise is here. In Hazard's gaze, Lan Yu chuckled slightly, making him confused. I can't use all the strength, so what else? Vientiane reorganization. Death is denied. Yuan Lujai's heart sank, in nothingness. The figure of Zu Madara denies the reappearance of death, and the concept reorganizes itself and resurrects. Can't kill? Yuan Lujai once again encountered this kind of tricky enemy, which reminded him of Yhwach. Yhwach, you can't kill it, but after defeating Yhwach, those quintessences also disappeared without a trace, leaving Yuan Lujai's heart with a haze. Madara, what do you think? Hashirama asked solemnly. Uchiha Madara said in a low voice. If the gap is large, then close the gap. As long as you raise 1 level, it is enough. Breakthrough? Hashirama denied it after speaking. Breaking through in danger can damage the foundation, and only the protagonist in the novel have the kind of combat breakthrough. When Yuan Lujai was thinking about countermeasures, Hashirama and Madara looked at each other 593 hearts, and shouted at the same time. Sun Luo's light. The ring of negation. On the black wings of Madara that had finished the Eucharist, there was an extremely dark glow. And Hashirama's white wings are like a bright halo. Buzz. The moment the black light touches the white ring. Hashirama and Madara are also close together, under the eyes of Genryuze, they become one. The ability of 2 people, the mutual generation and restraint can also be fused together. Boom. A larger Ryatsu beam burst out. When the brilliance dissipated, Yuan Lujai's eyes condensed, and he didn't know what to say for a while. Pillar Madara disappeared. It was another person who appeared. He has black and white wings, Madara's eyes on his handsome face, Hashirama's face, and long black hair. 2 people, become one. Ultimate fit Uchiha Hashirama. It directly broke the existing level and entered a new level, which greatly narrowed the gap with Yuan Lujai. Only 1 or 2 levels away. Rule ability, available. Is it only 10 seconds? 10 seconds is enough, keep dancing. Uchiha Hashirama. Evil smiled, but Genryusai felt a fatal crisis. Judgment aura of destruction. Uchiha Hashirama put his hands together. A huge black and white halo instantly swept all directions and spread rapidly. Sun Luo and negation fusion. Danger. Yuan Lujai immediately retreated. In the panic retreat, Yuan Lujai swung the knife again, but after touching the halo this time, the attack was completely annihilated. Swipe. The halo spreads grandly, and wherever the sky passes, all the souls become nothingness. And Yuan Lujai retreated extremely quickly. He can only retreat in the sky. If it retreats downwards, destroying the halo in his solution, it will destroy the entire eastern Rukongai, and even affect Xie Lingting. Buzz. The halo is spreading too fast. Get closer to Yuan Lujai faster. Flame. Decompose and erase. Ryatsu. Disassemble and erase. Yuan Lujai retreated in shock, and subconsciously raised his left hand to block. The aura of destruction erupts. Humph. Yuan Lujai snorted suddenly. And Kiraku Shunsui and other Shinigami at the bottom were shocked. This blow by Uchiha Hashirama, enough to shock Soul Society. The captain's left hand disappeared. Chapter 9. Banga Hashirama, Boundless Mana, Sister Wa joins the Holy Empire. Advertisement, how can it be? Guru, captain's hand. Fake it, how could there be such a thing, is it an illusion? A scene in the sky. The Shinigami who had excellent eyesight in Tiling Ting were greatly shocked in their hearts. That terrifying black and white halo, spreading half a Soul Society in a flash, destroying everything in the sky. They would rather believe that Soul Society collapsed than that the captain's hand disappeared. That is the strongest Shinigami in countless people's hearts, a strategic existence. The left hand, but disappeared? It's not as good as me. The Uchiha Hashirama was full of evil charm, proud posture, and then became a little angry. Hey, am I invincible? I'm a little excited. Lan Yu. The sudden anger in this coldness is worthy of you, Uchiha Hashirama. Click. Lan Yu casually took a picture. The commemorative column class merged for the first time. Your Majesty, they. Hazard knew the power of Genryuze very well, so he was equally shocked. In the state of Yuan Lujai's solution, forcibly destroy his left hand. This is placed in Soul Society, a big event that shocked the 10,000 years. Anything unexpected? I've been accidental too. Lan Yu's accident is a combination of Zu Madara. Zu Madara's ability to be close to the rules, even if it is placed in Soul Society, is the culmination. But Lan Yu didn't even think about it. The two even developed the secret technique of combining, and directly broke the existing level, so that the ability of the nearby rules was once again sublimated. The bottom line is, the abilities of the two grow, restrain and blend. Is the time up? 10 seconds passed quickly. Uchiha Hashirama's last? Evil smile. Remember my name Uchiha Hashirama. The voice accompanies Lingza, resounded everywhere. The halo on Uchiha Hashirama separated, turning into black and white. Madara, Hashirama, reappear. One Kanhuo Tai became more primitive and returned to the state of Ryujin Jaka. After Captain Yamamoto recovered the solution, he said in a deep voice, "Why stop? The halo of destruction just now. Breaking the existing rules with rules and destroying his Ryotsu and flames forcefully is so heartbreaking." But the moment he raised his left hand, only one hand was destroyed. Stopped abruptly. The captain didn't believe it. It was because the two of them had no spare energy, and the halo of destruction in other directions was still spreading at that time. Victory is not martial. Uchiha Madara hugs her arms, her eyes full of spleen hockey. "My name is Uchiha Madara, this time I lost. Next time, one person will kill you. How arrogant class is. If you lose, you lose. Even if he wins with Zuhi, it is still not his own strength. What's more, it's too foul, and Madara doesn't want to rely on fouls to win. Even though this foul ability is one of his own strength, he still hopes to rely on his hard power to defeat everything." Pedantic. Arrogant, Captain Yamamoto burst out. This caused Kyoraku Shunsui's eyelids below to twitch, and he sighed inwardly. "Teacher, arrogant, but pedantic, is that you?" But Kyoraku Shunsui did not dare to say. "All Shinigami know that the captain is a bit old-fashioned, but I have to say that he is the pride of Soul Society, and countless people respect him. The old man will not forgive anyone who neglects justice." Captain Yamamoto's eyes were sharp, and he rushed to the two Zuban again. "No matter where the Holy Empire comes from, you are never allowed to contaminate the Soul Society. Destruction is your only result." Yes. Plain 2 words. The explosion sounded in the entire Soul Society, making countless souls and Shinigami feel trembling all over. Captain Yamamoto was also sluggish. The great horror contained in the plainness directly suppressed all the voices and movements of Soul Society. Buzz. A little brilliance flickered in the void. Suddenly, the entire Soul Society was illuminated, and countless souls and Shinigami couldn't help being shocked. The captain is also tight. This kind of brilliance. Holy, noble, beyond imagination. In the heart of the captain, there was a feeling that the Spirit King was unworthy of shoes for the coming existence. Who is it? Under this luxurious brilliance, the captain suddenly found that he couldn't even pull out the knife. Buzz. Guanghua extremely converged. Condensed in the sky a luxurious and unparalleled throne, making countless people confused. Especially the moment when a stalwart figure surpassing the Soul Society dimension sat down. "I want to kneel down." This is a murmur from Shinigami. Those Rukongai souls, even more uncontrollable, knelt down. It seems, justified. Welcome to His Majesty the Holy Emperor. See the Komer. In the gaze of the captain, the proud Uchiha Madara of Haki and the simple and solemn Senju Hashirama worshipped one after another. "It's you?" The captain made a sudden and uncontrollable call. A man with long blonde hair and a white combat uniform appeared beside Zuban, also bowing. "Hasward, congratulations to Your Majesty the Holy Emperor." This call. The three of them exploded all their spiritual power, shocking the soul of a great range, into the ears of countless people. Countless people talked in a trance. It's noisy. Lan Yu on the throne lifted his eyes slightly and raised his hand slightly, the moment he put down his hand. Time stands still. Buzz. The mighty power of a ray of time. All over the Soul Society in a flash. Wu stopped the discussion. The wind stopped and Lingza stopped. All creatures are still in place, making Soul Society extremely silent. Hiss. Hasward was shocked. In the perception, everything is completely still, shattering his cognition. At this time, he realized that Lan Yu's confident strength was the tip of the iceberg. Well done. Lan Yu looked at Zu Madara. Advertisement. Hey, Madara is still great. Senju Hashirama scratched his head in a naive manner. Uchiha Madara said frankly, Your Majesty, I am not strong enough, and I still need to work hard. Lan Yu's head slightly. It is not a shame to lose to the bald devil. But there was a question that Lan Yu was curious about, and asked, How do you remember, fit together? Fit. Lan Yu was also amazed. With Lan Yu's understanding, this kind of ability, he has only seen it in an anime world that destroys the universe at every turn. Two SBS unite against each other. This. Hashirama scratched his head and didn't know what to say. Uchiha Madara reverently said, Your Majesty, it is this that you reminded. Lan Yu slightly thought. Hashirama also nodded again and again. Yes, right. When I first joined the Empire, Your Majesty said a word. At that time, Madara and I didn't understand it. It was only after the Empire's information age began. Lan Yu waited without opening his mouth. Uchiha Madara said that sentence. Ad Hashirama, the mana is boundless. Lan Yu took it. It was in the ninja world at that time. Zu Madara joined the Empire. Wouldn't it be that she pushed everything horizontally? So Lan Yu sighed with emotion. Unexpectedly, it was remembered by Madara and Zu Madara, and it was researched. This is talent. You've seen the top powerhouses in this world, and other top powerhouses are probably at this level. Lan Yu said and looked at Hasward, raising his hand in the void. Buzz. One with his eyes closed, another Hasward appeared. Not only that, there are two more. Child with closed eyes. Shaoji. Little help. Madara and Hashirama were surprised. How did Your Majesty create Aizen and Kazuki? Lan Yu didn't explain anything. With a wave of his hand, he sent Shao Aizen back to Rukongai 66 district in the east, and sent Lil Kazuki back to District 1, and sent Hasward back to the Invisible Empire. That's just a special clone who has never seen me before, and everything is business as usual. Lan Yu looked at Hazard's book and said, "When you come to this world next time, he will disappear." "Thank your majesty." Hazard sighed in relief. It seems that his majesty is also going to take him away. That's good. He who liberated the hatred in his heart really couldn't face his friend Yhwach calmly. It is impossible to bow down and obey. Let's go. Lan Yu opens the portal of dimensional jade space. Madara didn't say anything. For now, if your majesty does not make a move, the imperial soldiers alone will not be enough to win the spirit world. Return to the empire to practice. Buzz. The moment the dimensional jade space gate closed. Lan Yu's time is dead. Everything is restored. Disappeared? Yuan Lujai's heart sank. Time is still, everything is silent, and even thinking is still. So under the sight of Yuan Luzai, the four disappeared instantly. Lord of the Empire. Thinking of the scene where he just faced Lan Yu and couldn't draw his sword, the captain was extremely depressed. The other party did not show any momentum, but it is powerless. That Hazard, why is it there, friend Yhwach? It's messed up, it's all messed up. Yuan Luzai was also confused. Brush, Kiraku Shunsui and Jashiro Yukitaki came, worrying. Teacher, your hand. It's okay with just one hand. Yuan Luzai didn't care about losing the right-left hand, and said in a deep voice, I will thoroughly investigate the Soul Society now, this world, and Hueco Mundo, and Hell. If you find any suspicious persons, notify me immediately. An invisible crisis. Yuan Luzai can hardly let go. This time, it may be the biggest disaster or change in Soul Society's history. Holy Empire. Where did it come from? Empire. The training ground of the sacred troops. Don't. But so, little Kazuki yelled, and Aizen endured. Are all being baptized. Also accept the care from Deidara and Dai, Wang Li's, Tu and others. When Zu Madara saw it, she didn't say anything. Isn't it just about repairing the disabled and then fighting the disabled? And in the hall, Lan Yu looked at the gentlewoman below. Yunohana Retsu. Have you made a decision? Lan Yu asked calmly. Hearing this, Yunohana Retsu also sighed. Imperial has a presence like you, do I have a choice? After understanding the history of the empire, Sister Wa didn't have a choice at all. This is an empire that brought wars to many worlds and peace to many worlds. Regardless of the process, the results are all good. There are only two paths before Sister Wa. 1. Fearless resistance, and die. 2. Joining the empire may reduce casualties for the talents of Soul Society. Then, go to the Holy Soldiers. Lan Yu planned a path for Yunohana Retsu. The Sacred Army is currently in the period of changing captains, and everyone has a chance. I look forward to your performance. Fight. Yunohana Retsu flashed a ray of warfare in his eyes, and then smiled gently. You will not be disappointed, my lovely little majesty. What? Konan and Kagaya in the hall suddenly stared, and Kushina directly carried her sleeves on her hips. Don't care if it's cute. Where's your majesty? Small, big, okay. Lan Yu's eyelids twitched slightly. The ignorant is not guilty, so let's not take it as an example. It's so gentle, my majesty. Chapter 10. Lan Yu creates dream abilities of Hōgyoku, Aizen and the store manager in batches. Advertisement after Wajia joined the empire. The empire did not care about the spiritual world anymore, and the soldiers worked hard to cultivate. 5 years passed in a hurry. The Qinghai realm is completely stable, and it has entered into a stable development with the ninja realm and the heaven realm. And today, inside the Chamber of Deputies, above the squad captain of the Holy Army, above Rear Admiral of the Imperial Army, and other elites are all assembled. Two things. Looking at the Empire soldiers, Lan Yu motioned to Secretary General Athena, and continued. The main problem, the problem of cultivation. Everyone knows the basic information of the spiritual world, and we should know the gap. The first of all soldiers. 5 years ago, Lan Yu sent some information about the spiritual world. Hueco Mundo. Barren land, extremely barren, empty, where Arankar survives. Soul Society. Hundreds of 10,000 years history, guarded by Gode 13 and major nobles, Central 46 in power. Reality. A world like the celestial world, with a few Quincy, Shinigami, and manifestations. Hell. People who commit serious crimes during their lifetime will be sent to hell. This is a place where Shinigami can't even be involved. The substitute. In it has strong spiritual power and special abilities. Spirit King Palace. Where the Spirit King is, guarded by the Zero Division known as the 5-man total combat power surpasses the Gode 13 army. Invisible Empire. The kingdom under the shadow of Shaolingting, where the Quincy is located, the main combat power of the Star-Crossed Knights. Above, all in the spirit world, there are countless strong ones. In contrast, Lan Yu is removed. The current Sacred Empire is really incomparable. Lan Tanranyu faced this reality, and the soldiers were equally undaunted. Everyone has to work hard. Secretary General Athena gave everyone a treasure box, which is very delicate. Open it all, pick it up, Lan Yu said. The soldiers opened one after another. Inside, each has a gem that exudes blue-black light. See this gem. Everyone can't control a desire and touch it subconsciously. Swish swish. When everyone touched, all the blue and black gems, all turned into streamer, merged into everyone's body. 730. Great Devouring Technique. Gems Hōgyoku. For the first time, everyone received a secret technique that swallowed all energy and strengthened themselves in all directions. I also understand what this gem is. Hōgyoku. Surface ability. Absorb the surrounding heart, protect the host's body from death and immortality. When the host's ability reaches its limit or its life is threatened, the host will evolve to the next level. Real ability. To realize the development of what people want in their hearts according to what they want in their hearts. Conditions. Need to have the strength to realize this wish. There is this kind of gem, everyone couldn't help being surprised. Hōgyoku, before you step into the transcendence, have a great effect. After transcendence, it is invalid. At this time, Lan Yu's voice came. Mass production of Hōgyoku is the result of Lan Yu's 5 years, and its function is no different from the real Hōgyoku. The only difference is, Hōgyoku became useless after Host arrived in the transcendent realm. Because the level of Hōgyoku is not too high, different from Lan Yu's. Hōgyoku is only the most insignificant ability of Dimensional Jade, so it is affected by Dimensional Jade, and there is no upper limit for evolution. Don't focus too much on Hōgyoku, it's just an aid. The big swallowing technique is the root. Lan Yu's words made the elites of the empire win their hearts and feel the devouring technique. Swallowing was accepted by Lan Yu on Dimensional Jade, the second inheritance. Swallow everything and evolve oneself. And this swallowing power was realized as a kind of secret technique, named Great Swallowing Technique. Although it is still very different from Lan Yu's devouring power, it can make the empire's elite stronger with several times, or even more than 10 times the efficiency. It's too slow to absorb Lingza. In the future, we will use the occult technique to absorb spiritual energy, natural energy, stellar energy, and dark energy in the universe. Enriching the empire's cultivation methods can also greatly improve efficiency. I look forward to your growth. AHFJ. Lan Yu understands that the Empire of Purpose is not against the spirit world, but he is never in a hurry. And compared to, the world was conquered by bumps, bleakness, and heavy casualties. Lan Yu prefers rolling. Lan Yu doesn't like it. Conquering the world is something of a sense of accomplishment. If there are heavy casualties, it is not what Lan Yu wants. Isn't it fragrant to crush? Ying is over, second thing. Lan Yu said, looking at Zu and Madara. How are your students? Speaking of students, Hashirama smiled brightly. Little help is very good, he is very smart. Uchiha Madara said concisely, Aizen is excellent. Lan Yu's forehead. These two people will be the geniuses of the new generation of the Empire, and they are worth training. Send them back to Soul Society. Lan Yu's words surprised Zu Madara. Send the two back. Yes, Your Majesty, but Zu Madara did not object. In the past 5 years, both Aizen and Kazuki were thrown into the Holy Soldiers to stock them. Check once a month. Sent back to Soul Society, also stocking. Hearing that, Otsutsuki Kaguya's blush eyes flickered, and he said elegantly, Your Majesty, I want to go too. Reason. Lan Yu did not directly refuse. Kaguya chuckled and talked. The two children performed well, but the concubine believes that there should be more outstanding children, and the concubines can be unearthed one by one. Digging? When Lan Yu thought, Kaguya took Hancock to travel around Qinghai, bringing back the original sisters such as Nami and Perona. I was very convinced. Kaguya's eyes seemed to transcend the dimension. All I was looking for were original girls. This time I went to Soul Society, and maybe I could find some original girls together. Let Robin accompany you. Lan Yu said that Kaguya's thinking was too jumpy, and he might have caused some trouble in Soul Society. Advertisement Robin is there. Kaguya can still relax a little bit. Well, that's okay, the concubine will not be alone. Kaguya agreed. 2 light beams from Lan Yu's hand fell on Kaguya and Robin. Shinigami. A life form with a very high concentration of Reiko. Like Robin and Kaguya, they are not in harmony with Shinigami, so Lan Yu needs to change. Next, I will adjust the time ratio between the Empire and the Spirit World 110. Lan Yu looked at the Empire's elites and said, when the spiritual world enters modernization in this world, the whole country invades completely. Yes, Your Majesty. Everyone was shocked, 1 to 10. That is the past 10 years in the Spirit World and the past year in the Empire. The present world of the Spirit World can enter modernization in about 300 years. That leaves them time. It's also about 30 years. 30 years, beyond the spiritual world. With Hōgyoku and Great Swallowing Technique, it is enough to make the strength of the soldiers of the Empire explode. The training ground of the sacred troops, another day of despair. Urahara Kazuki, who was already 13 years old, came here with Zhang pulling his head. Aizen, who is 10 years old, has a faint smile on his face. Your words are really interesting. Haven't you been used to it after 5 years? Are you used to being beaten? Urahara Kazuki said and counted. I'll give you the math. How many times I have been beaten and disabled in the past 5 years, let alone 800 times, those bastards beat me across teams. Congratulations, you guys, liberated. Suddenly the voice of Hyuga Hinata sounded, and Urahara Kazuki immediately saluted. Hello, Captain. Hard work, Captain. Aizen's eyelids twitched. If the captain doesn't come, you may want to say something about Tiger and Wolf. It's not just a matter of crippling. I have seen the captain. Aizen also salutes, and then he has some doubts. I wonder if the captain said liberation? Urahara Kazuki also pricked his ears. Are you going to give them a long vacation? Hinata took out the box and handed it to the two of them, and said calmly, with the approval of the captain, starting today, you will temporarily leave the Saint Soldiers and return to Soul Society. This is for you. What? Little Aizen was shocked. Urahara Kazuki shook his head suddenly. I won't go back, it's so boring there, This is an order. Hinata's face was stern. Kazuki excited again, and heard Hinata say, go back, go and say goodbye to your teacher. Yes, Captain. The two took the box and saluted. After Hinata leaves, Urahara Kazuki couldn't help but grabbed his hair, tears in his eyes. Farewell, Ninja Disco. Farewell, Heaven Casino. Farewell, Shanghai Mermaid Ladies. Little Aizen was speechless. Can you be as serious as me? Ignoring Urahara Kazuki, the little Aizen opened the box and his eyes lit up. Spirit orb. What? Lingzu. Urahara Kazuki also opened it quickly, swallowing it without thinking, and said vaguely. What are you waiting for? Don't eat it for me, it's so cool. Cool. Little Aizen ate it silently, frowning. Well, the soul that really hurts will be broken. B********D. You cheated me again. Is it on? Lan Yu, who was far away in the main hall, immediately received 2 new holy characters. At present, Lan Yu of the extraordinary 2-star, a drop of blood is enough to burn mountains and boil the sea, and those who are weak cannot bear Lan Yu's blood at all. It's all diluted, but the effect is the same. Spirit orb. Inherit all current spiritual arts in the Empire and unlock talent skills. It has nothing to do with pure blood quintessences. Decades ago, Lan Yu cleansed the blood of the Quincy. Empire's new spiritual power system, it turned out to be these 2 abilities. Lan Yu accepts the 2 new abilities of perception and is slightly surprised. Because of the subordinate's ability, Lan Yu will have it, but with more dimensional jade support, it will only be stronger. Urahara Kazuki. Wisdom. Aizen Sosuke. Dream. Dream. Divided into dreams and hallucinations. The great horror of dreamland preparation. 2. Manipulating the subconscious to create an unbreakable illusion of near concept, it can even shatter the spiritual will. 3. Dream unity. Anything you say, even a lie, as long as enough people believe it, it will definitely become true. Common name. Fake it. The ability of dreams to be placed on Aizen is really dreamy. Lan Yu saw the potential of dreams, which was almost unlimited horror power. If Aizen becomes Shinigami, turn on his Zanpakuto Kyoka Suigetsu. Kyoka Suigetsu plus dream equals nearly invincible. But Lan Yu was even more surprised by Urahara Kazuki's ability. Wisdom. Literally, it all depends on development. This ability is exactly what I need. Lan Yu understands that if you want to be the top power, there are 3 things indispensable. Very smart. Great perseverance. Good luck. Without any of them, if you can't go to the top, you may die on the way. Little fool, what are your abilities? After the experience, Urahara Kazuki looked at Aizen and asked expectantly. Directly ignore the 3 words, little stupid. Little Aizen's eyes were a little more confident, and she smiled. Do you believe that I will surpass everything? Well, I believe it. Urahara Kazuki didn't care, and immediately believed. But I believe that from now on, you will never be able to get rid of the term, little idiot. Then wait and see. Little Aizen didn't care. In terms of wisdom, Aizen would like to call you the strongest. What if wisdom can't match? Wait till I cry. Let's go find the teacher and say goodbye. Chapter 11. Concubine, Otsutsuki Kagaya, Spiritual Arts Academy's strongest freshman. Advertisement buzz. Rukongai waved a ripple, 4 figures descended. At the same moment, the 2 children in the eastern Rukongai District 1 and 66 disappeared. The body appears. The special clone made by Lan Yu dissipates naturally. Spiritual Arts Academy, an educational institution established by Yamamoto Modianagisai Shigekuni more than 1,000 years ago to nurture the future Kido, the hidden mobile team, and Gode 13. The lectures range from the training of Zanshuin going the ghost, to the internship of the soul burial in the real world and so on. Registration address. Soul Society Rukongai, from West Street District to Baidomen, pass through Shudanfong and go south for 100 meters and turn right. So, if you want to be Shinigami, you have to go to school? Rukongai 66 District in the east. A woman with long light blue and white hair and crimson eyes spoke thoughtfully. 13-year-old Urahara Kazuki pondered. Rukongai's soul wants to be Shinigami. Enrollment is the best choice. The course lasts for 6 years, but you can skip consecutive grades if you perform well. The door of the Spiritual Arts Academy opens at any time, and any soul with strong spiritual power can register for the exam. Aizen, who is 10 years old, did not comment. He is from District 66, too far away from Jingling Court, far less than Kazuki in District 1 knows. Student. I really miss my concubine. Otsutsuki Kagaya is so happy thinking about the days when he became a Lan Yu student. Robin also asked. If Rukongai's soul shows strong power as soon as he enrolls in school, will it cause suspicion? Will not, Urahara Kazuki chuckled. As long as Kagaya-sama and Robin Senpai claim to be from Rukongai 80, no matter how strong they are, as long as they are not exaggerated, it will be fine. Can't find out anything. Area 80. It is not an exaggeration to use Hueco Mundo to describe it. The 480 zones are all in chaos, fighting all day long. It is a place that Shinigami rarely visits. For example, Zaraki Kenpachi from later generations comes from the 80 district, the young Tianzhou. Survey. Even if Kagaya has never appeared in the 80th area, it does not affect, because it is not surprising that Ryotsu is powerful occasionally appearing anywhere. My concubine understands. Kaguya's crimson eyes lit up slightly, and then said elegantly, You two lil guys just go to school honestly, show your talents and graduate early. Robin, go. Brush. In the next instant, Kagaya Robin disappeared. Little Aizen said calmly. There are no tasks, but the more so, the harder it is. Lan Yu just sent the two back. No task was given. He just felt that Soul Society would lose a bit of fun without two people. Difficult. Urahara Kazuki couldn't help but smiled. I think it's very good. It's a long vacation for 100 years. What you want to do and what you want to do is really difficult for you, little idiot. Do I know you? Little Aizen chose to ignore it. Urahara Kazuki suddenly made a heartbroken look, tears falling. Woo, you are my brother who was born 5 years ago, and he has amnesia. My heart hurts. Boring. Little Aizen flashed away and left. Scream, run away every time you can't say it, it's really a little fool. Urahara Kazuki curled his lips, then opened his hand and smiled. Jing Ling Ting, here I am. Born in Rukongai, it is like a world, with a country like Shay Lingting, and Rukongai is a barren land outside the country. So, Kazuki and Aizen joined the empire without any burden in their hearts, and they have nothing to do with Jinglingding for half a dime. 5 to 10 years old, 8 to 13 years old. It was the age at which the three views in the world view were the easiest to change. After 5 years in the empire, they also belonged to a family for the first time, so they naturally wanted to serve the empire. Spiritual Arts Academy. A corner of the door. Captain Kuchiki, I didn't expect you to come again. It's Kenpachi, you know, I just have this little hobby. Is it a hobby? You have brought many geniuses back to your family? You kid, you still speak so directly. Kuchiki Silver Bell. Captain of the 6th Division, Byakuya's grandpa. Yunlu Kenpachi, Captain of the 11th Division. Also 3rd generation Kenpachi, since Yuno Hanaretsu, the 1st generation Kenpachi, disappeared. 5 years. Kenpachi was replaced by 2 generations. The concept of the 11th Division established by Yuno Hanaretsu champions all divisions with advocating martial ethics and brave spirit. The captain is known as Kenpachi, which can arouse countless Shinigami's yearning and competition. If nothing happens, the next 2 to 300 years, it will be replaced one after another, until there is a person who can truly overwhelm the crowd and fully carry forward the title of Kenpachi. The competition will not end. Captain Kuchiki, do you think any genius can appear today? Yunlu Kenpachi was very kind. Kuchiki Yinling shook his head and said, even if there are souls coming to take exams all the time, geniuses are hard to come by. Yunlu Kenpachi also said a few words of relief. But in every era, there will always be an explosion of geniuses. Maybe there are surprises today. Hope. Kuchiki Yinling said casually. In the era of the explosion of genius, in his memory, only Chunshui, Jashiro and others had the same group of geniuses. In front of the gate, too many souls line up to test. Normally, there are Ryotsu test and Rin test. Join if you pass. But if it appears Ryotsu is extremely strong, written examination will not be required. This is the privilege of genius. Keep out of your concubine. At this time, a quiet whisper came from a distance, which instantly aroused public anger. Why make it? You, clear, so beautiful, no, can you jump in the queue if you are beautiful? They won't do it. Boom, when a burst of Ryotsu broke out. The noisy sound stopped abruptly, and this Ryotsu did not stop at all, and continued to strengthen. In an instant, all the souls outside the door are stagnant. This is a performance that Ryotsu is too far apart and it is difficult to move. This Ryotsu, Kuchiki Silver Bell's eyes lit up. This is all at the level of an official. They offended the concubine, and the concubine is okay. Can you use Ryotsu to shake them to death? The words came again. Advertisement. Suddenly Yunlu Kenpachi smiled. If you can do it, then try it. Concubine. What a polite child. Kuchiki Silver Bell's eyes showed appreciation. Not to mention other worlds, the concubine is in Yinling's eyes, which is a very polite and modest name. Hope to bring surprises. Shay Lingting is highly ranked. Not being Shinigami's soul is not worth paying attention to. Kill and shake to death. These are two completely different concepts. The former is not allowed, but the latter has privileges. Boom. Ryotsu suddenly strengthened. At this moment, Yinling and Jien immediately looked at each other, and the two were very surprised. Deputy Captain Ryotsu? Thump thump thump. One by one, they fell to the ground and died. And Ryotsu continues to grow. A Ryotsu, who was comparable to the captain class, broke out unscrupulously outside the Spiritual Arts Academy. Teacher, it's almost there, Robin reminded him. Any more growth would be unreasonable. Who? There was a big drink in the distance, and Jashiro Yukitaki flashed forward. Kiraku Shunsui drank a little wine and hummed as he walked with his eyes behind him. Ryotsu, a strange captain, is released outside the Spiritual Arts Academy. Is it a real genius? This is. Seeing a dead body outside the door, Jashiro was surprised and glanced at Kuchiki Yinling. Ha 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 ha. Kuchiki laughed uncontrollably, and walked towards Kagaya. Take Ryotsu away, you don't need to test anymore, kid. Child. Kagaya almost kicked it, but looking at Kuchiki Yinling's old face, and remembering that she was a beautiful girl who was forever 18 years old, Kagaya suddenly smiled elegantly. The concubine is from the Rukongai 80 district in the east, and she is very longing for Tillingtine. You are suffering, child. Kuchiki Yinling's eyes were full of love. The look in his eyes was even closer than seeing his own grandson, and Jashiro and the others immediately made their eyelids twitch. This smile. Old yin ratio. I definitely want to enroll this student into the Kuchiki family and continue the glory. Guru, really a genius hard to see in a century, maybe the teacher will be interested. 0. Look for flowers. Kiraku Shunsui came up with a drink and smiled frivolously. Kiss, or a big beauty, if there is a little sister, then I can be happy for thousands of years. Right, Jashiro? With a black line, Jashiro also smiled and said, my teacher often talks about it. The two of us are too unconvinced. Maybe we are really interested. Kuchiki Yinling frowned slightly, but nothing was said. The captain is so conservative, surely he has no interest in recruiting students, but what if? Let's take a look first. Let's go, I will take you to school. Kiraku Shunsui looked at the pretty Robin again. This. Kagaya casually said, she is a concubine student and currently has Ryotsu, who is an official. Another genius. Kiraku Shunsui couldn't help but smiled. I said how I slept so well last night, it turns out that there are surprises waiting for me. She doesn't need an exam anymore. Starting today, you are all freshmen of the Spiritual Arts Academy. Spirit to Ryotsu. Some souls are born with Ryotsu, which is a talent, but it is a must to learn. At this time, Kagaya asked a question. How long does it take for my concubine to become the captain? What? Everyone was startled. Kiraku Shunsui narrowed his eyes and drank his drink again and smiled. As long as you are good enough, learn the necessary Shinigami abilities, unlock spiritual solutions or challenge the captain for success, you can do it as fast as you want. Of course, if you beat me now, you will be the captain tomorrow. Good proposal. Kagaya smiled and said, the concubine body is just that Ryotsu is stronger and there is much to learn. But, Kaguya's voice turned and looked around the audience. Spiritual Arts Academy's strongest freshman, concubine Otsutsuki Kagaya is set. How confident. Without the slightest conceit. Ling Chunshui and others were in a daze. I look forward to your growth. Chun Shui smiled and took the two girls into the Spiritual Arts Academy. That night, Go Day 13, a team house, in the captain's room. The freshman Otsutsuki Kagaya has Captain Ryotsu, freshman Robin, and Seed Officer Ryotsu. There are two other children, Aizen Sosuke and Urahara Kazuki, both of whom have the highest psychic test level. They are from Hokage, and they all have the qualifications to be captains. Hearing Chun Shui's words, the captain opened his eyes slowly, and a ray of light flashed between the opening of his eyes. Hokage. Since the establishment of Spiritual Arts Academy, almost all the students from Hokage graduated successfully, and many became team captains. Have you investigated? Yuan Luze asked in a low voice. If it was before, let alone Captain Ryotsu, even if he defeated the captain as soon as he enrolled, Genryu Sai would not bother. He is confident that he can suppress everything. But 5 years ago, the people of the Holy Empire made Yuan Luze more cautious. The two kids are easy to find out. One grew up in District 1 in the east, and the other knew a lot of souls in District 66. But, Kiraku Shunsui put away the laziness in front of the captain, quite solemn. Kagaya and Robin are from the 80th district and don't know the soul, I guess. Those who have seen Kagaya are dead. Yuan Luze glanced at Chunshui. Your guess is reasonable. Is it possible that it comes from the Holy Empire? Empire. Glancing at the teacher's mutilated left hand, Kiraku Shunsui said in a condensed voice, I believe in my instincts, they're not. There is no problem with words and clothes, and the soul clarity test. The soul is very pure, and the age is no more than 50 years old. Only a few dozen years old? Those are two little children? I believe you too. Yuan Luze feels relieved about Chun Shui. Although Chun Shui is frivolous and lazy and hates work, he is careful and has a strong insight. What experience does the little girl have? How to deceive Chun Shui? If you are really cheated, then it is really amazing. Then observe for a period of time, and if there is no problem, cultivate with all your strength. Is teacher. Chapter 12. Xiao Lingting is shocked. Team Zero Ichibe's gaze is amazed. Advertisement Kagaya, Robin, Aizen, Kazuki. The enrollment of the 4 people has aroused the attention of all parties, especially the nobles are eager to see, and they can't wait to get the 4 people into the bag immediately. The talent is amazing, especially Kagaya, countless people are paying attention. However, Kiraku Shunsui was still cautious and investigated many times to confirm his identity and secretly observe. Still no problems were found, under the attention of countless people. Robin's performance is remarkable, often following Kagaya in and out of the library, is a quiet beautiful woman. Aizen and Kazuki demonstrated a strong learning ability, the basic knowledge will be learned as soon as possible, and there will be inferences from one another. Some problems make the teachers extremely troublesome and happy. But Kagaya, evildoer, how come there is such a genius? Fake it, I suspect she is disguised by some old monster. FK off, Kagaya is a tens of years old girl, you are just jealous. Too crazy. Within half a month, discussions about Kagaya could be heard everywhere in the Lingting Palace. Learn all kinds of common sense and laws of the Lingling court that day without forgetting. Next. Punch out. It took only half a month from the entry to the Grand Master, and this is still the case of frequent visits to the library. Real time consumed. It may be less than a week. The reason why Kagaya Grand Master cuts the fist and kills the ghost is because August 10 defeated all the teachers except the captain who occasionally came to teach for Kagaya. It has reached the standard of each captain to cut the fist and kill the ghost, and then further integrate and sublimate. If this is not a big wave, available today. The college is a sensation. Xiao Lingting is a sensation. Destroy. Moonblade Kongying. When Kagaya whispered in the single family room, a terrifying wave broke out along with Ryotsu. Boom. The whole room split instantly. Under the shock of many students and teachers, the void showed cracks, shattering and spreading like glass. Space break. A great horror. Instantly cleansed everyone's hearts. Not good. The pupils of the teachers shrank. The space rift spread so fast that even they can't respond, not to mention the students around here. Fortunately at this moment, a burst of Ryotsu resembling a shining sun, strongly smoothed out the spread of void cracks. Captain. Seeing the old man of hockey in the sky, everyone was surprised and delighted. Yuan Luze ignored the crowd, his eyes flickered, and he looked at Kagaya where he hadn't spoken for so many years. Zanpakuto. Shikai, how can it not be surprising and shocking? Yuan Luze has never seen such a talented penultimate student, beyond imagination. To know. All the knives in the hands of the students are named as sealed state, nameless Zanpakuto. Moreover, it is temporarily loaned, and only when you join the team after graduation can you count as your own. All Shinigami must live and eat together with the sealed state, and through accumulated tempering, write the essence of their soul into the sealed state, to create their own Zanpakuto. Need to accumulate every day. Want to Shikai in just 10 days? That is almost impossible. This can no longer be described by genius, even the enchanting is indescribable. Yuan Luze couldn't help but sigh. One can imagine how sensational the college and even Xie Lingting were. Teacher, Kagaya will have no problem, right? Kiraku Shunsui came in shock for a moment, and then asked. He said the problem. It's not an issue of identity. Shikai is so fast, something Soul Society has never had before, and he is a little worried about Kaguya's training problems. What can be the problem? Yuan Luze calmed down quickly. She is in very good condition, very good. Chun Shui breathed a sigh of relief. He can be sure that there is no problem with Kaguya's identity, that is, Lingting Shia's future talents. At the same time, above Xie Lingting, in a different space separated by 72 barriers. The soul here is extremely rich. Even if Shinigami at the rank of deputy captain first enters here, he will be out of breath, curled up on the ground and can't move. Here it is. Spirit Palace, 5 city like Lingfanli Temple, floating in the void. One of them is away from the temple. A bald head with thick eyebrows, big eyes, and a beard suddenly opened his eyes, pinching the huge crimson rosary hanging on his neck, and murmured, Zanpakuto of space, great. I entered Shikai so soon, it seems that Genryuze has discovered a little genius. Leader of the Zero Division. Ichibe Hayasubi. As the oldest Shinigami, his own existence is the history of Soul Society. The name of everything in Soul Society. The moment all the sealed state was handed over to Shinigami, Heichi knew all the real names of Zanpakuto. In other words, the moment Kagaya got the sealed state created by the sword god Wang Yu, Monk Ikibe knew his real name. This means that he has mastered all the true powers of Zanpakuto from the beginning. What is the real name? Shikai is easy, problem solving. Shinigami needs to communicate deeply with Zanpakuto and know the real name of Zanpakuto in order to enter the complete solution. However, many Shinigami have been unable to know the real name of Zanpakuto for a lifetime, and they will never be able to understand it for a lifetime. I don't know the real name, but it's half-solving at best. Few Shinigami know Ichibe, and few people know his ability. If it is spread out, it will definitely cause the madness of Xie Lingting and Shinigami. Monk Ichibe just wanted to close his eyes and was a little surprised. This can no longer be described by talent. It's almost impossible to achieve this level so quickly without my help, but it just happened. Her existence, like me, is a miracle. Ichibe Monk. Advertisement. Suddenly there was an idea that I wanted to go to Pu Lingting and see with my own eyes. Then the feast came to an end. Fine, it's still a child, if the old man scares her, it won't be good. Monk Ichibe suppressed his thoughts and chuckled softly. If Wang Yu knew the performance of this little girl, he would definitely jump up in surprise and shout. Oh my god, dear sweetheart, you are too genius. Ermaiwu Wang Yue. Oh my god, you still understand me as a monk. Now, at the Spiritual Arts Academy, something is happening that amazes Monk Ichibe. Buzzing. Rows of spatial ripples rippled around Kagaya, and Ryotsu became stronger and stronger. This is. Yuan Lujai's eyes condensed, and he uttered a low voice. Everyone retreats. Everyone was surprised, immediately back 100 meters. But Yuan Luze said again, not enough, Shunshui, take all the students out of Spiritual Arts Academy, immediately. What? Kiraku Shunsui couldn't help being stunned, and immediately organized the students to evacuate. Far away. Urahara Kazuki glanced at it and whispered in surprise, what happened? Didn't Mr. Kagaya be discovered? It's really too high profile. High profile? You don't understand. Little Aizen smiled unpredictably. Urahara Kazuki suddenly curled his lips. I don't understand. It makes you smarter than me. If you pretend, you just pretend. If you think so, then think so. Little Aizen is still smiling. By the way, I have been having nightmares these nights. Is it your ghost? Urahara Kazuki said this, full of suspicion. In the nightmare, he was always fighting, and he woke up with anger several times. Do not know. Little Aizen turned around as the troops withdrew 0. Seeing this, Urahara Kazuki immediately affirmed. Okay, you really did it, and the awakening ability has not been told to me, so I'm ready to cheat me, right? Little fool, You wait for me, after the students evacuated. Boom. 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 Kagaya sat cross-legged, Ryotsu turned into a beam of light and rose into the sky, making most of the people who hadn't completely evacuated their movements to a halt. Bankai. Space is only me. When Kagaya whispered, the captain's pupils shrank, and the perfume in the distance couldn't help but stare. Solved. What a joke. The prerequisite for the solution is that Zanpakuto's ontology can be visualized and succumb to it. Then get the real name. But Kagaya just Shikai. Doesn't have any concrete expression at all. Directly enter the state of understanding? Did she know her real name directly? Boom. The Moonblade empty shadow in Kaguya's hand suddenly turned into fragments and merged into the surrounding void. Boom. The moment Zanpakuto melted into the void. The entire Spiritual Arts Academy, as well as many areas of Jingling Pavilion, heard the roar and shattering sound. The space presents cracks of broken glass, and completely cracked. A series of pitch-black space cracks spread for thousands of meters in a flash, and still spread rapidly in all directions. Hiss. The Shinigami outside the academy were shocked. In their eyes, it looked like a terrifying beast that swallowed the sky and the earth roared out, directly engulfing the entire Spiritual Arts Academy. All buildings completely collapsed. It also caused a huge range of cracks in the sky and the earth, and the dark cracks made Shinigami's scalp numb. Retreat. Rewind. The teachers led the students in a frantic retreat. The 8th of Bakudo, Rebuke, 39 of Bakudo, Round Gate Fan. 73 Bakudo, Fallen Mountain Crystal, 81 of Bakudo, Splitting Void. The members of Gode 13 rushed to defend themselves outside the ruins of the Spiritual Arts Academy. Spiritual shields, defensive arrays, defensive walls, etc. Boom. Various defenses collapsed, and various defenses were filled, and Chunshui and other captains even directly dispelled to resist. Completely resolved. Captain Yamamoto murmured, he didn't make a move, his eyes shone with gleams, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Half solution. 5.9 solved. Complete solution. The power of the solution is 5 to 10 times that of Shikai, and it will take decades to complete the master even after comprehending the solution. Completely master. It is completely solved, but all this takes a very long time, and it completely breaks the rules on Kagaya. Such a high profile. You deserve it. Lan Yu in the Empire. Look over through the dimensional Jade Space Gate. Kaguya's brain circuit is by no means understandable by ordinary people. Her high profile is not an alternative low profile. Shikai has been solved for more than 10 days. Kagaya, you went to Soul Society to be the protagonist, right? Lan Yu couldn't help laughing. A certain protagonist, Zanpakuto, was Shikai at the beginning, and after working hard for a few days, the master understood and made countless Shinigami weep. But Kagaya is even more amazing. The solution is fast. Go fast too. Kagaya took it back easily. Countless fragments returned from the void and fell into his hands, opening his crimson eyes. The feeling of solution is not bad. Kagaya smiled lightly, saw the captain in front of him, and then stood up and said directly. The concubine has to challenge the captain, can you? Hiss. There was silence again. Captain Yamamoto looked at Kei Yoruichi deeply and said quietly. Can. Chapter 13. Little lowly Shihuin Yoruichi. I wish the teacher Invincible Soul Society. Advertisement. Hello, have you heard? It's crazy. I challenged the captain within half a month of enrollment. Izu Madara would like to call her the strongest. Zu Madara. Good name. From today, she will be my idol. The student named Kagaya. Surely it's not some old monster? When the last sentence sounded, suddenly attracted countless hostile eyes, making a certain Shinigami tremble. The older generation saw Kagaya as the hope of the new generation of Shinigami, the stagnant palace. The new generation completely regarded it as an idol. They seemed to see the rise of Shinigami at the captain level. So, how can you allow others to doubt Kagaya while being jealous? Hit him. It has been a long time since Kagaya opened the spiritual solution at an incredible speed. Jing Lingting was a sensation. There was a lot of discussion. Yuan Lu Jai gave Kei Yoruichi time to prepare, and then started the challenge the next day. That night. First team house. Yuan Luze sat cross-legged on the ground, her eyes gleaming. She didn't know what she was thinking. Kiraku Shunsui sat opposite, full of emotion. Teacher, are you sure you don't accept her as a student? It's amazing. And it's Zanpakuto from the space department, weird, powerful and terrifying. Space. Kiraku Shunsui exclaimed. And it's a pure space, not mixed with other strange abilities, but the purer the more terrifying. Just like the Zanpakuto of the captain, it is a pure high-temperature flame. When the ability is extremely pure, it will be the absolute controller of this system, and other related Zanpakuto can be compared. Yuan Luze is naturally clear, but calmly said, the old man has long since confiscated the idea of accepting students, not to mention that the old man can't teach her anything. Chun Shui was startled, and then helpless. It can only be said that Kagaya is too talented for 07. But, Chun Shui's expression was a little serious. What do you think of room 46? They won't deprive Kagaya of Zanpakuto? Kido has a space-based spell, space transfer. The place can be moved arbitrarily into space. Because it hinders the spatial order of Soul Society, it is listed as forbidden technique. There are more time-based spells. Time stops, can stop the surrounding time. Because it hindered the chronological order of Soul Society, it was listed as forbidden technique. This is forbidden by Central 46. They're very afraid of time and space abilities. Especially space capabilities. You must know that the Spirit Palace is in a different space outside the 72 barriers. In case of breaking in, who is responsible? They are still observing. Speaking of this, Yuan Lujai's eyes flashed a stern look. This is not the way before, they don't want to be higher. Jing Lingting needs Kagaya, not Kagaya needs Tailinging. If they are still stupid, the Holy Empire will be handed over to them. Wow. Hockey. It was the first time that Chunshui saw his teacher comment 46 to 46. Central 46, composed of 40 sages and 6 judges, is the highest judicial organ of Soul Society. People at the rank of captain are not allowed to raise objections to any judgments that have been made. Speaking from the level, Room 46 is the center of supreme power in Lingting, even the royal family and royal spies never interfere. Correct. Speaking of Kagaya, Chunshui couldn't help but said in a deep voice, Teacher, I have investigated and analyzed many times, and I assure you that Kagaya is by no means a member of the Empire. These are meaningless. In Chunshui's astonishment, Yuan Lujai slowly said, The Holy Empire cannot be underestimated. If Kagaya is really sent over, then we must be fully prepared and we will never find loopholes. This. Chun Shui was silent about what he wanted to say. Yes, how can his investigation and analysis compare to the preparation of an empire? What does the teacher think? The moment Kagaya showed off his talent and solved the space system Zanpakuto. The old man can only think of her as his own, nothing else. Yuan Lujai's words made Chun Shui think deeply. Kagaya is a genius. It is possible to grow to the level of a teacher or even enter the Zero team. Because space is important. Other members of the Zero division entered because of various achievements, but Kagaya can strengthen the defense of the Palace of the Soul. It means that Kagaya has a bright future, the main thing. Yuan Luzhe hopes from the heart that Kagaya is his own, so that he can deal with the Empire a little bit more confidently. People of the Empire, there is nothing more than a powerful enemy. People who are not empires, that effect is great. Pure spatial ability, in Yuan Lujai's heart, ranks at the forefront, especially when the two armies are fighting. Kei Yoruichi is comparable to thousands of Shinigami. So Yuan Luzhe, just want to cultivate. This is also Kaguya's high-profile idea, with Ultimate's high profile, to bring out an alternative low-key. You two be prepared. Yuan Luzhe looked at the somewhat sloppy spring water, and lightly scolded. Take away your laziness. If she challenges you tomorrow and you lose, you will see the anger of the old man. Guru. Chun Shui immediately calmed down and slackened, and said earnestly, Teacher, I will never fail. And, speaking of this, Chun Shui murmured, Kagaya shouldn't challenge me, right? Or should I recognize her as a younger sister now? It's okay to be an older sister. Is teacher. The other side. The Spiritual Arts Academy is still under reconstruction. All teachers and students can only live in the Gode 13 team house temporarily. There is only Kagaya, it is still a single family room. Not far from the team house. Teacher, someone is here again. Robin walked over, watching Kagaya quietly reading in the room and speaking softly. It seems that the comber is very interesting. Kagaya turned a page gently. After she put away the sacrificial solution, and sent out a challenge like Chong. Advertisement people come to her in an endless stream, such as close friends, idols and so on. More, come from the nobles. With various favorable conditions, I hope Kagaya will join their family. Kagaya was gone. Robin has always refused outside, but now he is reporting again, he must think it can arouse Kaguya's interest. It's a little girl. Having said this, Robin chuckled slightly, she came here by herself. Little girl. Kaguya's eyes flickered. Although she is not in a team house, it is not accessible to ordinary people. It seems that this little girl should have a background. Let her in. His teacher. Quickly. Robin brought in a little girl who was about 10 years old. As soon as the little girl came in, she shouted with irresistible joy. Ah, Kagaya-senpai, I admire you so much. Huh? A little fan? When Kagaya looked up, his eyes lit up. About 10 years old, purple ponytail hair, golden eyes are very bright, looks very cute. Especially, the little girl's complexion is light brown. Make her stand out from the crowd. Senior Kagaya, did you know that you broke the Spiritual Arts Academy? The little girl was extremely excited, her eyes full of admiration. No, it broke all records in the history of Soul Society. Starting from scratch, at the fastest speed, Grandmaster Zanquangdi walks and has solved Zanpakuto. This is not the point. Speaking of which, the little girl jumped up excitedly and cheered. All the buildings of the Spiritual Arts Academy were destroyed by you unconsciously, great. So I don't have to go to school. Kagaya and Robin couldn't help but chuckle. Really a cheerful and lively little girl. Others are not important, the important thing is not to go to school, right? It's so innocent and cute. Your name? Kagaya asked with a smile. For cute little fans, Kagaya has a special treatment. Night. The little girl's light brown face flushed with excitement and said lively, Kagaya-senpai, this is Yoruichi Shikadainen. Shihuan? Robin looked at Yoruichi and said, Shihuan's House of the Four Nobles? Yes. Shikaden Yoruichi nodded, without any arrogance on his face. There were originally 5 nobles, but Shiba's house began to decline. Of course, Soul Society has more than these nobles, but the 4 nobles are the top nobles, inheriting ancient times. The others are not comparable. You are here to thank your concubine, don't you need to go to school? Kagaya looked at Yoruichi and whispered, I'm sorry to disturb you. I am here for two purposes. Shihun Yoruichi bowed apologetically, and then said seriously, on behalf of the Shihun family, I will give you all the resources to rebuild the Spiritual Arts Academy. In the first sentence, Kagaya chuckled lightly. It's a good time to solve it, but the destruction of Spiritual Arts Academy will always have someone to be responsible for it. Don't need money for reconstruction. Kagaya originally thought to develop some new Kido to make up for this loss. But this is too frightening to the world. No matter the solution, you have only been in school for a few days, so will you develop a new Kido? That would be unreasonable. Yoruichi, is the little white sheep delivered to the door. Then what? Kagaya did not refuse. 840 Seeing this, Yoruichi's eyes were bright, and he said cautiously, Can I be your student? Yoruichi is 10 years old this year. She didn't have the careful thoughts of other nobles and never wanted to go to school. Kagaya, who destroyed the Spiritual Arts Academy, was an idol. It is also the idol of many children. Kagaya calmly said, The concubine body doesn't like low-pitched, conscientious students. Ah, I get it. Yoruichi lowered his body and shouted loudly, Yoruichi, I have seen the teacher. I wish the teacher Invincible Soul Society dominate you Lingting, he. Speaking of the back, Yoruichi couldn't help but laughed, extremely cheerful and lively. Robin also smiled. It's so cute, your smile infected me. Have to say, Robin has never seen a few little girls who can still remain cheerful and lively in front of Kagaya. Nami is one of them, then you will follow your concubine. Kagaya sensed Yoruichi's ryotsu and then said, Let's talk to Robin, I have to read a book. Yes, teacher, I wish the teacher will sweep everything tomorrow and become the captain. Yoruichi in Sefenjin, rolled his eyes and walked to Robin's side, Senior sister. Call me senior sister. Robin touched Yoruichi's little head, slightly surprised. It feels so good, just like a kitten. Really? Yoruichi smiled sweetly, she seems to have a soft spot for cats. Yoruichi whispered again. What do the elder sister and teacher like? I will prepare. The apprenticeship went so smoothly. Yoruichi was pleasantly surprised, but he felt too sloppy and seemed to be disrespectful to the teacher. The nobles paid much attention to the relationship between teachers and students. Robin smiled. Books, a lot of books. Book? Yoruichi's eyes are brighter. I see, I'm going to prepare now. Teacher, I will be back soon. Yoruichi left violently. Jumping all the way. Robin whispered. Teacher, take Yoruichi as a student, other nobles. Does my concubine need to care? Kagaya is not interested in the nobility, so she continued to read the book and whispered. Yoruichi is very cute and my concubine likes it. Chapter 14. When Kagaya said the captain to challenge, the audience went crazy. Advertisement early the next morning. The Spiritual Arts Academy is still being rebuilt. This battle was arranged on a huge battle platform by the captain. Now, all the nobles and the members of Gode 13 arrived. They sat on the periphery one after another. There are still many Shinigami watching from afar. Very lively. In one place, Kuchiki Yinling said in a low voice, You are smart. Send a little girl to approach Kagaya. What little girl? Yoruichi is my Shihuan princess. Patriarch Shihuan couldn't hide a smile on his face. Yi has been smart since she was a child. I didn't arrange this time. She sneaked out by herself and gave me a surprise when she came back. Humph. Kuchiki Yinling snorted coldly. I can't express the envy in my heart. Generally genius doesn't matter. But Kagaya is Shinigami who has been recognized by countless people with the opportunity to grow to the level of the captain in the future. What happened to the nobility? No strength is empty talk. Yoruichi can become a student of Kagaya and directly blast the pot among the nobles. Teacher-student relationship. It's so important in Pulingting. The other side, on a high mountain in Jinglingting. The scenery is still good. Kagaya stood here and looked at the scenery of Jingling Palace. Jinglingting is not small, its area is about 133,000 square ling li. The radius is about 365 ling li. The whole is arranged in a circle by huge streets. The average Shinigami trek takes 40 days a week. The environment is also very beautiful, with large tracts of grass and low-back mountains, simple buildings, and tiled roofs. It's just breaking the rules too much. Kagaya looks at Rukongai outside the Pulingting. Rukongai as a whole is much larger than Tilingting. The farther away from Jinglingting, the more dilapidated it is. The teacher is right, Jinglingting does have many rules. Little lowly Yoruichi nodded earnestly, then looked forward to smiling and said, Which captain is the teacher going to challenge? I have information here. But there are few shots, such as Captain Chunshui, Captain Jashiro, etc. Speaking of this, lowly Yoruichi is full of admiration. But they are definitely not as good as the teacher is the best. You will be great in the future. Kagaya stroked Loli's head, then looked at Robin who was walking in the distance and said, Are they all here? All were waiting for the teacher. Robin recalled the expressions of the captains and said, The teacher has only been in school for half a month after all. Many captains are a little unhappy. Yoruichi also nodded. That's for sure. They have worked so hard for so many years to become the captain. The teachers are all children in their eyes. Of course they are not happy. Do you treat your concubine as a child? Kagaya looked at the martial arts arena in the distance and smiled elegantly. Everything unhappy is because of dissatisfaction. Is not convinced? Concubine hit them until they are convinced. Ah, this is my teacher. Little lowly Yoruichi jumped up excitedly. Apprentice Kagaya. It was the best decision in my life, Yoruichi. The periphery of the battle platform. Gode 13 is located. The captain of the 2nd Division frowned slightly. Are all the kids so arrogant now? Let everyone wait for her? How arrogant a genius is, it's normal. The captain of the 4th Division whispered plainly. The captain of the 12th Division played the taste. She won't challenge me, right? I'm from the Technology Development Unit. I'm still on the prison team, will she take over? Welcome anytime. The captain of the 9th Division said coldly. Gode 13, not all are the main combat troops, each team has its own responsibilities. The first team is in charge of the troops, leftover. Concealed mobility, support, medical treatment, rescue, exclusive for nobles, inner court guard, intelligence, prison, patrol guard, special combat, technology development, purification. The 11th Division is the main battle force. 3rd generation Kenpachi grinned awe-inspiringly. Come on, I'm waiting for you. Looking at the various looks of the captains, Yuan Luze frowned slightly and said nothing. Either do it, be dumb, or be weak. He admitted that he was not satisfied with these current captains, but he is currently the best. Guru, Chun Shui drank a sip and murmured, so, the existence of Kagaya is so amazing. The new generation of geniuses are all about to grow up. In the corner, the two boys watched. It seems that these captains are not good enough, and they are full of emotions. Urahara Kazuki turned his head and said, what do you think? Captains? Little Aizen smiled and said, for Kagaya-sama, whether the dust removed is 1 or 2, it is difficult to recognize with the naked eye. Kazuki's scalp is numb. How do you say it in the words of the Empire? Little Aizen is too pretended. You make me feel more and more strange. Urahara Kazuki said solemnly, and burst into tears in the next second. The once innocent and cute little fool has finally grown up. I am so touched, woo. This B***********. D. Little Aizen breaks again. He once again felt the mood of the teacher Madara. Some people were born owed. I'm coming. Is she Kagaya? It's hard to imagine how she will look like in a few years. Ah, crimson eyes. I feel full of wisdom. Hey, I didn't expect the princess of Shihuan's family to become her student. Kagaya walked with Robin and Yoruichi. Many Shinigami saw Kagaya for the first time, and everyone couldn't help but watch. The figure is like a moon, elegant and flowery, well, perfect. And after Kagaya arrived, the captains also converged various emotions, squinting their eyes slightly. Everyone is quiet. The one who got up was Chojiro Sasaki, the deputy captain of the 1st Division, and said aloud, Spiritual Arts Academy student, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Today challenge the captain, there is only one rule. The challenge must accept the challenge, the loser abdicates, and the winner rises. Any objection? The whole is silent. That is no objection. Chojiro Sasaki looked at Kagaya. Which captain are you going to challenge? Countless Shinigami watched with bated breath. They were all guessing in their hearts. First, the team captain is excluded, and the rest are possible. Advertisement brush. Kagaya Shunpo came to the battle arena and looked around the captains of Gode 13. She won't really choose me. Perceiving that Kaguya's gaze stopped on her body for a moment, Kyoraku Shunsui couldn't help but slacken. Jashiro raised his brow slightly. How do I feel that she wants to choose me? Chunshui and Jashiro looked at each other. This feeling appeared in my heart. Is it going to be 1 dozen 2? After all, the rules didn't say that you can only fight one. Yuan Luze also narrowed his eyes and said in his heart, if you really choose this way, it's fine. Let Kagaya suffer a little bit, guard against arrogance and rashness. To be honest, most of Shinigami's hearts don't think Kagaya can beat the captain. It's okay to think so. Just like the Qinghai realm, Dover can do everything. Conqueror's haki awakens and listens very well. But Dover couldn't hold Whitebeard's punches, so in the hearts of Shinigami, Kagaya has the qualifications to become the captain, but he still needs to work hard to improve in all aspects. It's a bit early to challenge now. Chunshui, captain. With everyone holding their breath, Kagaya looked at Kyoraku Shunsui. Is it me? Suddenly I feel that this little girl doesn't love it anymore. Kyoraku Shunsui got up lazily, and Captain Jashiro. Kagaya looked at Jashiro Yukitaki again. Wow, the audience fell silent. Kuchiki Yinling couldn't help but stared. This kid, do you want 1 dozen 2? Come on, teacher. Yoruichi Shikaden was taken aback, and didn't want to shout with excitement. My teacher is invincible. Everyone was speechless. The teacher and the students are not right. Where's the confidence? Hope, you can stay confident. Jashiro didn't care, stood up and smiled. Can be the next moment. The audience was taken aback. Kagaya looked at Genryuze in the middle again, and said calmly, there is also the captain. What? Go crazy. The audience was in an uproar. Even the Shinigami started to get angry. They felt that Kagaya disrespected the captain. The current students are too arrogant. The next moment, Kaguya's plain words washed away the audience. Except for the above 3 captains, let's go with the rest. The concubine is going to hit 10, this moment. The needle drop in the audience can be heard. As if time is still, all Shinigami's expressions are frozen at this moment. Kaguya's words. Everyone who bombed was dumbfounded. Yuan Luze was also busy for an instant, and his stale face also showed a smile. Such a student, 10,000 years is a rare encounter. Admire. Jashiro murmured. Something's wrong. Kyoraku Shunsui was greatly shocked in his heart. He felt that he was being led by the nose by Kagaya. Kagaya gave a casual look. It caused him a misunderstanding. Even all of Shinigami's ideas are far from Kaguya's. Is this really a little girl? What a demeanor. Little Aizen felt a little tremor in his heart and learned secretly. One day, he will have to fight alone, even the captain will be added. I also misunderstood. I can't use my ignorance of Kagaya-sama as an excuse. Urahara Kazuki murmured inwardly. He really thought Kagaya was going to challenge the three captains just now, which shocked him. Although he has not yet opened Zanpakuto, the holy text is wisdom. I can't keep up with Kaguya's thinking, and I can't see Kaguya's thinking at all. Ah, teacher. Little lowly Yoruichi doesn't care about that much, she just wants to scream and vent the excitement in her heart. Presumptuous. An angry shout came from the venue. This is the anger from the 6th Division Captain Kuchiki Silverbell, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Are you sure you want to challenge the 10 of us? If challenge him alone, Kuchiki Yinling readily accepted. But he, the owner of the Kuchiki family, the first nobleman of Shaolingting, can be placed alongside the other captains as a stepping stone. How can this make him stand? Did you talk? Kagaya scanned the audience calmly. If you are afraid of your concubine, you don't need to fight. Boom. 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 10 captains, except Chunshui, Jashiro, and the captain, broke out in Ryotsu one after another. It makes it hard for countless Shinigami to breathe. Swipe it. All 10 captains came to the battle platform, which was a platform several hundred meters in diameter, which was large enough to accommodate. The 10 captains stared at Kagaya indifferently. Cloth enchantment. Yuan Luze whispered calmly. Chunshui, Jashiro, etc. arranged the enchantment. You have time to choose your opponent now. The captain of the 7th Division suppressed his anger and said as calmly as possible. This is the advice from seniors. Ignoring the anger of everyone, Kagaya said flatly. So much nonsense. Arrogant. Kaguya's words always touched emotions, and all 10 captains attacked the past. Solution. Space is only me, the moment Kagaya whispered. The power of the terrifying space erupted, Titicaca. The audience went straight down in amazement, all the captains flew upside down. Hiss. Chapter 15. The power of space is terrifying. Spike. Shocking Shinigami's victory. Advertisement Titicaca. The 10 captains flew upside down and hit the barrier. Hiss. See this scene. Looking at the elegant Kagaya in the center of the battle platform, everyone was surprised. The concubine is going to hit 10, this sentence. It seems to have crossed time and space, and once again echoed in everyone's ears. That is not arrogance, it's self-confidence. Ah, teacher. Little lowly Shihuin Yoruichi is really a top cheerleader, yelling excitedly. This time, without Shinigami, he secretly complained and stared at the battle platform. Just a moment. What happened? The power of space can still be used like this, Kagaya. Kyoraku Shunsui admired it, and couldn't help but drank a drink and smiled. Fortunately, Kagaya didn't choose me, otherwise it would be really embarrassing. It's true. Jashiro Yukitaki recalled the scene just now. He can't think of a way to fight back, so he can only resist. Solved. Space is my only. Just from the explained words, it is clear that Kagaya has absolute control over space. At the moment when the captains rushed, Kagaya turned the power of space into a barrier and pushed it out in no time. It was an attack that was more difficult to destroy than the Shenluo Tianzheng. The space barrier is too strong, the faster the horizontal push, the greater the power. And, there is no gap in all directions, Captain, this is not fair. The deputy captain of a team also saw something and couldn't help shouting. Suddenly the audience fell silent. Say, Yuan Luze said plainly. Feeling like I was saying something wrong, a certain deputy captain couldn't help but bit the bullet and said, Kaguya's Zanpakuto controls the space. The battle platform is too small, and her advantage is too big, which is not conducive to the captains. Call. Many Shinigami were speechless. Not to mention the diameter of the battle platform being several hundred meters, it is already the largest of the conventional battle platform. Just say that Wei Yoruichi hit 10, who is unfair to whom, face. Shut up. Regardless of whose team you are, Kuchiki Yinling yelled immediately. The more you talk, the more embarrassing, continue. Yuan Luze ignored the road, when the captain's words fell. The top 10 captain did not rush to do anything, but stared at Kagaya. Kagaya can be seen all over. It is full of the rhythm of space, with 840 layers of ripples. God knows how many layers of space barriers are blocking Kagaya, as if it is more difficult to approach than the Spirit Palace. The power of space Kuchiki Yinling feels extremely tricky. If he can't even meet Kagaya, how can I defeat her? Do not, any ability has weaknesses, it can't be perfect. Attack separately. Kuchiki Silverbell screamed, and the first to draw the sword was a sword slash. Hado 33. Kanghuo Pendant. Hado's 57th world is turning around. Bakudo 79-9 lures. Bakudo 6200 step railings. While Kuchiki's Silverbell sword slashed, the other 9 captains dispersed from all sides and took out Kido, the grandmaster of their own. Binding and attacking at the same time, teacher. Little lowly Yoruichi was taken aback. The gathering of all kinds of bright winds, thunders, flames, slashes, and rays of light in all directions is amazing. The most amazing thing is, Ryotsu of the 10 captains were all gathered together and pressed across. It's heartwarming, and at this time, Kagaya, who seemed to be in the center of desperate situation, was still so elegant as the moon, and the flat voice overwhelmed the audience. Hado 99-5 swirling dragons of destruction. Boom. The earth-shattering roar suddenly erupted, and the 5 blue dragons condensed by huge Ryotsu roared out. The blue dragon is sweeping. In a flash, hovering around Kaguya, destroying all the attacks. The entire battle platform was completely shattered, as if nothing could remain intact in front of the blue dragon. Hi, Hado on the 99, it's crazy, she's still a student. Unbelievable, Hado of this level, I have never heard of anyone. All Shinigami who came to watch the game had their brains blank. Hado 99. The apex of Kido. Its difficulty of learning, its requirements for Ryotsu, and everything about it have made countless Shinigami discouraged. Even Shinigami, who was the captain, sighed sadly, it was too difficult. And, even if you learn, it is difficult to control, and it is likely to hurt yourself. Up until now, almost all Shinigami, who have never seen anyone perform it before, seem to exist in the legend. Ryotsu is insufficient, it is discarded before it is used. Boom. 5 swirling dragons of destruction, showing the final great horror, did not stop after the collapse of the battle platform, but rushed to the captains, producing a terrifying explosion. 5 captains were the first to bear the brunt, and a bloody spatter was exploded on their bodies, and the other captains were also bombarded by the explosion. Hiss. When the aftermath of the dust clears, the whole audience was silent. Kaguya stood calmly on the last battle platform like the goddess of the moon. The rest of the place was completely collapsed, and all the top 10 captains vomited blood in the pit. Kaguya, Haki overlook everything. Mrs. Haki. Urahara Kazuki couldn't help but worship, and was very excited. Hado 99? I'm done. 5 swirling dragons of destruction, little Aizen observed. Almost all Shinigami were shocked, and it was obvious that this Hado was shocking the world. The new generation of the Empire forced the king and frightened. As the little dance king of the Empire, how could Haki's moves fail? My teacher is invincible. No matter what, Hado, shouting is over, the little lowly Yoruichi kept shouting. Puff cough. Damn it. The captain was seriously injured and coughing up blood, and his face was unacceptable. How did she do it? The captain's eyes were dull. He has hardly studied 5 swirling dragons of destruction for decades and hundreds of years, but Kaguya can easily use it. You are still a child. Can you stop being so exaggerated? While this made the captains unbelievable, they were ashamed and shameless. Concubine has kept her hand, you. But so, Kaguya's words were neither cold nor cold, as if telling a fact. The Shinigami were silent. Advertisement, but this sentence is tantamount to trampling on dignity for the captains such as Kuchiki Yinling. Solution Chiyuan Wheel. Solved 9 rods brilliance. Solved, empty song. Resolved King Kong's fury. A series of terrifying Ryotsu erupted. The solution is 5 to 10 times that of Shikai. When the top 10 captains enter the solution, the Shinigami's breathing is stagnant. In the face of the captains who answer one by one, Kaguya lifted Zanpakuto. Kido is over. Cut. A sword pressure slashed out sharply, looking unremarkable. The ridiculous sword pressure, you are still far behind, little girl. The captain of the 4th division does not, AHFJ, smash, if this slash can cut him, he will eat it on the spot. What? The next moment, the 4th division captain was stunned. Slash and disappear halfway. The Shinigami who watched the battle also looked around, but couldn't find where the slash was. The next moment, a slash suddenly appeared in the void from the side of the 4th division captain, and quickly passed him. Puff. The hideous scars appeared. With blood splashing, the 4th team leader fell. Space. Yuan Luze narrowed his eyes. Sword pressure combined with the power of space, cut out with a single knife, unpredictable. The sudden disappearance of the slash will always attract people's attention. Sudden slashes that appear at 0 distance from other directions are even more difficult to prevent. Go. Kaguya's attack did not stop. Under the astonishment of the captains, Kaguya disappeared. Fist. In front of the captain of the 5th division, Ryotsu swept through with a punch. Kaguya slammed a punch and disappeared. In the next moment, he came to the captain of the 7th division and punched the same. When Kaguya returned to the place, ticket, the 2 captains, as if being hit hard, flew backwards and smashed into the barrier, vomiting blood suddenly and fell to the ground. Hiss. The Shinigami were shocked again. What just happened? Is it the space barrier impact again? I didn't see anything. I felt a flower in front of me, and then there was no more. The Shinigami were stunned. Kaguya is really moving too fast, everything seems to be in an instant. How can I fight this? Kyoraku Shunsui spoke subconsciously, his eyes filled with wonder. Before the sword pressure combined space, today, Shunpo combines space. Shunpo is already extremely fast, but after combining the power of space, Kaguya is a real teleport. Teleported out a punch. Teleport returns. It is difficult for the captain to react soon. The power of space is in Kaguya's hands, and he can control it as he wants. Speed is strength. If you can't react, you can only be beaten passively. Zanshuan Zaogui, even if it is a little immature, it is all complemented by the power of space, and even greatly strengthened. Yuan Luze, once again enlightened. Kaguya, who has space Zanpakuto, can only cultivate with all his strength, so as to increase his chances of resisting the Empire. Recovered. Kuchiki's silver bell burst out, pulling the captains back from their palpitations. Can't give her any chance to attack with all his strength. This moment, The captains released their big moves together. Various terrorist attacks swept towards Kagaya, making Shinigami's scalp numb. The captain's attack covered the entire battle platform, and Kagaya had nowhere to go. It's all a solution. Who can stand this? The teacher won't lose. Only the young lowly Yoruichi believed Kagaya very much and kept shouting. Compared to the previous Kido, this moment is the real desperation. Also in this desperate situation, Kaguya's Zanpakuto suddenly shattered, merged into the void, and the voice came out flat again. Empty. Room. Condensation. As soon as this whisper sounded, the power of Lingji's space wiped out the audience. All attacks. Frozen in the void, the 10 captains stopped in place. The Shinigami in the appearance battle of the barrier also seemed to have pressed the pause button and stared at the scene in the barrier in amazement. On the battle stage, everything is still. The audience is silent. Guru, it's terrible. Kagaya only solidified the space of the battle platform, and it was also a different concept from Lan Yu's static time. The biggest difference is, when the space freezes, the captains freeze their bodies, but they can still think, and their consciousness can still move. Can feel more deeply. The horror of Kagaya. No, I can't move. The captains were shocked and shocked like never before. Space can still be used like this, they can only be slaughtered by Kagaya. Swipe. At this moment, Zanpakuto returned to Kaguya's hands, and his figure passed by the captains like a phantom. Do not, when Kagaya returned to his original position. The sound is washed out without being affected by the space. The concubine body can only freeze a certain range of space for 3 seconds. You are defeated. Puff chick chick. When the space was frozen, blood arrows shot from the captains. The moment they fell. Snow-white brilliance, the red is gone. The needle is still audible in the audience. The use of Kagaya's space really scared Shinigami. The space freezes, it's horrible. In the time standstill, Kido, Central 46 regards the forbidden technique as an error when it is not allowed to be used. Kaguya's space freezes, great horror, until the little lowly Yoruichi's cry came out. Ah, Mr. Kagaya is the best, he. The captain challenges. Shojiro Sasaki was in a daze and stood up and said loudly. Winner, Otsutsuki Kagaya, ah proud. The audience cheered in an uproar. This battle. Because of the rise of Kagaya, it is enough to be recorded in the history of Soul Society. Chapter 16. Captain 4 Kagaya, Captain 5 Aizen, Captain 12 Urahara Kazuki. Advertisement Kaguya's victory. While it was difficult for Shinigami to suppress the cheers, they were also filled with emotion. Department of Space Zanpakuto, and it is extremely pure, the column of absolute masters. It's really amazing, it makes people very powerless. Space, teleport, space barrier, and space solidification. Kaguya's demonstrated ability, I can't think of anyone who can defeat her in the future. Yes, this is what Kagaya showed. It will definitely be able to develop more spatial capabilities in the future, it's too powerful. Space freezes, terrifying, looking at Kagaya standing elegantly. She is no longer a new student, it is the strongest of the new generation. The Shinigami seem to see the rise of the next captain. Kagaya is bad, there is only time left, didn't you see the top 10 captain lying in the ruins, pretending to be dead? Even if a few did not faint, they still pretended to be faint. They have no face to meet people. 10 team captains can't beat a little girl who has been in school for half a month, and they all want to die. Just think about it. They can all think of the disappointed look in the captain's eyes, and they can say something. You are the worst I have ever taken. Abdicate, but at the moment. Yuan Luze was staring at an old man beside him. You see, how do you decide? Space. The old man comes from Central 46 and is also a respected sage. He came here. Just look at Kaguya's spatial ability. As a result, it was far more terrifying than imagined. This is just one day of my own understanding. If it is a few years, decades later, who can stand it? To be honest, I am embarrassed. The wise man looked directly into Genryujai's eyes and said, you also know that we have always forbidden Kido, such as space and time, because it will disturb the time and space of Soul Society. And this child's Zanpakuto is far stronger than the spacetime type Kido. Yuan Luze did not speak. What used to be forbidden was time stillness and space transfer, but Kagaya directly came to a solidification of space. The sage's tone was a little high. Are you sure? The Holy Empire is very powerful? Is it stronger than the former Quincy? Soul Society needs Kagaya. Yuan Lujai's words are concise and concise. Okay, I believe you. The sage nodded slightly, then looked at the amazing Kagaya, and said solemnly. However, you must ensure that this child can't be sacrificed to Shikai at will. If she is not careful, you should understand what I mean. I will tell her. Yuan Luze didn't say much. The sage is most afraid that Kagaya accidentally breaks through various barriers and pours into the spirit palace. That's the big trouble. Huh, my concubine is so angry. Kagaya stood in the same place as elegant as a goddess, but he had already remembered the 46th chamber of the central yang in his heart. Still want to deprive the concubine Zanpakuto? You wait for your concubine? If it weren't for the captain's persuasion, the 46th room could really deprive Kagaya Zanpakuto and not allow the space to be disturbed. Kagaya is very vengeful. The sage was busy, and Yuan Luze got up after he left. The audience watched with breathlessness. Take them to treatment. Yuan Luze glanced at the captains who were fainting or pretending to be faint, expressionless. All Shinigami's minds brightened. They knew that the captain was really disappointed. After all, the captains performed extremely poorly. Being crushed from beginning to end. Which team do you want to be the captain? Yuan Lu Jai looked at Kagaya and directly erased all doubts about Kagaya. Because of the potential threat of the Empire, Jing Ling Ting needs Kagaya. He doesn't want to think about the bad, only the worse he thinks. The medical team, the captain of the 4th Division. Kaguya's words surprised everyone, and Kagaya continued. The concubine doesn't like to fight and kill, she just likes to read quietly and save the wounded by the way. Yuan Luze. Shinigami. Are you kidding me? I just shouted. I want to hit 10 concubines, and, you were just like that, and then crush the top 10 captains and beat them. Is this not like fighting and killing? I didn't expect your Kagaya to be so humorous. Ahem, what do you think? Urahara Kazuki in the corner gave a light cough and looked aside. Aizen smiled calmly. Master Kagaya combined Haki and Danya, it is a miracle. As for the 10 captains. Speaking of this, Xiao Aizen's tone was flat. Vitality that is not commensurate with strength is also a waste. I serve. Urahara Kazuki looked at him with admiration. He suspected that the little Aizen hadn't learned other things from Lord Madara, only learned how to pretend to be forced. Immediately. Otsutsuki Kagaya, succeeding the captain of the 4th Division of Gode 13. Genryu Sai looked at Kei Yoruichi deeply again and turned to leave. Proud. The audience cheered again. They witnessed the miracle, and the discussions with Urangan were even more lively. Ah, the teacher is so amazing, I love you so much. After the enchantment was withdrawn, the little lowly Yoruichi rushed over quickly, holding Kagaya in his arms, and said, I have to beat 10 concubines. This sentence is too hockey. Yoruichi couldn't help herself with excitement. Among the 10 captains, there is the patriarch of the Kuchiki family, who is at the same level as her grandfather. Come on, too, little Yoruichi. For fans and students, Kagaya always has a spring-like smile. Yeah, Yoruichi will work hard. Little Loli clenched his fist, eyes full of admiration. Yoruichi will not shame the teacher, and I will hit 10 in the future. Advertisement Robin who walked was also smiling. From now on, she will be a little witch again. Congratulations, the day you entered school seems to have been yesterday, and I feel that I am old. Kyoraku Shunsui walked frivolously, drinking small wine and smiling. You are already very old. Jashiro behind him teased, then looked at Kagaya and smiled. Captain Kagaya, thank you for not fighting. The two acclaimed. Kagaya was very polite, and said with a little seriousness, the concubine chooses them, but thinks that they are too weak, but you make the concubine feel dangerous. Chunshui and Jashiro were ashamed. Should we be happy or lost? Those 10 are captains anyway. From now on, the teacher should worry. Kyoraku Shunsui couldn't help sighing. Kagaya said casually. Then try to cultivate a new generation. 2 children who are in the same period as the concubine are very good. Chun Shui nodded earnestly. Aizen and Kazuki are also very good. Train it well, and maybe you can be the captain in a few decades. Chun Shui drank a sip and said, let's work hard together. Maybe you don't know that Soul Society has a big enemy. Hey, tell me, please. Kagaya reveals an interested look. Chun Shui looked directly at Kaguya's blushing eyes, and said seriously, 5 years ago, there was an earth-shattering battle over Rukongai in the east. You should have seen it from the 80th district. Kagaya did not answer, and listened calmly. Chun Shui still looked directly at Kaguya's eyes, and said solemnly, the enemy is from the Holy Empire. Then what? Kagaya was slightly curious, then. This reaction made Chun Shui almost unable to keep up, and couldn't help but smile. There is no more, the Holy Empire is very strong and incomplete, by the way, the Lord of the Empire is very handsome, but a bit worse than me. Puff. Little Loli Yoruichi laughed. Captain Chunshui is too narcissistic, and I can see it from a distance. It's super temperamental. Ha, just treat me as drunk, but I think I'm really handsome. 0. Look for flowers. Kyoraku Shunsui smiled, still looking directly at Kagaya. Lord of the Empire. Didn't you react, Kagaya? Kaguya's blush eyes were calm, and she frowned slightly and said, Captain Chunshui has been staring at his concubine like this, is it a bit rude? Ahem, sorry. Kyoraku Shunsui couldn't help but flushed his face, and changed the subject. Hey, by the way, I have something to do, so let's go. I have something too. Jashiro also left. Kagaya didn't say anything, and took Robin and Yoruichi to report to the 4th Division. On a hill. Jashiro was puzzled. What's the matter with you? Keep staring at Kagaya, aren't you afraid to scare this kid? You misunderstood, I just want to ask how Kagaya learned 5 swirling dragons of destruction. Speaking of this, Chunshui is also a little confused. If I remember correctly, Kido above the 30th, the academy doesn't teach it, let alone Hado 99. I taught it. In Chunshui's surprise, Jashiro calmly said, to be precise, Kagaya came to ask Kido a few days ago. I lent her all subsequent Kido classics. It turns out, so, Kaguya's talent is really enviable. Chun Shui squinted his eyes and then chuckled softly. Let's go, there's Kagaya in Jingling Court. It's so happy. I won't be drunk or return tonight. Be careful to drink you to death. Ha, that's really exciting. After the two left, a spatial ripple rippled for a while and then returned to calm. Doubt your concubine? Humph, read hundreds of years of books? The battle is over. Kagaya became the captain of the 4th Division. The follow-up impact is huge. Kaguya's Zanpakuto Moonblade Sky Shadow is indeed incomprehensible, but it further proves the screen weakness of the top 10 captains. Shinigami knows that the Holy Empire will invade sooner or later. If the captains behave like this, how can they protect the glory of Tailangding? The command of the captain was silent and angry. From now on, the team leader will take turns to explore Hokage every year and bring back spiritual penultimate training. Simple commands. Make the stagnant palace undercurrent surging. The gears of time turn slowly, especially the 11th squad, launch more fierce various challenges. 3rd generation Yunlu Kenpachi, lose, 4th generation Kenpachi, superior. Immediately after 5th generation Kenpachi, 6th generation Kenpachi, and then 7th generation Kenpachi, to the top of Yoshiki Kenpachi. 7th generation Kenpachi is a pleasant surprise. Kenpachi killed Vasto Lord level Manos Grande alone, and even received the recruitment of the Zero Team, with great reputation. But not many years. The Mole City Doubles also challenged Kenpachi to cut the house and defeated with a serious injury, which angered the entire 11th division. After the death of 7th generation, Mole City Kenpachi took over, and his friend Kyoraku Shunsui came to worship. Is the Kenpachi concept of the 11th division too cruel, Captain Shunsui? As the main battle force of the only team of Gode 13, Kenpachi, who died in the battle, is also the glory of Kenpachi, Kazuki. Inheritance of glory? Aizen is right, unknowingly, you are all grown up. Cut the tombstone of Yoshiki Kenpachi. Shunsui drank the wine while Aizen and Urahara Kazuki watched calmly. It is worth mentioning that Aizen, the captain of the 5th division, Urahara Kazuki, the captain of the 12th squad, founded the Technology Development Bureau. History slowly advances and changes. Empire Aizen, improperly vice captain. There are still more than 200 years. Aizen and Kazuki murmured in their hearts. The gears of time ring. Speed it up, Chapter 17. Mole City Kenpachi goes to prison, the blonde girl 110 years ago in the plot. Advertisement after Kenpachi died. In the 8th generation, Kenpachi, Mole City, was challenged more frequently. The 11th division is fighting every day, but it is shocking. This elegant man with a black ponytail and 2 long bangs in the middle is able to face any challenge with ease. Not only most people are not enough to cut him, even Kido on the 8th and 90 can give up singing. With amazing strength, I dismissed Shinigami who wanted to become a new generation of Kenpachi. Interesting. Seeing Mole Castle Kenpachi getting stronger, Aizen smiled secretly. Does even Kyoka Suigetsu work for you? Yes. Kyoka Suigetsu has no effect on the city, but Aizen didn't care. Apart from Kyoka Suigetsu, he still had dreams. Late, suddenly a long tone rang, and Aizen didn't need to look back to know that it was someone who was underbeaten. The little idiot became more and more low-key after he became the captain. Urahara Kazuki came, glanced at Aizen and raised his eyebrows and said, I really don't understand, what kind of glasses should you wear, disguise? Aizen wiped his glasses and smiled. You said, if a captain rebels, wouldn't it be fun? Rebel? Urahara Kazuki squinted his eyes slightly. If you rebel, I will support with both hands. But obviously, you want to cheat people, this guy. Don't want to pit me. 857. Kazuki felt that Aizen, who had been suppressed by his IQ since childhood, must be very frustrated, and he might think of pitting him or something. I can feel that he is full of hatred in his heart, and he is deeply ill. Aizen didn't answer, and continued to look at Kenpachi, Mole City, with a gleam in his eyes. Your goal is him? Urahara Kazuki couldn't help laughing. Then, please start your performance, but I still want to see you beaten up by the captain. Suddenly I want to kick you out of Soul Society, Aizen said seriously. Understand, after all, I'm so smart and put you under too much pressure. Urahara Kazuki chuckled lightly, and then suggested, I suggest you start with other people. After all, I only have one weakness, that is love and righteousness. If you cry and beg me to leave, I will agree. Nice suggestion. Aizen didn't speak anymore. Thinking of something, Urahara Kazuki was a little serious. Did you find a way to become stronger quickly? Nearly 100 years have passed. Urahara Kazuki found that the gap to Kaguya not only did not narrow, but widened. Go on like this. Teacher Hashirama will be disappointed. Lan Yu didn't give them Hōgyoku and Big Devouring Art because they were too young at that time. Hōgyoku does not say. Big Swallowing Technique is definitely a plug-in. Kaguya's strength is also growing explosively. I have an idea. Aizen looked in the direction of Hokage and said without concealment. I plan to find some evil spirits to experiment. Urahara Kazuki smiled. Then you must tell me if you have a result, or I will report you. Report? Another interesting suggestion. Aizen smiled a little, mysteriously. Sure enough, idiot, you still want to cheat me, you won't succeed. Do I know you? Wow, I'm your beloved relatives, brothers. Urahara Kazuki wiped his tears and looked up suddenly. I can pit. I have to add money. A few years passed in a hurry. A major event happened in Jinglingding. Mole City Kenpachi attempts to transform the residents of Hokage into war weapons to conquer Hueco Mundo. After trial in the 46th room, he was imprisoned to the bottom of the underground prison. This incident was extremely sensational. After all, Mole City Kenpachi was the captain of the 11th squad and cast a shadow on the 11th squad. 8 generations of Kenpachi ended. Aizen secretly smiled and said, we will meet again, Mole City. So far, in the 9th generation, Gosuke Kenpachi is in the top position. He is also the only Kenpachi who has not passed the captain test to become the captain of the 11th division. After all, the 9 generations have no chance to defeat the 8 generations. The position is not right. A few years later, a fierce-looking, shaggy-looking, proud Shinigami looked at Gosuke Kenpachi, who fell in a pool of blood with disdain. Ghost Yansheng. Kill the 9 generations of Kenpachi. Become the 10 generations of Kenpachi. Kenpachi of Onagan Castle. This guy is too arrogant, many Shinigami murmured in their hearts. Not only arrogant, but also extremely conceited. No one who is proud and complacent looks down upon it. He became the most unpopular captain of the 11th division in history. But the strength is strong. All Shinigami who challenged Kenpachi's position fell in a pool of blood, which made Kenpachi Onijojo even more proud. 10 generation Kenpachi? Anyone like this kind of arrogant will die miserably. In the room, Kagaya said calmly. Yoruichi, who has become the captain of the 2nd division team, still admires in his eyes. The teacher is right, the teacher is the best. You are not mature at all. Kagaya tapped Yoruichi's forehead and said elegantly. I heard that you have beaten all the children of the noble generation, especially the Kuchiki family. Teacher, I didn't change my mind from the beginning, you taught me, and the Byakuya is so slow, I still secretly learn from me. Yoruichi Shikaden made me feel helpless, eyes twitching, although I have the title of Flash Goddess, I am a little bit worse than the teacher. Say if you have anything. Kagaya sees directly through Yoruichi. Yoruichi smiled, and wondered. Why did the teacher refuse the invitation of the 0 division? You must be better than Hikishu Kiryu. Hiking boat Kiryu. It was the captain of the 12th division before Urahara Kazuki, who created the temporary soul, and the technology to put it in the body. Thus became a member of the 0 division. What about the 0 division? Kagaya didn't care, she didn't want to go to the small place, like Lingwang Palace, which was very boring. And there is a monk who represents the history of Soul Society and is famous for his wisdom. God knows how many years he lived, advertisement a real old antique. Very troublesome. But if you practice there, you will become stronger very quickly, the spirits there are too rich. Shikaden Yoruichi is a little regretful, just like that Katsushu Kiryu, decades have passed, it must be better than many captains. Certainly, it's still not comparable to the teacher. In Shihuan Yoruichi's heart, Kagaya is really the strongest one, and the space is too scary. Yoruichi, you are not strong enough. Kagaya was blunt, took out an exquisite box and handed it over. Robin will tell you the true origin of the concubine. After making a decision, he will come to look for the concubine. Is teacher. Shikaden Yoruichi's heart brightened. Cheerful and lively is Yoruichi's character, and it also has a calm and strong side. Followed Kagaya for nearly 100 years. Yoruichi can occasionally see that Kagaya and Robin are at odds with Soul Society. As if not from Soul Society. It's not Soul Society, let alone Hueco Mundo, nor should it be the world, the Palace of the Soul, Hell, etc. So, there is only one answer left. This answer makes Yoruichi often in a daze. Empire Heaven. In the universe. In a galaxy far away from the solar system, Lan Yu sits in the void. Constantly devour the energy of stars and the dark energy in the universe. Shikaden Yoruichi. Lan Yu suddenly opened his eyes, and the shining brilliance made the starry sky dim a bit. It turned out to be this little cat. After Yoruichi understood everything, he finally ate Lingzu 0. The moment she ate it, opened the Imperial New Spiritual Arts Inheritance Memory and Talent Abilities. And all the memories, past, abilities, etc., were displayed in front of Lan Yu. It can be said, Yoruichi doesn't have any secrets in front of Lan Yu, knows herself better than herself. Same. Lan Yu also learned about the development of Soul Society based on Yoruichi's memory. Generally unchanged. Go forward steadily. Are there still characters who haven't come out? Lan Yu didn't see Shinigami, who was crazy for fighting and growing for height. I can only say that it is too early, it makes Lan Yu lack of interest. Shinigami, who is crazy for fighting, is Lan Yu's most admired, and his potential is extremely high. I look forward to your appearance. Lan Yu closed his eyes. The energy in the starry sky is like a tsunami, continuously pouring into Lan Yu's body. Decades later, it is still 110 years before a certain protagonist becomes Shinigami. Which is the plot 110 years ago. The captain of the 11th division is still Onionjo Kenpachi, and he is more and more arrogant. At the same time, a peerless fierce soul from Zaraki district, Rukongai 80, walked out of 80 district. When passing by the Kaolu district of District 79, I adopted a baby and continued to move towards the Lingling court. Come on, fight, extremely ferocious, no soul can stop. At the same time, Rukongai 78 area on the other side of Jingling Palace is deserted everywhere. The sparse trees are also withered and yellow, and almost no grass grows. The higher the serial number of Rukongai, the more chaotic and poor, and life difficult. Very hungry. In the desert, a little girl with long kumquat hair was lying on the ground, unable to move. Souls with higher spiritual power, the souls in the atmosphere are not enough to survive and need food. And she is a little girl. How can I eat a full stomach in Area 78? I can only eat a little liquid food for a few days. Not surprisingly, she will starve to death. This is also the ending of most of Rukongai's high-numbered souls with higher spiritual power. Those who need food and drink are more difficult to survive than ordinary souls. Am I going to die? The little girl's eyes were dull. She also wanted to stay in the Lingting Palace in the past, but now she has no chance at 5.9. Hello. Suddenly a voice sounded. The blonde girl looked up, and it was a silver-haired boy who was jumping and looking at her. If I fall here because I'm hungry, that's just enough. The silver-haired boy thought of himself, and whispered, you have that kind of power too. The little girl was surprised. You too? Yes, only souls with higher spiritual power have the chance to become Shinigami. I was Shinigami after being discovered by Aizen-sama. The silver-haired boy mentioned Lord Aizen. The girl with kumquat hair saw that beside him stood a gentleman with glasses, very gentle. A good person at a glance. I can. The kumquat-haired girl wants some food, but doesn't know how to speak. I won't give you food. Aizen saw the kumquat-haired girl trembling slightly, and smiled lightly. However, you are really lucky to meet Kaguya-sama. You can find the concubine. It seems you have grown a lot, kid. It should be said that Master Wei Yi made me discover it deliberately. Aizen's eyelids twitched slightly. After Xiaoji, Shaoran, and Lil Stupid, there was another thought. Usaro. When will my Aizen rise? Chapter 18. Xiaoyan Xiaoju, Aizen Conspiracy? Kazuki leaves Soul Society? Advertisement, thank you, sir. After Kaguya arrived, she gave Jin Chao, a little girl, a lot of food. The little girl couldn't help but look at Kaguya while eating. Kaguya looked at the silver-haired boy next to Aizen. This kid is good, he will be a little monster in the future. It is an honor for Silver to be appreciated by Master Kaguya. Aizen smiled. Hearing this, Yin immediately bowed and said, Ichimaru Jin thanks Kaguya-sama for your appreciation. The concubine is telling the truth. Looking at the smile on Ichimaru Jin's face, Kaguya sharply commented, because Mimi's eyes are all monsters. Silver, Aizen. Ichimaru Jin is a poppy-like boy with light purple and short hair. His eyes are jumping and smiling, which is unpredictable. Silver was accidentally discovered and taught by Aizen a year ago, which changed history. Approaching from revenge. Become a gift of knowledge. The original track. Xiao Yin rescued Rangaku, who was about to starve to death with dried persimmons, and became a friend ever since. Aizen attacked the young Rangaku and was seen by the Silver. Since then, he decided to take revenge and join Gode 13, and graduated with genius to approach Aizen. Now, Aizen brought Silver to Hokage and happened to meet Rangaku. Are you seeking power beyond Shinigami? Kaguya said, raising her hand slightly, and a small blue-black gem on Aizen fell in her hand. Not bad, it seems that a lot of souls have been killed. The power of Hōgyoku above it. Kaguya is very familiar, after all, many people in the Empire have Hōgyoku created by Aizen in batches. Yes, Lord Kaguya. Aizen didn't hide anything in 07, and smiled. Those sinful souls and vitality that are not commensurate with their strength are also a waste. It's better to perfect me. Kaguya agreed. Hokage is more chaotic, and there are more sinful souls, it is best to die. The concubine also felt a bit of the same strength from him. Throwing the semi-finished Hōgyoku to Aizen, Kaguya smiled lightly, you are all geniuses. Aizen Mingwu. He can be sure that he made Hōgyoku earlier than Urahara Kazuki, but it has never been a finished product. Over the years, Aizen has collected hundreds of Shinigami and Hokage's Shinigami talents for experiments. But still cannot satisfy Hōgyoku. I always feel something bad. If your two Hōgyoku merge, maybe you can reach the finished product. Kaguya casually proposed. She also wanted to see which of the two students of Madara was better. Go ahead. Go for it. Aizen smiled on his forehead. He is autistic and intelligent, but his weaknesses are also obvious. It's time to give him some memory. From the age of 5, Urahara Kazuki has always been called idiot. Aizen is also looking for a chance to cheat. Brother, don't blame me. Yinmi smiled, but looking at Kaguya secretly, he was shocked. This year, he followed Aizen and had graduated from the Spiritual Arts Academy. Graduation in 1 year, known as a genius child. After graduation, Ichimaru Jin was ready to repay Aizen's kindness. In his heart, Aizen was the most terrifying. But now, Master Kaguya, Silver certainly knows Kaguya, after all, he is known as the strongest genius in the history of Soul Society, and is an idol of countless new generations. But both of them are captains. Come on, kid. Kaguya glanced at Yin, and walked towards the little girl Jin Xiaofa with a chuckle. Guru, Ichimaru Jin is still young. In an instant, he felt that he was completely seen through, and it seemed that no one could hide anything from Kaguya. Silver, there is no need to pretend to be in front of Kaguya-sama, that is meaningless. Aizen patted Ichimaru Jin on the shoulder and said, I have a task now, can you help me complete it? The silver guarantee is complete. Ichimaru Jin nodded seriously. Aizen squinted and smiled. My beloved relatives and brothers, it's time to leave Soul Society. Yin couldn't help shaking. He always felt that Aizen had the urge to hit someone when he was talking about brothers. Is it a brother or an enemy? Let's go, Silver. Aizen looked at Kei Yoruichi in the distance without interrupting his eyes, and took Ichimaru Jin away. The little girl from Jinchaofa, after Kaguya walked over, wiped her mouth and stood up. Her cheeks were slightly red and said, Thank you, the Lord, for the food. The little girl exclaimed. Because Kaguya stroked her hair, the little girl suddenly became nervous and said, my hair is dirty. Your eyes are very clean. Kaguya didn't care about this, and squatted down and smiled. Lovely girl. Can you tell your concubine your name? Messy. The little girl looked at Kaguya so close to herself, her eyes flushed. Matsumoto Rangaku. Born free in Rukongai, wandering and starving, she was cared for the first time, and the emotional Rangaku couldn't help crying. Seeing this, Kagaya lightly disturbed Rangaku's tears and said softly, "After you follow your concubine, everything will be fine." The eye edge started. Rangaku fits Kaguya's eyes very well, and immediately decided to take it back for training. Little Rangaku nodded, crying and laughing. Advertisement. It seems that all the previous sufferings are for the encounter with Kagaya today. The inner sky is lit up. A week later, Jing Lingting was shocked. Central 46 Trial Hall. Urahara Kazuki and Kito's chief Tessai Tsukabishi and Hiriko are all here. The verdict is as follows. Urahara Kazuki, the captain of the 12th Division, and Itoribashi Rojiro, the captain of the 3rd Division. Tessai Tsukabishi, the leader of Kito. Put a capital punishment. The final word. All Shinigami in the hall quieted down. This is the most serious sentence in history, because the execution of multiple captains at once is unprecedented. Little fool, you are cruel. Urahara Kazuki smiled inexplicably. Aizen is extremely obscure. Even now, Hiriko Shinji and others do not know that Aizen did it. Aizen ordered Tusen Kanami and Ichimaru Jin to act secretly, frame Hiriko Shinji and his party and make them trigger hollow, and also designed the Central 46 to impose capital punishment on Urahara Kazuki and others. If it wasn't for Kazuki, who grew up with Aizen and knew him well, it would be difficult for him to guess that it was Aizen. Kyoga Suigetsu Dream. These two abilities allow Aizen to manipulate in secret as he wants. Teacher, do you want to save him? In Kaguya's room, Yoruichi asked. After eating lingzu and talking with Robin, Yoruichi naturally knew that Aizen and Kazuki were both Imperials, but they couldn't figure out how the two brothers, who had grown up together, got into trouble. This situation, Yoruichi felt that Urahara Kazuki would have no choice but to reverse it if he didn't save him. Someone will save it. Kagaya smiled. She likes watching this kind of falling in love and killing each other scene the most. Madara reported on the spot when he was angry and directly caught Hashirama and beat him up. Aizen, on the other hand, forbore Ed for more than 100 years. The teachers and students are more ruthless than the other. How do you feel? Suddenly a voice rang. Urahara Kazuki looked up and saw Aizen walking slowly. What caught Kazuki's eyes was, except for him, no one else saw Aizen and let him come. Urahara Kazuki stared at Aizen and said, "You really have concealed a lot of abilities from me. Except for Zanpakuto, your holy writing is also illusion. Seeing you so peaceful, I feel relieved." Aizen smiled and opened the blockade of Urahara Kazuki. "I am not only calm, but also very happy." Urahara Kazuki patted Aizen on the shoulder and smiled. "I'm very pleased to see the idiot grow up so fast." "But," Urahara Kazuki smiled deeper, "do you think you won? I think you helped me, thank you, little fool. Your remarks are really interesting." Aizen still smiled and pushed Kazuki's hand away. "Leave, I will get it when you are about to study on Hōgyoku." "You want this?" Urahara Kazuki took out the semi-finished product and Hōgyoku shook. "Take me as a tool person." "Okay, who made you my younger brother? It's okay for the eldest brother to suffer a little bit, isn't it very touching?" "You only have half a minute." Aizen turned around and left. Urahara Kazuki shrugged and said, "You are not only stupid, you are also very Tsunere 857. You can't find a girlfriend like this." Aizen paused, and then came a chuckle. "Girlfriend? Do you mean those female monkeys in Yulingting? Wow, Master Kagaya is also in Jinglingting, I will report you." "Forget it. Thank you, little fool, thank you again." Aizen, who left the hall, couldn't help but murmur. "Thank me. You win." Xie Lingting shook again. Urahara Kazuki and others, who was sentenced to death, fled the trial hall and escaped from Soul Society. Central 46 was furious. Order Gode 13 to hunt down. "Teacher, I don't understand." In Kaguya's room, Yoruichi was puzzled. Aizen got pitted, Urahara Kazuki got pitted, why did he let him go? And before leaving Soul Society, Urahara Kazuki still looked happy. Because Aizen lost again. Robin was playing chess with Kagaya and said with a chuckle. Aizen led him into the game based on the weakness of Urahara Kazuki's friendship with Hiriko and others. After entering the game, Aizen realized that this was exactly what Kazuki wanted. Yoruichi is even more confused. Why? Kazuki wants to be pitted by Aizen once? Urahara Kazuki attaches great importance to love, but first of all, he is an empire. When the empire comes, he will eventually face a dilemma. Kagaya settled down and said calmly, "Only when you leave Shaolingting with Hiriko Shinji and others, will you not be dragged down by Gode 13's responsibilities, you will not face the empire, Hiriko and others will not die. Even if Aizen doesn't act, Urahara Kazuki will still use other methods to get Hiriko and others to leave." Yoruichi suddenly, Rangaku blinked. Kazuki played for the empire, Hiriko and others played for Shaolingting, and eventually met. If they are no longer Shinigami of Jinglingjing, then Kazuki has countless ways to prevent them from being an enemy of the empire. The results look. Kazuki also lost his captain status and can play freely in this world. Hiriko and others also avoided Uzumaki. Chapter 19. Sisters of Rukia. Lan Yu blasts the galaxy. True, omniscient and omnipotent. Advertisement time gear. Rotate rapidly. After Urahara Kazuki and others left Soul Society, Xie Lingting continued to be in turmoil. Missing several captain levels at once. This makes Yuan Luze have high hopes for the genius of the new generation. "Come on, fight." When a madman from Rokage 80 district appeared, he joined Gode 13 directly. He also became the only Shinigami who had no experience in joining the team. Not long after he joined Gode 13, he challenged Kenpachi Anayanjo and beheaded. Became the 11th generation Kenpachi. From Zaraki district, 80 district, no name, no surname, and later Zaraki is the last name. Today it became Kenpachi, named Zaraki Kenpachi. A lot of information about Zaraki Kenpachi, many people are collecting. Because Zaraki Kenpachi claims that he does not know Bankai, this is too ridiculous. He directly became the only Shinigami in the history of Jingling Ting who did not know how to become the captain. In theory, Shinigami can be solved. After hearing the news, Kagaya murmured. And Zaraki Kenpachi will not because of lack of talent, maybe other reasons. Yuan Luze ends in person. Teach Zaraki Kenpachi. Still unable to solve Zaraki Kenpachi, come and try it. When Kagaya played, Kenpachi went crazy. The terrifying power of space made Kenpachi lose consciousness many times, and the more he fought, the stronger he became. Ryatsu who is as strong as you, if you don't learn to control it, your power may kill your grandma. Matsumoto Rangaku stumbled upon Ryatsu's uncontrolled gifted child. And take it back to Tailingding, enter the Spiritual Arts Academy to become Shinigami. Shiba Ishin, the captain of the 10th Division, left Soul Society and the talented children filled the vacancy. Become the youngest captain in Gode 13 history, after a Toribashi Rojiro left. Ichimaru Jin also reached the top of the 3rd Division captain with his great talent and strength. Tusen Kanami, he succeeded Mugaruma Kensai as the captain of the 9th Division. The remaining captains, alternately, they began to stabilize again. The gears of time continued to turn. Kagaya once again refused the invitation of the 0 Division, causing an uproar. My concubine feels. Kagaya looked towards the south and smiled lightly. There seems to be nice kids there, you can go there, Robin. South of Sharing Ting. Rokage 78 district. A petite girl with black hair and short hair, holding a girl in Fulu in her arms, her eyes lost. Sister, what should elder sister do? The little girl looked at the girl in her arms and was full of tears. My sister is really going to be unable to support it anymore. The little girl's name is Hijin. The child in the blessing is named Rukia. After his death in this life, Fei Zhen and his younger sister Rukia were sent to the hanging district in District 78 of South Rokage. The living environment in the Cathay hanging area is too poor. Fei Zhen couldn't carry her young Rukia on her own, she was confused and didn't know what to do. I really thought of 2 options. 1. Continue to wander with Rukia. 2. Abandon Rukia and leave here, what should I do? The 2 options that Fei Zhen thought of were both painful, but she had no other choice. Ta-ta-ta. The footsteps sounded without concealment. Fei Zhen's body trembled slightly, and subconsciously hugged Rukia tightly, with a look in his eyes. She took Rukia to hide. Because Area 78 is extremely chaotic, there are too many bad people here, and Fei Zhen is afraid of what evil spirits will come. Like a scarlet sky, tranquil, Robin first glanced at Zhen Fei, and this sentence came to mind. Fei Zhen is still young. But what Robin saw was a gentle and introverted elegance, and his helpless eyes were even more touching. She didn't seem to be staying in Rokage, should be born in a nobleman. After seeing Robin, Fei Zhen was stunned. The other party's gentle temperament and elegant dress are incompatible with Rokage. Do you want to abandon her? Robin glanced at the girl in the blessing, and looked directly at Fei Zhen said, it is difficult to survive. Abandoning her may be the best choice, but it will make you regret it for the rest of your life. Boom. A word burst into my heart like thunder, regret for life. Fei Zhen seemed to see that after abandoning his sister, the future self was in tears all day long, full of regret. He even got sick and died of misery. She couldn't help but cry. I'm sorry, sister, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have such thoughts. Sisters? Robin's eyes shone slightly. In lowly raised by his majesty, there does not seem to be a similar sister. Hinata and Hanabi have different looks. Kuina and Toshigi have the same appearance but no blood relationship. And these sisters? Although the sister is still young, Robin can see that the 2 women are very similar, and they are real sisters of Loli. Your Majesty should. No, what am I thinking? Robin called his thoughts. Your sisters have Shinigami talents, come with me. Robin was very direct and didn't say much. He took Fei Zhen, picked up Rukia and left Rokage. Inadvertent actions. Change Fei Zhen's painful life. In the original trajectory, Fei Zhen abandoned the infant Rukia, wandered for many years and married into Kuchiki's family, renamed Kuchiki Fei Zhen. I regretted the pain and washed away with tears. I couldn't find Rukia and died of illness. Last words. I abandoned Rukia. I am not qualified to be her sister. Please find her and adopt her as her brother. Years later. Rukia enrolled. The owner of Kuchiki adopted Rukia on the grounds that Rukia and his deceased wife Fei Zhen looked similar. Give the surname, Rukia Kuchiki, and hide the truth for decades. After all, abandoned in the baby, Rukia didn't even know that she had an older sister. Technology is developing extremely fast in the world. Urahara Kazuki became the store manager, freely, occasionally murmured. This world has entered modernization, the empire. Advertisement Empire Heaven. In the universe, in a galaxy far away from the solar system, waves of energy erupt in the starry sky. Buzz. If there are others in the empire, they will be shocked. In this galaxy and surrounding galaxies, a total of hundreds of stars flicker and flicker, as if the energy has been swallowed up in an instant, and then restored in an instant. And in the galaxy, sitting cross-legged is a man who is extremely small compared to the galaxy, but is extremely powerful, and his aura is rapidly increasing. Swallow. Lan Yu spit out a word, in an instant. This galaxy about the size of the solar system suddenly dimmed, and all its energy was swallowed up. Time and space are shattered. Lan Yu opened his eyes. There is a terrifying energy explosion on the body, blessing all abilities and attacking the galaxy. A terrorist blow broke out, the stars tremble, boom. Centered on Lan Yu. The mighty power of time and space swept the entire galaxy instantly, turning everything it passed into dust. And spread to the surrounding galaxies without stagnation, and the galaxies collapsed one by one. In space, the great terror that shattered silently. 3006. Lan Yu said a number. The scope of this blow was about 3,600 solar systems. Okay. Lan Yu doesn't have any pride. The size of the solar system is a mere 3,600, not even a fraction of the Milky Way. Milky Way. The size of hundreds of billions of solar systems. The Empire's observable universe, hundreds of billions of galaxies the size. So, hundreds of billions multiplied by hundreds of billions. It will be a terrifying number. Lan Yu's distance to blast the universe with one blow was more than 100 million points away. Those protagonists who have been cultivating for a few years to explode the universe with their fingers are too much. Lan Yu was a little envious. The range of the Earth differs by countless times from the solar system, the range of the solar system differs by hundreds of billions of times from the Milky Way, and the range of the Milky Way differs by more than hundreds of billions of times from the universe. What about those protagonists? From exploding planets, jumping directly to exploding the Milky Way, and then directly exploding the universe. The gap between them is immeasurable times. Bring up the list. Lan Yu combines fantasy creation and various abilities, plus dimensional jade assistance. Created a system for myself. Said that the system is wrong, because it can only display Lan Yu's basic data, and has no other capabilities. But enough. This will allow Lan Yu to understand his abilities and deficiencies more clearly. Host. Lan Yu. Realm. 7 extraordinary stars. Physical. Hard to resist the destruction of superstars. Power. Blast the solar system. Speed. One small galaxy one step at a time. Talent. All-knowing and almighty 0.07%. Main ability. Time and space. Devour. Auxiliary abilities. Miracles. World harmony. All things connected. Slowly all phenomena. Time arc. Space pattern. Existence negation. Giants of light. Visionaries. Wisdom. Dreams. Machinery. Amplification. Strength. Remarks. Extraordinary. Starburst starts. Extraordinary 1 to 3 stars. Planetary stars. Extraordinary 4 to 6 stars. Constant star. Extraordinary 7 to 9 stars. Galaxy level. The gap gets bigger as I get to the back. How many stars do I have to swallow to advance? Lan Yu slightly thought. Suddenly it was discovered that the consuming of stars started to slow down, and currently it can only consume dark energy. True, omniscience and omnipotence is the path I pursue. Even if I can't achieve true perfection, I can still rank at the top. Lan Yu's omniscience and omnipotence, it's not before. At this stage, true, omniscience and omnipotence are defined with the goal of infinite multiverse. Integrate all main and auxiliary abilities into omniscience and omnipotence. Therefore, Lan Yu's omniscience and omnipotence include all the abilities of Lan Yu and evolve together. It seems that it is only 0.07%, but Lan Yu can play a stronger force than just a blow, and has a very high personality. 0.07% is not calculated by traditional percentages, it is just a descriptive number. It does not mean 7 out of 10,000, and, chance, and. Every 1% increase, it is a horrible qualitative change. Progress beyond imagination. Lan Yu goal. When reaching 80%, freely define the multiverse. When reaching 99.99%, it is the god of infinite diversity. This is the first phase goal. Because there must be a dimension beyond infinite diversity, that's not what Lan Yu can think of. And the last 0.01%. It confirms Lan Yu's current thinking. There can be no real omniscience and omnipotence. Can you create a rock that you can't lift? Can you create the same omnipotent creature? 2 sentences. Directly deny omniscience and omnipotence. Perhaps these 2 sentences seem to be deliberate to find fault, but it is not a kind of negation. Perhaps this is my mortal thinking. The true super high-dimensional omniscience and omnipotence are not what I can imagine. Lan Yu understands very well. You cannot look at God from the perspective of a mortal. But Lan Yu firmly believes. If there is a perfect omniscient and almighty, then there is absolutely only one in the heavens and all realms. There will be no other coexistence, because this one can't kill the other. It's not perfect, omniscient and omnipotent at all. There can only be one perfect. As Lan Yu knows, the myth of Daluo that does not know whether it exists. It is impossible to have a lot of good people. If there are so many, I can only say that the mythical Daluo is not enough. Lan Yu's pursuit is the only eternal and unfathomable realm. Dreams are still necessary, in case it succeeds. Empire soldiers, gather. Yes, Your Majesty. Chapter 20. The Empire has grown up for 30 years, the Holy Empire is out to the spirit world. Advertisement Holy Empire, Imperial Plaza. Since there is space to extend here, the inner scope of the square is directly elongated to the limit. Tens of billions of people can easily stand down. Of course, only a few million people can come to the Imperial Plaza so quickly. Millions of people. Crowded. They were all standing on the outermost periphery, all excited, looking at the Imperial soldiers in the square. Man. I really want to abandon everything, shed blood for the Empire, and join the army to fight. Woman. Whether it's the little sister or the big sister, they all looked at the Bing brothers with peach blossoms. This is attributed to the Imperial policy, although the Empire is modernized. There are also movies and TV shows, celebrities and so on, but at most I have a question. Very few celebrity fans and the like. What's up? Is it because my uncle is not handsome anymore, or is my Kagaya not young anymore? There are a lot of fans of Empire soldiers, especially the third idol of the Empire, the Uncle Madara, the Empire Dance King. I don't know which Tai Han released the dancing video. So far, it ranks first in the 3 worlds. Many children who sang and played basketball were extremely ashamed and changed their evils to righteousness. The first idol? Of course it is His Majesty the Emperor of the Holy Empire. The second Miss Kagaya. Closer to home. In the square, the Imperial sea, land, air and sacred troops were all assembled. Before Lan Yu arrived, the Empire generals were not too serious, even Hashirama was still waving and laughing. Suddenly a scream evoked. Idiot! Uncle Ban resisted Hashirama's action, and then smiled like a spring breeze to the people outside the court. Ah! Lord Ban! Uncle Madara's smile caused many fans to faint with excitement, and a hot search was found. Forbidden ha ha ha, really cute children. On the Saint Soldier's side, Shiki was also very happy, and almost danced on the spot. Squad leader just stand up. Uchiha Sasuke snorted 940. Haki's Shiki sounded like a mad lion. How many years have passed since, you are still wandering around in the team leader, not a little self-motivated. But Shiki prefers to be in it. My concubine misses Sister Kagaya. On the Air Force side, Boa Hancock missed Miss Kagaya, and said worriedly, I don't know if she has been bullied in the spiritual world. You think too much. Uzumaki Kushina waved at the people, and smiled. If Kagaya is bullied, I can guarantee that the spiritual world will be destroyed by your majesty a long time ago. I miss the teacher too, Hyuga Hinata whispered. Makoto couldn't help but said softly, you said, will you wait for us to pass, the spiritual world has been taken by Kagaya? The women looked at each other. With Kaguya's elusive brain circuit, it might be possible. Tsunade said uncertainly, it shouldn't be. Your majesty has assembled a large army, and Kagaya doesn't like, fight and kill. The girls couldn't help coughing. All right. My concubine doesn't like to fight and kill, and I, Madara, would like to call you the strongest, and Kazaru's you are terrible, etc. They're all jokes in the army. I really hope someone in the spirit world can kill me, don't be a bunch of rubbish. On Marine's side, Kaido was stunned with a mace and couldn't wait. Nagato calmly said, don't underestimate anyone, you have the power of miracles, maybe the spiritual world has the ability to conquer you. Kaido nodded. However, he only believes in absolute power to break his miracles. If he has the ability to restrain each other, he will still create miracles. Zanpakuto, I wonder if my black knife can cut it off. On the army's side, the eagle eye stroked the black sword lightly, and his sharp eyes were awe-inspiring. Izuna is also looking forward to it. I can't wait for a solution. Zanpakuto. Attracting the soldiers of the Empire who use swords, they just want to cut off. And Izuna is one of the few HFJ sword owners in the Empire. Where are the soldiers of the Empire? On the high stage, Lan Yu appeared and went directly to the topic. Brush. In an instant, there was no hustle and bustle outside the square. The officers and men stood up solemnly, Empire soldiers. Welcome to His Majesty the Holy Emperor, shouting in unison. On this solemn occasion, the 4 imperial armies bowed and bowed. Congratulations to Your Majesty the Holy Emperor. The people outside the square were very excited, but on this occasion, they suppressed their emotions and turned into shouts in unison. Very good. Lan Yu glanced. Time ratio 110. About 300 years have passed since the Soul Society, while the 3 realms of the Empire has only been 30 years old. 30 years of spring and autumn. All parts of the Empire are renewed, and the most important thing is the strength of the soldiers. Hōgyoku, big swallowing technique. These 2 kinds of plugins have greatly improved the strength of soldiers. Head on for 30 years, Hexy for 30 years. Only this sentence can be reflected. 30 years ago, the Empire put aside Lan Yu's words and was no match for the spirit world. Now, the crushing is over. Extraordinary, starburst starts. Below extraordinary, symbol 1 to 9 stars. Take the celestial earth as an example. Surface, Asia, Sha country, big province, small country, etc. If calculated by destructive force. Jushing surface cleaning, Ban, Hashirama. 8 stars and 1 smashing continent. All 4 armies and above admiral rank, and Lu Bu, Sol, Sengoku, Whitebeard, Kazaru and so on. 7 stars and 1 destroy country. Dover, Hanabi, Tezolo, Shirahoshi, Shion, etc. 6-star 1 strike to destroy provinces. Zoro, Namikaze Borin, Uchiha Zorana, Yamato, etc. 5 stars is even more. Representative. Nami. The 5-star island level has been reduced to low and middle level personnel in the 4th Army of the Empire. Will this be a bit bullying? Lan Yu thought so. Advertisement. In addition to the top level, there are still a few in the spirit world that can handle the wrist, and that high level is crushing. Because the strength of the spirit world has a huge span. For example, Ichibei, Yhwach, and Yuan Luze are the difference between the sky and the earth. And Kagaya and Robin, who have been in Soul Society for 300 years. Lan Yu can be sure that Kagaya is extraordinary. Big swallowing technique, the early progress is very fast. 30 years later, Lan Yu is not surprised that the Imperial soldiers can have their current strength. But Kagaya swallowed for nearly 300 years. I just don't know how many planets the current Miss Kagaya can slap. Ichibei. How to say? Yuan Luze. Hurry up and destroy it. Anyway, I still like rolling, just cool. Lan Yu has never regarded the spirit world as a great enemy. It's just a small grass on the road of the empire, now it's growing. Conquering the world is a sense of accomplishment, but sometimes it is boring. If it's a game, then have fun. This wine, encourage with Kun. Lan Yu stood up and raised his hand, and countless wine glasses fell into the hands of the Imperial soldiers and the people of the Imperial Empire. The Empire is immortal. Your Majesty is eternal and immortal. The soldiers and the people shouted together and drank. Lan Yu waved his hand to open the portal of the dimensional jade space, and the voice washed away the 3 kingdoms of the Empire. We are invincible ahead of us. Go. Ooh. Under the cheers of the people outside the square, the 4 Imperial armies entered the space portal neatly and uniformly. Spirit world. This world, it is different from the ancient times when Lan Yu first came, nowadays high-rise buildings. Fully modernized. Karakura town, a very distinctive city. Dark clouds covered the sky and light rain continued. A storefront desk. Now, the weather today is really bad, but my mood is exceptionally good. The man sits tenderly on a chair, with a white and green hat, a dark green jacket, and green trousers. He also plays with a fan. This man is a little green. Hey, green guy, how do you sell this? There was a child's voice outside the store. 1 million. The store manager said without looking up. 1 million. Why don't you grab it? The little boy with short orange hair, holding an umbrella, his eyes widened. Even kids' money is cheated, profiteer. Children don't talk nonsense. The shop manager stood up and said with a chuckle. What you picked is the treasure of my shop. This is also the treasure? The Chowfa boy was shocked. This shop called Urahara sells everything. The most special is a handmade statue. This statue figure. Short hair, glasses and a knife, very gentle and cool. The clothes are also cool, little boys like them. Yes. Urahara Kazuki picked up the statue, eyes full of memories. This statue, but it took me more than 10 years to leave it, is unique and commemorates my friendship with him. Commemorate? After the manuscript sent, the boy's expression relaxed, he whispered, he is dead? Puff cough cough. Urahara Kazuki almost laughed, coughing lightly. Do you want to? Too expensive. The orange-haired boy shook his head suddenly. Urahara Kazuki smiled and said, little guy, you make a price, I'll pay the price, won't the business come? But, the boy with the chair hair was a little embarrassed. You worked so hard to sculpt it, it must be very important to you, let it go, and I only have 100, Make a deal. Looking at the statue that was thrown over, the little boy stared again. 1 million. More than 10 years of carving. A unique memorial friendship. You sell it for 100? Why are you still in a daze? Take money? Urahara Kazuki smiled and stretched out his hand. You are really making a lot of money. If Aizen knows that his statue is bought, he will definitely be crazy. You lied to me. The orange-haired boy glared at Kazuki. Kurosaki Ichigo, remember you, profiteer. Kiss, talk harshly to me. Urahara Kazuki patted his hand and said, it's been a long time since I saw such an interesting little guy. Suddenly, Kazuki's expression sank, and he said coldly, aren't you afraid that I will kill you, kid? Guru. 10-year-old Ichigo took a step back, very scary. He didn't really kill people, did he? Urahara Kazuki drew out a 40-meter knife and walked with a blank expression, and said cruelly, lousy likes eating children the most. Guru. Little Ichigo couldn't help sweating profusely, throwing his umbrella and running without thinking. Murder. Help. Little Ichigo ran panic, he also fell halfway. Puff ha ha ha. Seeing this, Urahara Kazuki laughed with a stomachache, and tears splashed all over her eyes. I fell down, so I was so ridiculous. Tessai Tsukabishi's eyelids twitched when he came. The shop manager likes to joke and tease people, but even children make teasing. Holding Ginger Tessai is convinced. Boom. Just as Tessai Tsukabishi was about to say something, a roar that shocked the world suddenly came from the sky. Boom. The sky suddenly cracked. Little Ichigo was startled, and stared at the sky with blank eyes. Tessai Tsukabishi was equally shocked. Urahara Kazuki narrowed his smile, looked in a trance, and murmured. Finally come. What I do, love, and loyalty. Holy Empire. Chapter 21. Mihawk vs Tessai Tsukabishi, the Imperial Army invaded now. Advertisement boom. The sky in Karakura town was completely shattered, showing a terrible darkness. For a time, the whole city was silent, not only that. The cracking sound spread across Karakura town to other cities, and even to the entire world. Global sensation. It also stopped countless hustle and bustle abruptly. Karakura town is the most abundant city in this world, and there are many, big people, gathered here. Inside a hospital. The uncle with short black hair, who was still messing around with his colleagues, suddenly became very solemn and walked to the window to look at the sky. The rift that broke the sky, Manos Grande. No, what the hell is it? No, Ichigo. The uncle with short hair thought of his son, and was shocked by his colleagues, and jumped directly from the 10th floor. Brush. Hundreds of meters in a flash. If Ichigo sees this scene, he will be dumbfounded. Fake, is this my dad? Kurosaki Ishin. Formerly known as Shiba Ishin, the owner of the branch house, the former captain of the Jufon team. Going to investigate in the present world, encountering Shubai, Aizen attacked and severely injured Ishin, and was rescued by the Quencher Kurosaki Suzuko. Different from the original track. Aizen attacked Ishin, just came to see his friend Kazuki in this world, and weakened Gode 13. And Kurosaki Suzuko. It's Kurosaki Shinsaki's, it doesn't matter, it's also a descendant of the Quincy anyway. The Quincy of Hollow. I was injured, do you want to save? Decades ago, Aizen looked at Urahara Kazuki who wanted to help Shiba Ishin. Kazuki shrugged and said, since you didn't kill him, it proved that you didn't want him to die. His potential is good, and he is definitely no longer the captain. With the help of Urahara Kazuki, Ishin connected with Hollow's Kurosaki, thus losing Shinigami's power. Renamed afterwards, stayed in this world, married Suzuko, and gave birth to 3 children of Ichigo. But Ishin has regained strength. Dad, outside. The little black-haired boy with glasses was taken aback by the movement of the sky. Ishida Longshan said indifferently, if you panic about a little thing, this is what you did with the Quincy. The 10-year-old Ishida Yulong couldn't help refuting, at least I am a Quincy, you. I am not interested, but you are not talented. Ishida Ryushin's words are slightly contemptuous. Yulong was silent. My father became more and more indifferent. He missed his grandfather, but his grandfather was seriously injured last year. Shinigami's call for help was invalid, and he was even killed by Shinigami's cruel research. Just because Grandpa is also a Quincy, and has been under Shinigami's monitoring. Yulong, hate Shinigami. What exactly is it? Chaos, all mess up. The masked legion was worried, but the performer looked forward to looking at the sky. Hi, is this, under the shock of countless people? The shattered sky formed a huge and unpredictable portal. Whoosh whoosh. In the next moment, warplanes flew out from it, like a black tide sweeping the sky. There are also many flying aircraft carriers hundreds of meters in the sky hovering. The most amazing. A spaceship tens of thousands of meters long flew out of it. Karakura town went dark, make countless people hold their breath in shock. What makes the strong like Ishin, Longshan, Hiriko, and Yinshun Kongwu dignified? From the sky, they perceive the terrifying Ryotsu faintly. There is no weaker, it's finally here, ha ha ha. Under Tessai Sukabishi's astonishment, Urahara Kazuki laughed and rushed into the sky. Manager. Don't, Tessai Sukabishi exclaimed. From a distance, you can feel the countless terrifying powerhouses on the fighter aircraft carrier. Who knows the origin? How can the store manager rush it rashly? Trouble. Black knife slash. At this time, a low drink sounded from a flying aircraft carrier. Tear. The atmosphere suddenly tore. A green terrifying slash came in and out, like a gust of wind rushing towards Kazuki. What? Urahara Kazuki was surprised. Bakudo 81 splitting void. Urahara Kazuki shot extremely quickly, and a huge defensive wall appeared in a flash, blocking him. Boom. What made Kazuki even more shocked was that the slash smashed the destructive defenses and produced a terrifying explosion. Battered to pieces, the terrorist explosion directly blasted Kazuki into the air. It turned into a streamer and flew upside down to the ground, smashing many buildings all the way into ruins. So strong. Little Ichigo not far away was a little flustered, but even more curious, the slash just now was much better than the karate he had learned, Manager. Tessai Sukabishi's eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand to the sky where he was attacking. Hado 88 flying dragons strike thieves and shake the sky and thunder cannon. A huge beam of thunder rushed into the sky. Tessai Sukabishi, as the head of the former Kido General Normal University, is extremely strong and he is best at Kido. Cut. A figure leapt up from the flying aircraft carrier and slashed horizontally. Boom. The lightning beam was smashed instantly. With the pupils of Tessai Sukabishi shrinking, the man with a huge black knife in his eyes like an eagle came to him in no time. Bakudo 99 First Song Zixu. Tessai Sukabishi felt the crisis, and his spiritual power turned into huge strips of cloth, winding towards the eagle eye. What? To Tessai Sukabishi's shock, Ryotsu flashed away on Hawkeye's body and directly shattered all the cloth strips. What level of Ryotsu is this? The finale is too close. Tessai Sukabishi's spiritual power exploded. The condensed huge steel with words fell from the sky, like Mount Tai rushing towards the eagle eye. Boom. Advertisement Hawkeye took a casual knife. The huge stone steel collapsed directly, and it caused a tyrannical wave of air. Ah. Little Ichigo, a few hundred meters away, was directly pretended to fly by the airwave, and immediately felt like he had fallen into someone's arms. Stop calling, silly son. Oh, Dad. Little Ichigo looked at Ishin who fell from the sky and hugged him in shock. Too dangerous. Kurosaki Ishin ignored Ichigo and prepared to leave without thinking. Will. A spiritual blade fell on the neck, and a flat whisper sounded. Don't move, Shinigami. When? Kurosaki Ishin was careless in his heart, but coughed lightly. I've been a Shinigami for many years, can you let me go? What is Shinigami? Little Ichigo wondered, is he a descendant of God, God's second generation? Hitaki Tsukumo calmly said, in that case, squat honestly, okay. Okay, of course, I like squatting best. When Kurosaki Ishin squatted down, he unceremoniously pressed Ichigo to the ground by the way. Dad, Kurosaki Ishin kicked directly. After staring Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishin noticed Shumo's strange eyes, and suddenly said in embarrassment, sorry, Juan is used to it. Shuamao didn't say anything. At first glance, I knew that this child was brought up from childhood and it was not easy to live. Is that all you have to do? Hokage Mihawk looked sharply at Tessai Tsukabishi, then at his knife. Pull out your knife. No need. Feeling underestimated, Tessai Tsukabishi's Ryotsu broke out. I don't know where you are from, but... Forbidden technique time stands still. Buzz! Tessai Tsukabishi directly made the move, using the horrible Kido who was listed as the forbidden technique by the central 46th room. Everything is still in an instant. Run! Tessai Tsukabishi turned around and ran, heading towards Urahara Kazuki. His previous attack was purely to vent his anger. There are still many strong men in the sky, and he stayed here to fight only after his brain was convulsed. 0. Seeking flowers. Time stands still. Inside the spacecraft, looking at the eagle eye staying in place, he couldn't help being surprised. This world still has the ability of the time system. It's normal. Izuna didn't care, and smiled lightly. I didn't expect that there are many strong people in this world. Perceiving. In Karakura town, many people with good Ryotsu are rooted in this city. It seems that the luck of my army is not that bad, maybe there are surprises. Jiraiya looked at the strong men found on the screen and smiled. Let's go. Take them all. There are Soul Society, the present world, Hueco Mundo, and so on in the spirit world. The 4 imperial armies attacked separately, drawing lots to attack, and the imperial army was drawn to this world. In this world, aren't they all ordinary people? Then. Hashirama squatted on the ground and drew circles, full of decadence and tears streaming down his face. Boom. Mihawk's Ryotsu blasted the time away and whispered flatly, the move is good. Tessai Tsukabishi ignored Mihawk and continued to run towards Urahara Kazuki. Manager, get ready, I will take you away. The best method. Use the forbidden technique to transfer space and take the manager to leave this place of right and wrong. Puff cough cough. 0. Urahara Kazuki crawled out of the ruins, sat on the ground and coughed lightly. It hurts, Mihawk Sr., you are so cruel, I almost died. If you only have this, I think Lord Hashirama will be disappointed. Mihawk walked towards Kazuki expressionlessly, and slowly drew his sword. Are you serious? Urahara Kazuki gave a wry smile. It seems that this is a test of my teacher. Want to see my current strength? What's the situation? Tessai Tsukabishi is a little bit affectionate, how does it look familiar? Kazuki him. Kurosaki Ishin in the distance also sank. There are so many strong men in the sky, this force is not weaker than Gode 13, isn't it? Hello? At this time, an audition sound exploded in the sky, which surprised everyone in the world. Teacher? Urahara Kazuki was quite excited. This kind of naive voice, he will never forget in his life, it is the voice of the teacher. Inside the spaceship. Senju Hashirama took the microphone and tried to say, hello, can you hear me? Jiraiya coughed lightly. Master Hashirama, the debugging is complete, with the help of the spirit shock, the voice can be transmitted to the whole world. That's good. Senju Hashirama glanced at Kazuki who was excited on the screen, and took the microphone and said, little help, it's been a long time since I saw you. You will play with Mihawk for a while, and I will look for you later. Are you sure you want to play? Seeing Mihawk trying to think of himself as 800 yuan, Urahara Kazuki's face was bitter. I'm so old that I will be beaten brutally. I'm so pitiful. That being the case, then you can only be serious. People in this world listen. Holding the microphone, Senju Hashirama's voice spreads throughout the world. I am the Field Marshal of the Holy Empire. According to the order of His Majesty the Great Holy Empire Emperor, take the world. Imperial Army hears, all out, Holy Empire? Hiriko, Ishin and others were shocked. Isn't it the country that was short-lived about 300 years ago, but still made the captain jealous? Yes, Marshal. The cry of 100,000 army resounded across the sky. Wow! All fighter planes, aircraft carriers, and spaceships spread towards the entire world, and more figures flew out of it. Seal up! This is the voice from Lan Yu. The power of time and space crosses the entire world of this world. Block the world directly.